the lazy bum of Shirshi village. It was a scorching summer day, the sun beating down mercilessly. Old Zhao Gui and his wife invited me over for drinks and got me completely drunk. In my dazed haze, they helped me into their daughter-in-law Wang Naixiang's room. Suddenly, I sobered up completely. I had been reborn. In my previous life, this exact day played out just like this. The Zhao Gui couple had schemed to frame me, throwing me onto Wang Naixiang's bed and shouting to gather witnesses. They accused me of assaulting their daughter-in-law, demanding I give them my house as compensation or they'd report me to the authorities. Wang Naixiang testified to defend me, saying I hadn't done anything, so I avoided jail. But my reputation was destroyed. Because Wang Naixiang had ruined her in-laws' plan, they beat her daily. Within a month, she couldn't take it anymore and drowned herself. This time around, I wasn't going to let that tragedy happen again. Zhao Gui tossed me onto the bed and then ran out to call people over. As I looked at the unconscious Wang Naixiang, her clothes disheveled from their scheme, I hurried to tidy her up. She stirred slightly, mumbling, "Qingshan, hold me," before passing out again. I could already hear Zhao Gui's voice, along with others, approaching from outside. Without hesitation, I vaulted over the wall and escaped. When Zhao Gui burst into the room with a dozen villagers in tow, they found only Wang Naixiang lying properly on the bed, no sign of me. "Where is he?" Li Hu grabbed Zhao Gui by the collar. "Are you trying to mess with us?" Zhao Gui panicked, stammering, "He was just here. I swear." His wife splashed water on Wang Naixiang to wake her up. "Where's Li Qingshan?" "What Li Qingshan?" Wang Naixiang asked, utterly confused. "Don't play dumb. He was just on your bed," Zhao Gui shouted, his anger growing. But the villagers began exchanging skeptical glances. Many felt Zhao Gui was crossing the line. Just then, I casually strolled in through the front door. "Looking for me?" "Li Qingshan, you assaulted my daughter-in-law." Zhao Gui pointed at me, seething. "Are you kidding me? I wasn't even here." "Impossible. We were drinking together just now." "Drinking? With you?" "This morning I stayed home drinking alone. Look how clear-headed I am. Do I seem like someone who was just drunk?" I let out a cold laugh and said, "If you don't have evidence, don't go around slandering people." Zhao Gui's face turned beet red with frustration, almost to the point of fainting. "You?" Li the blacksmith spoke up. "Zhao Gui, although Qingshan might not have the cleanest reputation, he's never gotten involved with anyone's wife. You shouldn't falsely accuse him like this. How will he ever find a bride if word gets out?" "Exactly. Accuse someone of a crime, and you'd better have proof. Look, your daughter-in-law is fully clothed, and Qingshan wasn't even in the house. How does that count as assault?" "Zhao Gui, you've gone too far this time." The villagers' voices rose in condemnation. Zhao Gui and his wife were nearly trembling with rage, left utterly speechless. "Damn it. Zhao Gui, you trying to mess with me?" Li Hu growled, pulling out a piece of paper. "Your younger son owes me gambling debts. You better pay up today, or you know what's coming." Zhao Gui collapsed to his knees, trembling. "Li Hu, just a bit more time, please. Don't lay a hand on my son. He's all I've got." Understanding dawned on me. "Ah, so your son's gambling debt is why you're trying to frame me, to extort me for money to cover his losses? Zhao Gui, aren't you a piece of work? And you even called your own daughter-in-law a shameless harlot. Watch me take you down for this." Fueled by rage, I pounced on Zhao Gui and started beating him, not holding back. I aimed specifically for the spots that would minimize visible injury but still hurt like hell. Zhao Gui cried out in agony. "Help! Li Qingshan, how dare you hit me?" But he was drunk and no match for me. I pinned him to the ground and pummeled him mercilessly, venting all my pent-up fury. "Qingshan, that's enough." The villagers stepped in to pull me away. Zhao Gui lay on the ground, bloodied and bruised, groaning in pain. That beating had been more than satisfying, but it was just the interest. The real debt would be settled later. If it weren't for Zhao Gui, Wang Naixiang wouldn't have died, and I wouldn't have been forced to leave my hometown. Li Hu grabbed hold of Zhao Gui. "Now, let's deal with your debt. We really have no money. Isn't there any other way?" Zhao Gui pleaded desperately. Li Hu glanced at the bed where Wang Naixiang lay, soaked and looking pitiful but beautiful all the same. "Fine. Your daughter-in-law's been a widow for 3 years. Marry her off to me, and we'll call it even." "Are you serious?" Zhao Gui's eyes gleamed. His eldest son was gone, and keeping the daughter-in-law around served no purpose. Using her to pay off the debt seemed ideal. "I refuse." Wang Naixiang objected firmly. Li Hu was known for being both filthy and brutish. Marrying him would be a nightmare. "It's not up to you." Zhao Gui snapped. "You married into this family. You'll do as I decide. If you don't marry him, my son's hand might get chopped off. What will he do for the rest of his life if he's crippled?" Zhao Gui's wife chimed in. She's right. Stop being so selfish. Li Hu watched the scene with glee. He'd been lusting after Wang Naixiang for some time. Panic evident in her eyes, Wang Naixiang turned to me for help. I stepped forward and declared, "This is the modern era. Marriage is a free choice. Even if parents have a say, it's the bride's family that decides, not the in-laws. What right do Zhao Gui and his wife have here?" I continued, "If she owes a dowry, go find her maiden family for that. Besides, when Wang Naixiang married into your family, it was as a wife, not a perpetual widow. Your eldest son is gone, and she's wasted 3 years in mourning. That's something your family owes her. You're talking about backward thinking during a time when society is all about progress and equality? Do you want to be labeled as relics of the past?" Zhao Gui and his family, along with Li Hu, immediately fell silent. While they weren't afraid of me personally, they were terrified of being caught up with the authorities if word spread. Suddenly, Wang Naixiang grabbed a pair of scissors from who knows where and held them to her neck. "If you try to force me to marry Li Hu, I'll take my own life." The sharp scissors had already drawn blood, a thin red line trickling down her pale skin. "Wait, stop." The villagers were thrown into a panic. "Zhao Gui, if she dies, it'll be on your heads. Forcing a woman into marriage and driving her to death, that would make you outlaws. Li Hu, you think you'll still get to be militia commander after something like this? Dream on." Panicked, Li Hu started to sweat. His spot as militia commander was practically in the bag, but if this scandal blew up, it was all over. I coughed, stepping up confidently. "The matter of Zhao Gui's debt? Let me handle it." To someone's door. The essence of this narrative would translate into English, formatted for a more local, colloquial voice, as follows. "The new storage building would be perfect for keeping all the game we hunt. Then we could sneak off with a few of the village widows, cook up some proper meals, and feast to our heart's content. Now, wouldn't that be the life? You're willing to pay Zhao Chang's debt?" Li Hu raised an eyebrow, looking me up and down. "How much are we talking about?" I asked. $36. The villagers gasped audibly. In these times, a pound of pork was just 40 cents, and wild boar meat 36 cents. $36 was a fortune. Zhao Gui's wife wailed. "I'll give you our house. Just let my son go." Li Hu snorted. "That old shack you call a house isn't worth $36. "Forget it," I chimed in. "Here's a deal for you. Lend me $36, and I'll give you 40 back in a month. To show I'm serious, I'll put up my family's new estate as collateral." Our family's new estate wasn't just good, it was great. Big, well-built, located in the best part of the village. It was easily worth $40, no question. Sure, Dad and I had poured sweat into building it, but truth be told, it wasn't mine. We hadn't divided up the family property yet. My grandfather decided everything in our family, and he had a clear favoritism for my brothers. That old man had been leeching off of my household for years, just to prop up my uncles. So, honestly, if it wasn't my house, why not put it up to seal the deal? "You serious?" Li Hu's eyes gleamed. He'd had his eye on that estate for months. Having it outright would save him a lot of hassle. "Let's write it up," I said, thumping my chest proudly. "Qingshan, don't be reckless. That estate's for your future bride. Your dad's going to break both your legs when he finds out." The villagers flocked around me, trying to talk me out of it. "I appreciate everyone's concern," I said. But my mind's made up. The deal was sealed. Walking away with the money, I turned to Zhao Gui and threw the cash on the table in front of him. "Your house is mine now. $36, done deal." Zhao Gui's face lit up. He clutched the money like it might disappear. "You're serious, Li Qingshan? Don't waste my time. Sign the contract first. Once the house's ownership is legally transferred, the debt's erased." I looked at him sternly. All right. Zhao Gui quickly agreed and signed, eager to hold on to the money. "The house is mine now," I declared. "You've got 5 days to move out. We'll go to the town office tomorrow to make it official." Word spread like wildfire through the village. "Did you hear?" Everyone whispered. Li Qingshan used his family's estate as collateral, just to buy Zhao Gui's rundown shack. He's just as foolish as Zhao Chang. When this news reached my grandfather, Li Laoduan, his anger was instant. "What? That good-for-nothing brat used our prized estate as collateral? That house was meant for my eldest grandson." Overhearing this, Zhao Yutian smirked. "It's true, Li Laoduan. The whole village is gossiping about it now. And you better believe, they've already written up a contract. That worthless little wolf pup. I'll teach him a lesson he won't forget." Spitting venom, he stormed out. But he came home to find the house empty. I'd already taken the household records and was at the town office, getting everything sorted. The transfer went smoothly, and in just 3 days, the paperwork confirming ownership would be in my hands. Back in the village, I confronted Zhao Gui. "The second I get that ownership certificate, we're done. Don't test me. Start packing." Relieved to move forward, Zhao Gui nodded hurriedly and went back to tend to his son. I smirked to myself. Everything was going dangerously well. I pictured winter evenings, snowfall blanketing the ground, while I sat by a roaring fire, roasting wild pork, dipping into a bubbling hot pot. Maybe with a few female acquaintances at my side, life could be downright enjoyable. But before I could afford such luxuries, there was work to be done. Stored meat would only get me through the winter if I hunted it. Lucky for me, I wasn't new to the hunt. In my younger days, I'd learned plenty from an old Taoist hunter, and later in the military, I perfected my aim with a range of firearms. Physically, I was in excellent shape. Our village, backed up against the mountains, was a treasure trove of wildlife. A wild chicken fetched 40 cents. Rabbits were similar. A young wild boar weighing 150 pounds could sell for 50 or 60 bucks. And if I managed to nab a sable pelt, we're talking over $200 per skin. Having a gun and a trained hunting dog would make everything easier, but a bow, a knife, or even a set of well-placed traps would work too. That was tomorrow's mission. Qing Shan. Hearing my name, I turned on instinct. A familiar female voice called me, soft and lilting, from behind a haystack. It was Wang Naixiang, the village's widow. She'd changed into an old dress, maybe one from her teenage days, but it hugged her frame tightly in all the right places, unintentionally showing off her curvy figure. Her sultry, tear-soaked eyes could draw a man in helplessly. Naixiangjia, what's wrong? I tread cautiously, glancing around to ensure we weren't seen, then stepped behind the haystack with her. Qing Shan, I just wanted to thank you, she said, biting her lip. If it weren't for your quick thinking, my in-laws would have thrown me to Lihu today. Her voice, soft and choked, stirred something protective in me. Naixiangjia, you're alone in this village, with no one to stand up for you, and those damn in-laws sabotaging you at every turn. From now on, if you ever need help, come find me. I'll make sure you're safe. Her lip trembled, her eyes wet with gratitude. For a long time, she'd been cast adrift, like a lone lily pad on a raging river. She'd been through hell since the day her husband passed, and my actions carried more meaning and weight than I could have imagined. Qing Shan, you've already done so much for me. But how are you planning to pay back Li Hu? $36 in 1 month. Everyone knows your family's situation. I met her gaze and chuckled. Her concern was endearing. I explained my plan to head into the deep woods and hunt. Catching enough game would ensure I could pay it back in full. Her expression darkened instantly. Qing Shan, that's too dangerous, don't you know? People in our village have gone in there and never come back. Even Zhao Zhanshan, the famous sharpshooter, was injured by a wild boar not long ago. Now he's bedridden. You have no guidance, no experience in those woods. What if something happens? Who's going to take care of your uncle and aunt? Her worry didn't waver me. Seeing that, she grew desperate. Then forget it. I'll marry Li Hu myself if it means. Cut it out. I interrupted her sharply, determined. Death. Besides, if you marry Li Hu, then all my efforts today would be for nothing. Wang Naixiang, realizing she couldn't persuade me otherwise, took an egg out from her pocket. The egg's still warm, she said. Eat it quickly. The egg was still warm from being in her pocket. When I took it from her hands, our fingers brushed slightly, and she pulled her hand back quickly, her face flushing red. If your in-laws saw this, wouldn't they kill you? I said while looking at the egg. In our village, eggs were precious. We rarely ever ate them. It's fine. It's already boiled. I can't exactly put it back, she said softly. You're heading into the forest to hunt. You'll need the strength. I took a bite of the egg, then handed the rest back to her. Here, let's split it. You eat half. No way. Eggs are meant to strengthen men, not women like me, she said as she shook her head. If you can't even bring yourself to eat half an egg, how can I expect you to ask for my help in the future? Open your mouth, I insisted, pushing the egg closer to her lips. Blushing deeply, she finally took a bite and then said, It's getting late. I need to go back and make food, or my in-laws will start shouting at me. With that, she quickly ran off. When I returned to the Li family compound, the atmosphere was heavy. Li Laoduan had 3 sons, my father being the youngest. All 3 families lived together in the same yard. The eldest and second eldest stayed in the western side of the compound, while the old couple occupied the central, grander house. The sunlight of early morning seeped into the room, chasing away some of the dampness. Our family lived on the eastern side near the storage room, kitchen, and latrine. Even so, we only had 2 rooms. My parents shared one, while my widowed sister-in-law and I shared the other. A thin wooden board separated our spaces, and the small bed barely fit. Even the door was crudely split in half. Meanwhile, my eldest uncle's only son, Li Qingshu, was the family's golden boy, the darling of our grandfather's heart. He not only had his own room, but also a private study. The whole family had contributed money to send him to higher primary school, even though he consistently ranked at the bottom of his class. Still, Grandpa thought he was our brightest hope. The newly built house in the compound? Grandpa claimed it was supposed to be for me to bring home a bride. But in reality, it had already been earmarked for Li Qingshu. That house was built with my father's blood, sweat, and tears. But this time, with my second chance at life, I refused to be as spineless as I was in my past life. When it came time to eat, grandfather and grandmother occupied the heads of the table where all the good food was placed. Li Qingshu, along with my eldest uncle and aunt, sat beside them. My second uncle's family took the middle seats, while my parents and widowed sister-in-law sat at the far end. As I walked in the door, everyone's eyes turned toward me. My eldest uncle and grandfather looked at me like they wanted to tear me apart. My parents and sister-in-law looked at me with worry etched across their faces. Li Qingshan, you ungrateful brat. You still dare to sit down? Stand up, my grandfather roared. Dad, Qingshan's still young. If anyone should be punished, let it be me, my father pleaded. My eldest uncle immediately jumped in. Young? Old third, he's already 18. Today he dares to use the new house as collateral for a loan, and tomorrow he'll probably commit arson. My aunt chimed in, adding fuel to the fire. Exactly, Dad. If Qingshan gets into trouble, it'll ruin Qingshu's reputation and career. Hearing this, Grandpa's face turned red with rage. What? Affect Qingshu's future? Get up. I scoffed and stood up, walking straight over to their table. Li Qingshan, did you use the new house as collateral to borrow 36 yuan from Li Hu? Grandfather demanded. So what if I did? I said casually as I took another step forward. That house was meant for Qingshu. Now hurry up and get that IOU back. Grandfather bellowed. My father looked stunned. Dad, didn't you say it was for Qingshan to marry? That house was built brick by brick from my labor. My eldest uncle slammed the table. Old third, are you questioning father? Grandfather, stubborn as ever, puffed up his chest and said, First of all, I never explicitly said it was for Qingshan. Second, the land belongs to me. Third, I'm the head of this family. And fourth, Qingshu is the eldest grandson. He should get married first. My father, cornered as usual, could only lower his head and nod. I walked over to where Li Qingshu was sitting. Move. Then I unabashedly picked up the leftover steamed buns, bean paste, and stewed cabbage from their table and carried it back to my own seat. The room fell into stunned silence. I've been drinking sweet potato soup every single day, I said, annoyed. If I drink any more, I'll turn into a potato. Today, I'm switching it up. Grandpa, you wouldn't deny me a meal, would you? When have I ever refused to feed you? Grandfather snapped, raising his tobacco pipe threateningly. My eldest uncle tried to add something, but I shot him a glare. Shut up. If Grandpa says I can eat, then that's the end of it. Mind your own business. And as for the loan from Li Hu, the collateral was the house. It doesn't mean I won't repay it. And how exactly are you going to repay it? With what money? My eldest uncle, Li Dakwai, shouted furiously. Give me a month, I said evenly. I'm heading into the mountains tomorrow. I'll hunt some big game and sell it. 40 yuan will be a breeze. At this, everyone around the table burst into disbelief. You? Don't let some bear in the forest eat you alive. You've lost your mind if you think you can hunt anything. I ignored their chatter and focused on eating. It would be a waste of breath trying to reason with these people. They'll see for themselves when I return with my haul. Still, I couldn't stay in this household anymore. I needed to separate from the family. But right now, splitting up wasn't realistic. If I tried, I'd lose the house entirely because that old man definitely wouldn't let me have it. Dad, Li Qingshu muttered slyly to my elders. If he dies in the mountains, the debt dies with him. And since the new house isn't technically his, it'll still be ours. Plus, if third uncle's line ends there, I could even offer to take care of third uncle in his old age. All his property would end up ours anyway. Li Laoduan and my uncle Li Dakwai exchanged a glance, their faces breaking into sly smirks. Qingshu is definitely the future of this family, my uncle praised. Yes, just let him go. These young men and their tempers. You provoke them, and they'll dive headfirst into trouble, my uncle added smugly. Grandfather turned back to me. All right, boy. If you can drag back a 300-pound wild boar, then we'll call it a real feat. The old fox. He thought he could rile me up? I played along. Forget 300 pounds. I'll bring back a 500-pounder. But I'm short on tools, Grandpa. How about a little cash to get a hunting rifle? No. The money is for Qingshu's wedding. Grandfather said sternly. Well then, a bow and arrow. I pressed. Absolutely not. Fine. At least prepare some rations for me. I said. I'll be gone at least 3 days, maybe 10. If I don't eat enough, I'll only be able to hang around the outskirts, and there won't be much to catch. What? No way. Grandfather started, but Li Qingshu quickly whispered to him. Grandpa, give him more food. The deeper he goes into the forest, the faster he'll meet his end. Grandfather nodded in agreement. Old woman, prepare him some cornmeal porridge, enough for 10 days or more. Since your lungs are injured, you need to rest properly, don't push yourself. Could you tell me a few things about what to watch out for when climbing the mountain, as well as some tips for finding game? I asked respectfully after sitting down. Zhao Zhanshan coughed violently a few times before speaking slowly, his voice hoarse and weak. Young man, your father already told me you're determined to go. I can't stop you, but you must be prepared. The mountains are ruthless. It's not just the wild animals you need to worry about, but the terrain, the weather, and sometimes, even other hunters. He gestured to a small dagger at the side of the bed. Take this. It's not worth much, but always have it ready. It could save your life. Beside him, Zhao Shanxin, his daughter, handed over a small pouch. Here, dried herbs. They can help stop bleeding in case you get injured. Her tone was serious, and for a brief moment, our eyes met. There was something in her gaze I couldn't quite pinpoint. Was it concern or disdain? Thank you, Uncle Shanxin. I'll remember what you taught me, I said, accepting their kindness. As I left their home, the morning sunlight broke over the horizon, casting warm hues over the village. With the borrowed bow on my back, a dagger at my side, and a bag of cold fried flour in hand, I walked determinedly toward the mountain. Each step felt heavier, burdened by the weight of responsibility, toward my mother, toward my dear sister-in-law, and toward the life I longed to carve out for us. Faintly, I could hear the words of my master from my previous life echo in my mind. True strength comes not only from skill, but from purpose and heart. If I truly wanted to change my fate and protect those I loved, this journey up the mountain would be the first step of many. How's your injury? He sighed. I'll never be able to climb the mountain again. Qing Shan, the mountain, it's dangerous. Have you thought it through? I've thought it through. I have to go. Then let me teach you the rules. Never go up on the 1st or the 15th of the month. Despite his frail body, Uncle Zhanshan dragged his words out, telling me all about the mountain's taboos, traps, and prey. By the time the sun rose, he was coughing nonstop. Dad, the doctor told you to speak less. Zhao Shanxing walked in, visibly upset. All right. Uncle Zhanshan gripped my hand. Remember, the most dangerous thing on the mountain isn't the beasts, it's people. Watch out for other hunters. Li Qingshan, come outside with me, Zhao Shanxing said. I followed her out the door. After my dad got injured, we lost even the hunting rifle. We had to sell everything in the house for his treatment. The only thing left is this dog. My dad can't bear to sell it. Take him with you when you go up the mountain. I looked at the golden dog in the kennel, suddenly filled with emotion. This wasn't just a dog. It was De Huang, one of Uncle Zhanshan's prized hunting hounds. Trained to track prey by scent, it was a treasure to any hunter. Shanxing, you're really letting me take De Huang up the mountain? I asked, almost in disbelief. Take him. Shanxing stroked De Huang's head. It's a shame my dad's gun is gone. Otherwise, you wouldn't have to rely on just a bow. Once you're up there, don't interact with other hunters. Wait until you have a gun. De Huang ran to my feet and rubbed against me. Just as I was feeling happy, someone's voice suddenly rang out. Shanxing, there's hope for your dad. Zhao Kuan came running toward us, holding something bloody in his hands. The heart of a wild boar. 500 pounds. Freshly killed. 500 pounds. I was stunned. Most wild boars were 200 to 300 pounds. 500 would be a monster. Shanxing, you said anyone who brought you the heart of a 500-pound wild boar could sleep with you for a month. Does that promise still hold? Zhao Kuan asked eagerly. It holds. Shanxing accepted the boar heart. I stood aside, curious about what was going on. Shanxing explained that her father had suffered a cardiovascular injury, and the medicinal recipe required the heart of a 500-pound wild boar as a key ingredient, harvested within 3 days. They had no money left, so she had no choice but to resort to this promise. I examined the boar heart carefully. This doesn't look like it's from a 500-pound boar. At most, 300, and even that's been pumped up with water to make it seem bigger. Zhao Kuan scowled. What would a good-for-nothing like you know? This is a 500-pound boar heart. A real 500-pound wild boar's heart would have streaks of meat huangtung, I said directly. Under strong light, you'd see 2 or 3 golden thread-like lines. Those are the real markers for medicinal value. Does this heart have them? Shanxing immediately looked at Zhao Kuan, suspicion filling her eyes. Ridiculous. There's no such thing as meat huangtung. Zhao Kuan snapped, visibly flustered. If you don't believe me, go look at the card. It's got 500 pounds of meat. Xing, you should check with the doctor who gave you the prescription, I added. See if they say it needs to have the meat huangting streaks. As for the 500 pounds of meat, who knows if they killed one pig or two? Two small 300-pound boars, discard one's guts and legs, and you'd still have 500 pounds of meat left. I had seen through Zhao Kuan's trick long ago. This wasn't from a 500-pound boar. Xing decided to consult the doctor. This was no small matter. If the medicine didn't work, she'd lose not only her dignity, but also a massive investment in useless cures, and their family couldn't afford another round. Zhao Kuan panicked. You don't trust me, Xing? Fine, I'll leave. I'll feed this boar heart to the dogs. Cold sweat running down his back, he grabbed the heart and stormed off. His ulterior motive had been to trap Xing into a month-long deal. If she ended up pregnant, she'd have to marry him by default. But now, thanks to me, his plans were ruined. And just like that, I had made an enemy. Xing thanked me. She said if it weren't for me, she would have suffered a huge loss. I told her that Uncle Shan had saved my life before. Helping her family was the least I could do. When she asked how I knew about the meat huangtong, I told her it was something my old mountain-dwelling master had taught me, though I didn't know his whereabouts anymore. I asked if I could take a look at the prescription. Xing declined, saying I wouldn't understand it at my age. She reminded me to be careful of Zhao Kuan, as his family were also hunters, and I was likely to run into him in the mountains. Taking Da Huang with me, I set off. Uncle Shan had saved my life. Now, if he didn't get treatment soon, he might not make it through the year. There were only two options: track and hunt a real 500-pound wild boar, or master pure yang true qi and save him with 8-point acupuncture. But in my last life, I had only ever learned 6 needles. Healing this kind of internal injury would require all 8. The pressure was immense. I still needed to retrieve my sister-in-law's bracelet, preferably a gold one. Pei Li, who back $40 within a month, repair Zhao Gui's house, apply for a plot of land for my dad, and somehow take care of Lu Gui Xiang, who undoubtedly faced harsh treatment from her in-laws. Just as I left the village, Li Zhuang came running after me. This 6'3" giant was carrying his grandfather's red tassel spear and insisted on joining me for the hunt. Seems he'd overheard yesterday's conversation at my house, and even stole a piece of cured meat from home as an offering. Looking at the strip of meat, I swallowed hard. All right, I need a hand anyway. Let's go. The old forest was tough to traverse, steep and rugged, with paths often completely blocked by undergrowth. In places with no trails, we had to hack our way through with machetes. Though the sun was high, the dense canopy above trapped heat and moisture, making the air feel like a steaming furnace. Zhuang asked how long we'd be out this time. I told him we'd keep it short for a first trip, 4 or 5 days tops, and return once we'd caught something. I asked him to remove the red tassel from his spear. It was too eye-catching. By around 5 p.m., we stopped next to a small creek. It was a good spot. Animals would inevitably come by to drink. I told Zhuang to take out the cured meat to eat. He asked, now? Already. I explained. What's the most abundant thing in the old forest? Trees and grass. Where there's grass, there are herbivores. Where there are herbivores, there are carnivores. And where there's prey, there's meat. We're in the old forest. Running out of meat isn't going to be a problem. Eat now to regain energy, and soon I'll teach you to catch something fresh. Zhuang seemed to agree with my logic and handed me the cured meat. The creatures have come out to move around. Wild hares tend to come out at night to feed, while pheasants and muntjac prefer early mornings and evenings. Regardless of the animal, after eating, they always need water. I figure if we stake out this little creek, there's bound to be some action. I plan to stay here for 3 days before heading back. Including travel time, this outing will last 5 days total. Zhuang, go chop some straight branches for us. We'll be staying here tonight, I said. Don't go too far. Tie your red cloth strip here to mark your path. I'll go check the creek for any game, and maybe get something meaty for Da Huang. I patted Da Huang, my loyal dog, on the head. He wagged his tail obediently and licked my hand. Ever since we entered the mountain, he hasn't barked once, a good habit instilled by an old mountain hunter who trained him. Da Huang grabbed his machete and went off, while I took down my hunting bow and started walking downstream along the creek, my eyes scanning the surroundings carefully. This bow of mine has a draw weight of about 60 pounds. Fully drawn, it can shoot up to 200 meters, but the effective kill range is within 50 meters. For small game like hares and pheasants, a shot within 50 meters is usually fatal. For mid-sized game like muntjac deer or roe deer, hitting the chest cavity under 30 meters is best. As for wild boars, you'd need to be within 20 meters and hit their heart for a possible kill. Suddenly, the jade gourd necklace hanging on my chest began to heat up. I didn't even have time to process it before Da Huang shot forward like an arrow, aiming for a hare drinking water ahead. Reacting quickly, I drew back my bow to full draw. Even though I didn't inherit the physical strength from my past life, the knowledge and experience remain. I planted my feet firmly on the ground and aimed at the hare darting away. Thwack! The arrow pierced right through the hare's neck. It rolled briefly before collapsing, twitching. Da Huang returned with the hare in his mouth, placing it by my feet while happily rubbing against my pant leg. I patted his head, saying, "Good job. Let's head a bit further down the creek. We'll be back before dark to roast some meat." This hare weighs about 4 pounds. After gutting it, there'll be about 2 pounds of meat. Since it's summer, I need to gut it and drain the blood quickly, or its body will bloat within 2 hours. After 5 minutes, I slung the cleaned hair on my waist and continued walking. My hand touched the jade gourd on my chest, puzzled. Why did it heat up when Da Huang started hunting earlier? The old Taoist master in my past life had only told me it was a symbol of leadership, used by the sect's founding master to establish the lineage. He never mentioned anything else about it. 2 minutes later, the gourd heated up again. I immediately became alert, scanning the surroundings. Sure enough, about 40 meters ahead, there was another, plumper hare munching on some grass. I drew my bow again, let the arrow fly, and thwack! It pierced the hare's neck. Da Huang, once again thrilled, fetched the hare back to me. As I touched the jade gourd, a thought struck me. Could this thing somehow make me luckier when it heats up? 2 hares in just 10 minutes? That's uncanny. Since I'll be here for a few more days, might as well test it out to confirm. I shot and killed a 5-pound hare, pulled out the arrow, and checked it carefully. The arrowhead was still intact, so I placed it back into the quiver. The bow that Annie Guixiang gave me only came with 6 arrows, so I can't waste them. If I have a good harvest this trip, I'll ask the village blacksmith, Li, to forge a few more arrowheads for me. Guns are far too expensive, over $200, and as a drifter, I can't afford those. But honestly, using a bow has its perks. It's silent when hunting. If you fire a gun, the noise will scare off all the game nearby. Losing a shot at a deer or wild boar over a rabbit would be a huge loss. 5 minutes later, I cleaned the second hare and continued along the creek. 10 minutes passed without spotting any game, but I did spot quite a few small fish and shrimp swimming in the creek. Suddenly, Da Huang leapt out, biting down on yet another hare and bringing it to me, wagging his tail. "Good boy, Da Huang. I'm finding you a nice mate when we head back," I said, patting his head as I picked up the third hare and began heading back. "Change is back." Da Huang greeted me, wiping the sweat off his forehead. "Are these branches enough?" "Yeah, they're plenty." Da Huang then noticed the hare in my hand, his eyes nearly popping out of his head. "Change. Is that a hare?" "No SHD shot at myself," I replied. "You've only been out an hour, and you've already shot 3? Da Huang exclaimed in disbelief. Even veteran hunters sometimes spend an entire day with no luck. Yet this is your first time hunting, and you're already this good? Pure luck. Go dig a pit and start roasting these hares. The innards can go to Da Huang. I'll set up a lean-to. We'll be staying here a few days." Da Huang looked at me with admiration. "All right, I'll roast the hares first. I'll come help you in a bit." I started constructing a lean-to shelter. First, I dug out the foundation, then used branches to form walls and tied them together with vines. I elevated it off the ground to keep out moisture and bugs. By the time I finished, dusk had fallen, and the little shelter was just big enough for 2 people. By around 6 in the evening, darkness had blanketed the forest. The sounds of various animals echoed through the woods, eerie and unsettling. But thankfully, the campfire was lit, bringing some feeling of safety. "Change, you even know how to build a shelter like this?" Da Huang marveled, impressed. "Not even the old hunters in the village are this skilled. This is nothing. Tomorrow, I'll build a bigger one. Come on, let's roast all 3 hares and eat." "What? All 3? Da Huang was shocked. "That's so extravagant. Most hunters sell their game to support their families and typically eat coarse grains and wild greens. Meat is reserved for festivals or special occasions. But here I was, about to eat all 3 hares after just catching them. Meat will spoil quickly in this summer heat if we don't eat it. Besides, there's plenty of game in the forest. Once we're done, I'll just hunt more," I said nonchalantly. Today's catch amounted to 3 hares. The first weighed 4 pounds, the second 5, and the third over 4, making a total of 13 pounds. After skinning and gutting them, we'd be left with about 7 pounds of meat. Of course, some of that weight would shrink after roasting. At over 6 feet tall, Da Huang could eat over a pound of meat in one sitting. By tomorrow morning, he'd likely eat another pound. That would leave 5 pounds for me. Practicing body-strengthening martial arts burns through immense energy. I can easily eat 5 pounds of meat in 2 meals. In fact, the further I progress in my training, the more meat I'll need. Consuming more will help me cultivate pure yang energy more quickly. All right, I'll follow your lead, Da Zhuang nodded. We started roasting the hares. Da Huang, full from the innards, lay beside the fire, sleeping soundly, while the eerie forest sounds persisted around us. Soon, the aroma of roasted hare filled the air. Da Zhuang and I exchanged glances, swallowing hard, as we began tearing into the meat ravenously. After our meal, I immediately got up to practice my martial arts. Every move I executed was precise and deliberate. Brother Sean, when did you learn martial arts? You're even better than my grandpa, De Zhuang exclaimed, staring at me in amazement. His grandpa used to be a Shaolin monk in his younger days. Interested in learning? I asked. Nah, my grandpa practiced martial arts his whole life and got nowhere. I'll stick to lying around. De Zhuang waved his hand dismissively. After finishing a few rounds of practice, I grabbed the rabbit meat and dug in, eating bite after bite before resuming my training. I kept going until 10 p.m. before heading to the resting hut for the night. At 2 a.m., I woke up and dragged De Zhuang out of bed too. Daybreak was at 4 a.m. around here, and the early morning was the best time for both training and hunting. I had only slept for 4 hours, but I felt full of energy. That's the power of body refinement techniques. De Zhuang, go chop some straight branches. I'll practice my form, and then we'll head out hunting. Got it. De Zhuang grabbed a machete and headed out. I started practicing my martial arts, focusing on whether any pure yang energy had started to form in my body. Around 3 a.m., I stopped. My stomach was a little hungry, but I was in peak condition. De Zhuang had already returned with a pile of tree branches. Daybreak is coming. Let's head out. Make sure we're back before 10. Got it. De Zhuang was excited. It was his first time hunting. I planned to follow the small stream for a bit and then explore other areas. Brother Sean, how much game do you think we'll get today? If we could catch 3 more rabbits like yesterday, that would be amazing. They were delicious, De Zhuang said, still drooling at the thought of the rabbit meat. 3 rabbits? That's nothing. Today, I'll bag us a roe deer, I said confidently. No need for a deer. A few rabbits will do just fine, De Zhuang replied. Before we even reached the stream, the talisman gourd pendant on my chest suddenly grew warm. Stay alert. I immediately slowed down. What is it, Brother Sean? De Zhuang followed my lead, moving cautiously. I pointed ahead. A plump wild rabbit, probably close to 6 pounds, was nibbling on some grass. Whoa, that's a huge rabbit. De Zhuang's eyes widened in disbelief. I drew my bow, aiming at the rabbit 40 meters away, and released the arrow. It pierced straight through the rabbit's neck, pinning it to the ground. Wait, did you even aim? De Zhuang exclaimed, astounded. Yellow, our hunting dog, dashed over, grabbed the rabbit, and dropped it at my feet, wagging its tail eagerly. It knew it was about to get the rabbit's innards as a reward. Brother Sean, was this how you got the 3 rabbits yesterday too? You're insanely accurate. One of them was thanks to Yellow, I said, giving the dog a pat on the head. Man, I'm worse than a dog. De Zhuang laughed. Come here. I'll teach you how to process the rabbit. From now on, I'm putting you in charge of prepping the game and carrying the haul. No problem. Brother Sean, even if you send me to wrestle a bear, I won't complain. De Zhuang pounded his chest in feigned bravado. After showing De Zhuang how to handle the rabbit, we continued downstream. About 10 minutes later, the gourd pendant heated up again. My instincts kicked in, and I motioned for De Zhuang to slow down. Another wild rabbit was munching on grass up ahead. Brother Sean, another rabbit? What? Is the whole forest nothing but rabbits now? De Zhuang said, puzzled. Game is game. A single rabbit goes for just over 40 cents. 10 rabbits? That's more than $4. Enough to buy 40 pounds of rice. Rice? Brother Sean, I haven't eaten rice in ages. De Zhuang swallowed his drool. When did you ever eat rice in the first place? I teased him. Well, I think I've only ever had rice soup. This time, if we sell the game, I swear I'll buy rice and cook some for myself. De Zhuang's excitement was palpable, though he quickly furrowed his brow. Brother Sean, this rabbit is pretty far, though. 70 meters away. Can you even hit that? My bow was only good for 50 meters. Past that, the power dropped sharply. The farthest I'd ever shot game was 40 meters. 70 meters was a whole different challenge. The target was tiny at that distance, and I'd have to account for wind speed and other variables. An old monk had taught me to calculate these factors, but now I relied purely on instinct. It had become second nature. Whoosh! Before De Zhuang finished his sentence, I stood up, fully drew the bowstring, and let the arrow fly. It arced gracefully through the air and struck the rabbit's neck dead on. Got it. Yellow ran out again to retrieve the still twitching rabbit. My goodness. Unreal. De Zhuang stood there, flabbergasted. Brother Sean, you're better than Uncle Jean Sean. Did you even take time to aim? De Zhuang thought I was already the best hunter in Stone Creek Village. What he didn't notice was that every rabbit I shot was hit precisely in the neck. That way, the pelts stayed intact, maximizing their value. Rabbit pelts might not be worth much, but every little bit counted. Get a move on. Morning is when the forest is most active. Once it's over, the chances get slim. I motioned him to hurry up. De Zhuang quickly processed the rabbit. But he raised a good point. Why were we only finding rabbits? It'd be nice to bag a wild pheasant or something else for variety. We hadn't walked 3 minutes when Yellow tugged at my pants leg and raced forward. More game. An excited grin spread across my face as I sped after him. Sure enough, in the bushes ahead were 2 wild rabbits, each at least 4 pounds. Including these, we now had 4 rabbits this morning already. However, this time, the gourd pendant didn't react. It seemed when the pendant heated up, it gave me a stroke of luck. Other times, like now, we could still find game purely through Yellow's instincts. Brother Sean, 2 rabbits. Too bad we can only shoot 1. The other will definitely escape, De Zhuang lamented. Whoosh, whoosh. I drew and fired 2 arrows in quick succession. Both rabbits were hit in the neck simultaneously and collapsed, twitching. Holy smokes. 2 arrows at once. De Zhuang stood there frozen in shock. You shot 2 arrows and hit 2 rabbits? What hunter could ever pull that off? Flap, flap. A wild pheasant suddenly burst out of the nearby bushes, startled by us. Brother Sean, a pheasant. Ah, but it's flying away. De Zhuang sighed in disappointment. Not so fast. Whoosh. I drew my bow and fired again. The arrow struck true. The pheasant flapped its wings twice in midair before dropping to the ground. Yellow dashed over and brought back the 2 rabbits and the pheasant. Brother Sean, you're incredible. I'll worship you for life. De Zhuang's voice quivered with excitement. Come on, let's process the game. I chuckled. 2 rabbits at 47 cents a pound came to 94 cents. The pheasant was cheaper, about 43 cents for one. This haul alone was over $1. This forest really was a rich hunting ground. Money is everywhere. Just bend down and pick it up. This time when I go back, I'll get fabric to make new clothes and buy new shoes for mom and sister-in-law. They've endured constant mistreatment at the Lee family's place, eating the worst food and wearing the most tattered clothes. They haven't had anything new since marrying into that household. I have to make things right for them. I'll also buy them snacks and some nice face cream, just to make the folks in the village jealous. From now on, I'm only eating fine grains, no more coarse ones. Rice and white flour are a must, and there needs to be meat on the table every single meal. After De Zhuang processed the game, we went back into the woods to hunt. By a little after 7 a.m., we were already back. We originally planned to hunt till 10, but De Zhuang couldn't carry any more game. It was all hanging from him. And honestly, I didn't want to tire myself out either, so we called it a day and headed back. De Zhuang, count up what we've got. I lay on the grass to rest while De Zhuang started taking inventory. My goodness, we hit the jackpot. Brother Sean, when I take all this back, my old man won't dare say I'm slacking off anymore. De Zhuang said excitedly as he sorted through the haul. It didn't take him long. 11 hares, 5 pheasants, and 1 raccoon dog. Brother Sean, we're rolling in it. That's plenty, right? When should we head back? De Zhuang asked, buzzing with excitement. Head back? Why would we do that? I replied. What we've got here barely makes up 100 pounds of meat. With just the 2 of us eating along the way, there won't be much left to bring back. Brother Sean, I don't mind going without. I'll just eat some coarse grains. I can't bear to waste meat. This stuff is worth good money, said De Zhuang, scratching his head. People who've known real poverty are always afraid to squander anything. Do as you wish. But if you won't eat, I will. Today at noon, we'll roast 3 of the rabbits. I'll eat when I wake up. You can decide for yourself how much to have. I closed my eyes for a quick nap. Life felt so comfortable. De Zhuang got to work, setting up to roast 4 rabbits. Even De Huang, the dog, lay down beside me to rest. Soon, the smell of roasting meat began to waft through the air. By the time I got up, I'd already polished off 2 rabbits and was finally starting to feel full. De Huang chowed down happily nearby, his belly bulging. We also got 1 masked palm civet this trip. I had planned to make soup, but unfortunately, we didn't have a pot. Only De Zhuang's military water canteen. De Zhuang, chop up that civet and stew it in the canteen. We've got to finish it today, I instructed. Got it. Whatever you say, Brother Sean. Although De Zhuang hated the thought of using it up, this was my hunt, so the final say was mine. Once you're full, get back to cutting tree branches. Build us a larger shelter. We'll head out hunting again this afternoon. All right, Brother Sean, if only we'd brought Air Zhuang too. There's so much game, I can't carry it all on my own. Good idea. Next time, bring your brother along. With more people, We can even carry a pot. I got up and started practicing my martial arts. 2 hours passed. My stomach was empty again, so I finished off the rest of the roasted rabbit before diving back into my training. Huh. I let out a low shout, and an energy, the force of my punch, emanated from my fists. Inside me, a surge of pure yang energy started flowing. I had done it. A wave of joy swept through me as I continued channeling my energy. In my past life, it had taken me 3 months with the old Taoist priest to cultivate pure yang energy. This life, it came so much quicker. By noon, De Zhuang was utterly exhausted. De Zhuang, the sun's too harsh. Take a break and then get back to work. By 4 p.m., the shelter was done. A good 10 square meters, plenty of room for 2 people. Let's go hunting, I said. De Zhuang blocked the tiny shelter door and stashed the morning's game inside before we headed out. 10 minutes following the small creek. Why aren't there any animals here? I frowned. Brother Sean, it's not like game just shows up wherever you want. Most hunters go into the forest for a whole day and still come back with nothing, De Zhuang replied. Suddenly, the jade gourd around my neck started to heat up. De Zhuang, look up ahead. I lowered my voice, pointing forward. A roe deer. Brother Sean, it's a roe deer. We're so lucky. De Zhuang could hardly contain his excitement. It was a female roe deer, probably over 60 pounds. It'd fetch at least 20 yuan, worth way more than a bunch of rabbits. De Zhuang, you and De Huang stay quiet, I whispered, creeping toward the deer as carefully as possible to avoid spooking it. Wild roe deer have sharp hearing. They're skittish, but they have a habit of stopping suddenly to check their surroundings when they run, hence their nickname, Dumb Roe. My 60-pound bao men I needed to get within 30 meters for a clean kill. 50 meters, 40 meters, 37 meters. Suddenly, the roe lifted its head and looked my way. Damn, I'd been spotted. I tensed up, thinking the hunt was over. De Zhuang was panicking too. The deer we'd almost bagged was about to bolt. Just as I was steeling myself to leap forward and risk a rushed shot, a rabbit darted out of the underbrush. The roe, realizing it was just a rabbit, went back to grazing. My heart settled. I inched closer again. 30 meters. Perfect. I drew my bow. I noticed the rabbit that had almost blown my cover was still munching away nearby. I aimed at the roe's neck. Whoosh. The arrow flew true, piercing right through its neck. The roe hadn't even registered the hit before blood gushed out. It staggered, trying to flee, but collapsed after a few steps, twitching on the ground. Quickly, I knocked a second arrow and shot at the rabbit. Bullseye. The rabbit was pinned to the ground as De Huang raced forward. Let's move, I called, and De Zhuang and I headed over. Brother Sean, you're incredible. Taking down a roe deer with just a bow. De Zhuang exclaimed, thrilled. What should we do with it? Watch and learn. I pulled out my machete to bleed the deer. This way, the meat wouldn't spoil. We'd save skinning it for later. If it sat too long after death, the hide wouldn't be worth much. My arrow had pierced the neck neatly, leaving the hide intact. Guns, on the other hand, ruin pelts. They leave holes and scorch marks that lower the value. Poor quality hides sell for a little over 4 yuan, decent ones for 8. This one was pristine and could easily go for 15. The only issue was the heat. It might spoil the meat. We'd need to dig a pit for storage next time or bring salt to cure the meat. Brother Sean, the roe's so heavy. Let's carry it back first, suggested De Zhuang. All right. De Zhuang hoisted the 60-pound deer onto his shoulders. We took it back to the shelter, dropped it off, and set out again. This time, luck wasn't on our side. We circled the creek, but found nothing. Just as I was gearing up to push deeper into the woods, the jade gored at my chest suddenly. I suddenly felt a feverish alertness. Another prey? Immediately, I tensed up, scanning my surroundings. What's going on, Shanji? De Zhuang asked curiously. Rustle, rustle. The sound of leaves brushing against each other drew closer. Soon, 2 roe deer came running toward us. One of them wounded with fresh blood on its body. De Zhuang, get ready. I'll let them come closer before I shoot. Take the other one with your long spear. I whispered decisively. Shooting 2 arrows at a time wouldn't have enough impact to bring down a roe deer properly. But these 2 were charging straight at us, giving De Zhuang the perfect opportunity for a precise strike with his spear. Got it. De Zhuang tightened his grip on the spear, his palms already sweating in anticipation. 30 meters, 20 meters, 10 meters. Swoosh. I lunged up from the underbrush, pulled my bowstring to its limit, and released the first arrow. Without hesitation, I quickly knocked a second one. Ah! De Zhuang leapt forward, driving his sharp spear deep into the roe deer's body. Thud! The spear sank in, and the sheer force of the collision sent De Zhuang staggering backward, nearly tumbling over. He lost his grip on the spear as the roe deer collapsed onto the ground, twitching in its final moments. Huff, huff, huff. De Zhuang panted heavily, his arms trembling from the exertion. All right, De Zhuang, let's head back. I slung my bow onto my back. Right. De Zhuang hoisted one of the deer onto his shoulders as we began the hike back to the drop house. Earlier that afternoon, I'd gone hunting and hit the jackpot. 3 roe deer and a wild rabbit. 3 gutted roe deer could fetch us $15 each, which would total $45. Plus, the rabbit was a bonus. De Zhuang, we've got too much prey to carry all at once, I said while taking stock. You head back lightly loaded. Get your dad and your younger brother to come out and help carry the haul. In the meantime, I'll circle the woods a bit more and see if I can take down anything else, I instructed. At 6 feet 4 inches, 195 centimeters, and 330 pounds, 150 kilograms, De Zhuang could barely manage the 45 pounds of meat from one deer. At 6 feet 1 inch, 185 centimeters, and 286 pounds, 130 kilograms, I had my bow, arrows, and tools. My limit was 30 pounds. Together, we could haul 75 pounds tops. But with 3 roe deer totaling a gutted weight of around 150 pounds, some help was definitely necessary. Shanji, how about I just carry some back on my own first? De Zhuang suggested. No, you need to move light and stay alert. Make sure you've got your spear. There could be wolves. Take De Huang with you back to the village too. Shanji, it's still early. Leave De Huang here with you, he replied. Look at those claw marks on the wounded deer. It was attacked by wolves. That means wolves are nearby. I'm locking all the prey here in the drop house and not setting foot outside after nightfall. If you carry bloody meat, it'll slow you down, and the scent will attract trouble. Reluctantly, De Zhuang agreed but still insisted on leaving De Huang, the hunting dog, with me. I don't know De Huang well. If he runs off, I wouldn't know where to find him. After De Zhuang left, I stored the prey securely in the drop house, tying the door shut. Taking my bow, I ventured out to hunt some more. As darkness began to spread, I managed to catch a few pheasants, rabbits, and a striped civet. Unfortunately, there weren't any musk deer or sable. Those would have brought in some serious cash. When I returned to the drop house, the fire I'd left was still burning. I roasted 2 pheasants and made a soup with the civet, filling myself up before starting my regular martial arts practice. Each punch echoed with force through the still night. The old forest had turned pitch black. From the underbrush came faint rustling sounds, accompanied by the distant, eerie howls of unseen beasts. A pair of pale, bare feet stumbled over the rugged, dirty forest path, scraped and bloody. Each step was accompanied by soft jingles from an ankle bell, a stark sound piercing the haunting silence. The glow of predatory eyes blinked among the shadows around her. Wang Chuanxiao's face was etched with sheer terror. Her hair disheveled, she ran aimlessly, gasping for breath, tears streaming uncontrollably down her face. Help! Somebody help me! She cried desperately into the night, glancing over her shoulder at the approaching danger. Her footing faltered as she tripped on a root, tumbling to the ground. Pain shot through her twisted ankle. This is it, she thought, her heart sinking in despair. Under the moonlight, a black-furred wolf emerged, its rancid breath roaring closer with every step. Terrified, she clawed at the soft earth, trying in vain to push herself further from the imminent threat. There's no escape. She was readying herself for her end. Whoosh! A shadow flew out from above, landing squarely on the wolf. A whoo! The wolf howled in pain as its leg gashed open. In the distance, De Huang barked wildly while I charged forward with a torch and machete in hand. Faced with the advancing firelight and the aggressive dog, the wolf hesitated, growled, and reluctantly retreated. The forest had enveloped everything in darkness, casting every creature in shadows. Thankfully, there was just one wolf. If it had been a pack, no way would I have had the nerve to intervene. The flickering torchlight finally revealed the terrified woman's face. I froze in shock. Wang Chunxiao? What are you doing here? In disbelief, she stared back. Li Qingshan. Seriously? I exclaimed. It's the middle of the night. And here you are, deep in the mountains. What did you come here for? To feed wolves or something? Ha ha. Wang Chunxiao was a local outsider, her family having moved to Shirshi village during her grandfather's time. Our village was mostly composed of 2 major family clans, the Zhaos and the Lis. No sooner had I finished my joke than she burst into tears, her sobbing as sorrowful as dripping pearls. All right, stop crying. I quickly said. Keep that up, and you'll summon the wolves right back, and I won't be saving you again. Startled, she clapped her hands to her mouth to muffle her sobs, though her lips still quivered. Under the light, I noticed for the first time her torn blouse, revealing a swathe of pale skin. What are you looking at? She snapped, tugging at her collar with a flushed face. Nothing, geez. Let's just get you to my cabin, fast, before wolf packs start roaming around. I deadpanned and picked up the blood-streaked arrow I'd shot earlier. But my ankle, she murmured pitifully. Fine, I'll carry you. I crouched and gestured for her to climb on. Back at the drop house, I lowered her onto a bed of dry hay and knelt down to remove her sock. What are you doing? She yelped, her face bright red. Relax. Let me take a look. Removing her sock revealed her delicate foot, and I began massaging her ankle where it had twisted. At first, she was shy and resistant, but soon, the tension eased, and I felt the joint pop back into place with a satisfying crack. Try standing now, I encouraged. Wary but curious, she stood. To her surprise, she felt no pain. Li Shan, you know medicine? She asked incredulously. Back in the day, I learned some things from an old doctor in the forest, I said. But seriously, how did you end up here? She finally sat down and disclosed the truth. My dad wanted to marry me off to Xiaoba, and I didn't want to, so I ran away. I got lost in the woods and almost got eaten by wolves. Xiaoba, the village party secretary's son. I frowned. You don't want to marry him? Li Shan took off Wang Chuanxiao's other sock, his rough hand cupping her small foot. Of course not. If I wanted to, why would I run away? Why would I get lost in the woods? Wang Chunxiao said, a bit upset. And if you don't go back, where would you go? I asked. I don't know. I'll go wherever my feet take me. Anywhere is better than marrying Zhao Ba. Chunxiao, think about this. It's just the two of us out in these woods. Me, a man, and you, an unwed young woman, I said calmly. If I wanted to take advantage of you right here and now, who would know? Wang Chunxiao froze in place. If you dared to resist, I could just kill you, bury your body somewhere, and no one would ever know. Or not even bury you, leave you out there to be devoured by wild animals. You'd vanish off the face of the earth, I continued. And me? I'd enjoy a few nights with you and face no consequences. Just to make sure you wouldn't get the chance to come back and accuse me later, I'd end it for you anyway, even if you cooperated. Are you scared, Chunxiao? Aye. Her eyes were filled with terror and pleading. Are you scared? I pressed. Yes. Tears rolled down her face. What kind of world is this? A girl like you, daring to run away alone? If you encounter bad people, you're looking at a fate worse than death, dumped in the wilderness and violated for nights on end, I said coldly. And that's the better scenario. If an old bachelor caught you, you'd be chained up in some cellar as his breeding stock, tortured day and night. You'd have his kids, go insane from the abuse, and spend your entire life as his concubine. Now tell me, Chunxiao, are you scared of that? Wang Chunxiao nodded in a panic. I'm scared. Will you try to run away again? No, I won't. But I really don't want to marry Zhao Ba. She started sobbing. Then confront the problem instead of running. Why is your father trying to marry you off to Zhao Ba? Why else? Zhao Ba's family has money. His dad is the village party secretary, which means he'll support us, a family of outsiders, she explained. When is the wedding? They're sending the engagement gifts at the end of the year, and the wedding will be next year. Good, we've got time. This isn't an impossible situation, as long as you're willing to fight for it. If you follow my lead, I guarantee you won't have to marry Zhao Ba, I said sincerely. Really? Chunxiao grabbed my arm, as if clinging to her last hope of survival. Of course. What's the price? What do I have to do for you? She seemed naive, yet clear about the concept of give and take. I don't know yet. Once I've helped you, it'll be up to you. You can repay me however you see fit. Really? Even just a pound of sweet potatoes? It's up to you. If all she gave me was a pound of sweet potatoes, then we'd have no further contact after this. Don't worry, it won't just be a pound of sweet potatoes, she said, her expression complicated. Feeling my rough hand cradling her foot, the frantic storm inside her seemed to slowly calm. The idea of having a man to rely on, it felt comforting. The firelight flickered across my face, and she found herself staring at me absent-mindedly. She was already getting accustomed to me touching her so casually. Oh well. Suddenly, the sound of wolves howling outside cut through the night. Wang Chunxiao shivered all over. Wolves. Li Shan, there are wolves outside. Big Yellow, come in here. I called out, and Big Yellow, the dog, immediately ran inside. To ensure safety, I shut the door, but carried in some burning embers to keep warm. There was a space in the house where stones lined the floor, and on top of them was a clay brazier filled with glowing coals. This setup kept the house from catching fire. The walls still had cracks and gaps where the smoke could escape into the night. Don't worry. The bonfire outside is still burning. Wild animals won't dare come over here. I reassured her as she continued trembling. Okay, she nodded, but fear still lingered. Have you eaten anything? I asked, changing the subject. My stuff fell when I got lost. I haven't eaten all day, she said, and as if on cue, her stomach emitted a loud growl. Her face instantly flushed red. I chuckled and pulled out a skinned rabbit from the corner. Want some? Rabbit meat. Chuanxiao's eyes lit up at the sight. She hadn't had food in a day, let alone meat in what felt like forever. She eagerly crawled over to squat by the fire, watching as I began roasting the rabbit meat. I'll give you a shoulder rub, she offered, standing behind me and pressing her hands onto my shoulders. Her hands weren't strong, but the massage was surprisingly pleasant. The rabbit meat quickly began to smell tantalizing, and I noticed Chunxiao behind me constantly swallowing her saliva. Once it was done, I sprinkled some salt on it and handed it over to her. It smells so good. She looked like she was about to cry from joy. Within moments, she devoured the entire rabbit. Then, wiping her mouth, she gazed at me with a mix of gratitude and unease, like she was deciding how best to repay me. Chapter 15, A Tense Night. In Shirshi village, De Zhuang sprinted back into the village as night fell, drenched in sweat and covered in leaves. His parents were still awake, waiting anxiously inside their house, their faces full of worry. I told you, he shouldn't hang out with that good-for-nothing Li Qingshan. Look what's happened now, De Zhuang's mom complained. Enough. Li Qingshan's willingness to hunt in the mountains shows he's trying to do something with his life. But he's young, and he doesn't listen to experienced elders. Without an old hunter leading him, it's easy to run into trouble out there, De Zhuang's dad sighed. When De Zhuang gets back, tell him he's not allowed to go with Li Qingshan anymore. Do you know how many people the forest has swallowed up over the years? Even that gang of horse thieves. They went in a few years back and never came out. All right, I'll talk to him. Just as they were speaking, the gate was forcefully kicked open. Dad, are you home? De Zhuang shouted, barging into the house. Hurry and get over here. Kid, what are you up to? 5 minutes later, De Zhuang explained everything, but the family didn't believe him. Big brother, you've only been in the mountains for a few days. How could you have hunted so many wild animals? Questioned Zhuang. Even Zhao Zhanshan wouldn't have managed that. Dad chimed in with disbelief. Dad, why would I lie to you? Come up the mountain with me quickly. The prey's been processed, but it won't keep for long. We need to sell it soon, De Zhuang urged. If I'm lying, I swear I'll never go up the mountain with Brother Shan again, all right? Fine, but you said it, his dad replied, glancing outside at the rain. Let's wait until the rain stops. No, don't wait. Grab the raincoats, and let's go. It's dark and raining. The roads will be slippery, it's easy to get lost. Let's wait a bit. The rain won't last forever. All right then. De Zhuang relented reluctantly, staring out at the heavy downpour. Deep in the forest, inside the shack. Clatter, clatter. Heavy rain suddenly began pelting down while I was lost in thought about how to repay Li Qingshan. The crisp sound of raindrops hitting the leaves outside normally felt peaceful, but this was no good sign now. The rain intensified quickly, and the campfire outside was extinguished in an instant, leaving us only the faint, glowing embers in the small shack. A woo, a woo-woo. The howls of wolves filled the night, accompanied by the sound of a pack moving through the underbrush. It sounded like there were quite a few of them. Li Qingshan, wolves are coming. I stuttered out, trembling with fear. Just don't go outside, and we'll be fine. Li Qingshan responded calmly, estimating based on the noise that there were at least a dozen wolves. Without the shack as our shelter, we'd be doomed tonight. Luckily, it provided a barrier. Even if the wolves clawed a hole in the wall, he was confident he could guard the breach, dispatching them one by one if it came to that. Thud! A wolf's claws scraped against the wooden planks of the wall. The creatures had caught the scent of humans. It seemed unlikely they'd leave without making a scene tonight. Rainwater started leaking in, and the damp spread until even the embers of the fire fizzled out. Summer storms came with fierce wind and rain, and neither of us were dressed heavily. Cold gusts seeped through the gaps in the walls. Li Qingshan, with his hardy physique and cultivation of pure yang energy, seemed unaffected. I, on the other hand, couldn't stop shivering. Already thin, I had a constitution prone to the cold. Curled up into a ball, I tried warming myself, but the storm outside was relentless. My whole body shook and trembled. You're freezing, huh? Li Qingshan's voice broke the silence. Why, yeah. I nodded, my teeth chattering. Come here. He reached out and pulled me into his arms. His body radiated warmth, the pure yang energy circulating within him like a blazing furnace against the chill. Startled at first by his embrace, I instinctively struggled to break free, but his broad chest was too inviting, so warm and comforting that I soon gave up, melting into him. Warmth spread through me, and my shivering subsided. Slightly lifting my head to watch him, I noticed his chiseled jawline, handsome face, strong shoulders, and sturdy chest. His heavy breaths brushed against my face with a masculine intensity. My cheeks burned hot, and I immediately lowered my head, feeling flustered, my heart racing like a drum. Outside, the storm howled with fury. The wolves growled and prowled in the pitch-black forest beyond. Yet within the shelter, I nestled in the embrace of this robust man. The stark contrast overwhelmed me with stirring emotions. Li Qingshan glanced down at me in his arms, but refrained from making any move. The hungry wolf pack prowling just beyond the thin wooden walls posed too much danger. There was no room for carelessness. Messing around would only spell trouble. What a pity, he thought. Here she is, a sweet and gentle girl, and all I can do is hold her. But of course, she's a proper lady. There's no way she'd go along with anything improper. These damn wolves. Wait till dawn. I'll wipe out their whole pack. Time slipped by. When the sun finally rose, it sent streaks of light through the cracks in the walls. When the wolves failed to find anything despite an entire night of effort, they ultimately left with the rain stopping. Cautiously, Li Qingshan checked the area. Though rain meant slippery roads, with De Huang on guard duty, he allowed himself a bit of rest. Eventually, he dozed off. When our eyes met after waking, I quickly scrambled to my feet, shyly murmuring, "Thank you for last night." "Hey, Wang Chunxiao, you owe me. I saved your life, didn't I? How are you planning to thank me?" Li Qingshan teased, standing tall and leaning slightly toward me with a cheeky grin. I fiddled nervously with the hem of my clothing, my heart pounding. "What do you want? Haven't thought about it yet. I'll let you know later." He chuckled and gave my head a playful pat before stepping outside. De Huang, the dog, was already restless from being cooped up. The moment the door opened, it bolted out, running wildly and marking its territory everywhere. Li Qingshan checked the other small stash rooms for the stash of hunted prey. Everything was still there, much to his relief. He estimated De Zhuang would likely return by noon. Meanwhile, there was still time to explore nearby. It wouldn't hurt to see if there was more game to hunt. Early morning, Li Qingshan prepared breakfast, soup and 4 roasted wild chickens. Oh wow, that smells amazing. I couldn't hide my excitement at the aroma of the roasted chicken. In the daylight, Li Qingshan finally got a clearer look at my face. Young and fresh-faced, there was only one word to describe me: radiantly youthful, like dew-kissed blossoms. The wild chicken, lightly salted, was mouth-wateringly delicious. Its warm, savory flavors melted in my mouth. It was perfection. Li Qingshan tucked into his food heartily, downing 3 chickens in the time I had barely finished one. Watching him eat like that, I suddenly realized why his shoulders and back were so broad. It came from sheer energy and nourishment. My father used to say, "A man with a healthy appetite is a man who can get things done." Marrying a man like Li Qingshan would make any woman the envy of the town. Chapter 15. Practicing martial arts and getting caught by Wang Chunxiao. Taking advantage of the early morning, I practiced a set of health-boosting martial techniques just outside. Somewhere during the routine, my jade gourd pendant slipped out from underneath my clothes, catching the light in a curious way, as if absorbing unseen energy. I didn't fully understand what it was doing, but I figured I'd ignore it for now. Wang Chunxiao, gnawing on another piece of roasted chicken, had her gaze locked on me. Watching me train, her eyes practically sparkled. My powerful strikes carried an air of vigor, and as sunlight bathed my figure, it undoubtedly exuded masculinity in her eyes. In her mind, she thought, this rough around-the-edges man is actually amazing, not to mention rather handsome. There's no one like him in the whole village. However, it was a shame my father wasn't the village head, she mused. If he were, her father would have already brought up marriage arrangements by now. Still, she thought, if only Li Qingshan could separate from his family ties, that would change everything. Catching her spacing out, I snapped her back to reality. "So, are you coming with me to hunt, or staying here?" Chapter 16. Wang Chunxiao plays dumb. "I'll go with you," Wang Chunxiao replied without hesitation. She had no intention of being left alone, especially after last night's ordeal, knowing the wolf pack might return. With her and De Huang tagging along, I headed toward the nearby creek. Despite the danger in these old forests, survival meant taking risks. It was time to hunt. Keep in character and maintain the creativity. Black bears and tigers are around here. During the day, my eyesight is sharp. If I encounter wolves, I can climb trees. I've got a bow and arrows in hand, plus my trusty dog, Big Yellow, on alert. Because of yesterday's rain, the little creek's water level rose quite a bit. After walking for 2 minutes, the jade gourd pendant on my chest started to heat up. Prey was near. Ahead, there were 2 wild pheasants, busy with a special moment, the male riding on top of the female. Wang Chunxiao pointed and exclaimed, "Those 2 mountain chickens are fighting." I replied. I could hit them, but it wouldn't feel right to interfere now. Why not? She looked puzzled. They're working hard for the next generation. Wouldn't it be immoral to kill them now? Wang Chuanxiao's face immediately turned red. It suddenly clicked what the two birds were actually doing. We were standing close to each other, so close she could feel my breath. Things got slightly tense, a bit charged. She closed her eyes. Shoo. I loosed an arrow. Got it. Wang Chunxiao opened her eyes and saw me running toward the prey. She looked both disappointed and upset. This fool. He's clueless about these kinds of moments. Of course, I knew exactly what I was doing. It's all about strategy. Playing hard to get makes the fish bite the hook even harder. The ambiguity of flirting beats full-on romance any day. I learned this in another life. Marriage means one woman, and even dating is one person at a time. But if you're single, well, the world is your oyster. Did you hit two with one shot? Wang Chuanxiao's astonished eyes fell on the two pheasants I had skewered with a single arrow. Standard stuff, I said casually while quickly preparing the kill. She volunteered to carry one, so I handed her the heavier bird, weighing over 5 pounds, and continued heading downstream. 5 minutes later, I shot a spotted civet that had been hiding in some bushes. How are you this accurate? Wang Chunxiao looked at me with awe. No one in the whole village can shoot better than you. Whoever marries you will never run out of meat. At 6 a.m., I'd set out to hunt, and by 9, I figured I'd better head back before Dazhuang, big strong, my buddy, returns and wonders where I went. In just 3 hours, my haul was impressive. 3 pheasants, 3 hares, and a civet, totaling 30 or 40 pounds. Clearly, Wang Chunxiao couldn't carry all that, so I grabbed 2 of the hares to lighten her load. When we got near the old forest hut, the jade pendant heated up again. Something's up, I whispered for Wang Chunxiao to stay quiet as I crept forward. Sure enough, 60 yards ahead, a raccoon dog was sniffing around for food. Its fur is valuable, especially for making furs. It looked to be at least 6 or 7 pounds. Another one. Wang Chunxiao looked at me, flabbergasted. How do you do this? Other hunters could go days on the mountain without finding a thing. Me? I just aim, and I hit. Whoosh. An arrow flew straight into the raccoon dog's neck. It only ran 2 steps before collapsing in spasms. You're unbelievable. Wang Chunxiao was stunned. By 9:30, the hut was full of game. I lay down on some dry hay to rest, waiting for Dazhuang to arrive. Wang Chunxiao lay down beside me. You're not getting any younger. Has your family started talking about finding you a wife? She asked. Who would dare marry into my family? My sister-in-law gets bullied by Grandpa Li all the time. Why don't you think about splitting the family? She asked. It's in the works. Once the timing's right, we'll do it. Otherwise, I'd never find a wife. As soon as people hear about Grandpa Li, who'd want to marry in? As we spoke, my hand casually rested on Wang Chuanxiao's thigh. It was summer, so clothes were thin. She shuddered slightly but didn't say anything, though her face turned increasingly red. Woof woof woof. Big Yellow's barking cut the moment short. Hey Shanji, I'm back. It was Dazhuang's voice. I cursed silently and had no choice but to step out of the hut. Dazhuang had brought his father and younger brother, Heir Zhuang, second strong, with him. Altogether, today's hunt totaled 250 pounds of game. 3 roe deer weighing 170 pounds. 7 pheasants at 16 pounds. 10 hares weighing 50 pounds. 1 civet at 8 pounds. And the raccoon dog I'd just caught weighing 7 pounds. The combined weight was a problem. Dazhuang and Heir Zhuang could each carry 90 pounds, while their father managed 30. That left 40 pounds for me to carry, but there was still 70 pounds left over. Wang Chunxiao, being a girl, could barely handle 20 pounds, leaving another 50 unaccounted for. Shanji, who's this? Dazhuang asked as he noticed Wang Chunxiao emerge from the hut. His eyes widened. Wait, Wang Chunxiao? What are you doing here? Dazhuang's father also looked shocked. Chunxiao, why are you in such a desolate place? Since everyone in the village knew each other, it would be easy to misunderstand. A young woman alone in the mountains with a man in a hunting hut? Gossip was inevitable. Dazhuang's father gave me a look. It was a mix of surprise and approval. This kid's got game. Wang Chunxiao is one of the village's 3 beauty queens, and somehow, I'd managed to score her companionship. If her father found out, surely, he'd lose it. His precious daughter, stolen by this pig in the mountains. I explained last night's events to Dazhuang and his father. After hearing everything, Dazhuang's father nodded solemnly and turned to Wang Chunxiao. Girl, don't wander off like that anymore. It's too dangerous. Uncle, I won't. But I'll never marry a man like Xiao Ba. Wang Chunxiao declared firmly. Dazhuang's father nodded in agreement. Then he turned to me. So, Aoyama, Green Mountain, Dazhuang said you caught plenty of game today? I shot Dazhuang a knowing look before we opened the hut, and began unloading the haul. Hares, pheasants, civet. So many. Zhuang's eyes looked like they'd pop out of his head. Brother, no way you're pulling my leg. Even Zhuang's father was dumbfounded. You two rookies managed to get all this in one day? Thud. A 60-pound roe deer hit the ground. Both father and son froze. A roe deer? These rookies even managed to bag a roe deer? Thud. The second roe deer was thrown out. Thud. Followed by the third. Wait, are all these yours? Dazhuang's father stammered. Nope, these are all Shanji's hits. Dazhuang chimed in. Dad, Shanji is a sharpshooter. Anything within 50 yards is a guaranteed hit, and even prey 100 yards away doesn't stand a chance. Shanji is amazing. My cousin Qinglian isn't married yet. Should I introduce her? Zhuang suggested. Wang Chuanxiao's face immediately darkened, clearly displeased. Will you two shut your mouths? Dazhuang's father scolded his sons. You two don't even have girlfriends. How's it going out here? He turned to me and said, Qingshan, this is way too much game for us to carry back. Uncle Kai, let's skin and process them now, I replied. We can take the meat with us and leave the hides here to dry. Next time, we can come back to get them. Everyone got to work skinning and cleaning the animals. Qingshan, your arrows always hit the necks. You're not damaging the hides. They'll sell for a good price. Uncle Kai praised me as he worked. After we were done, we started roasting wild chickens and rabbits over the fire. Father, it smells amazing. I haven't had any meat in half a year. Erzwang said as he stared at the roasting meat, practically drooling. Look at you, so pathetic. Li Kai scolded him, though he couldn't help but swallow hard himself. Man, it smelled incredible. The three of us hadn't had meat in months. Today finally felt like a feast. Once the rabbits and chickens were ready, I divided the food among everyone. Erzwang and Li Kai devoured it like it was the best meal they'd ever had in their lives. Back in the day, even during New Year celebrations, having a little meat meant rationing it so everyone could have a couple of bites. You'd barely taste it before it was gone. Today, though, there was plenty to go around. You could eat to your heart's content. What a luxury. As Li Kai watched Erzwang eating so happily, he started thinking maybe on the next trip, he'd let Erzwang come along too. After filling up, the five of us hoisted the meat and began making our way back to Shirshi village. The mountain path was tough to navigate, but since we'd left early, we'd make it back by sundown. By 5 p.m., we reached the village entrance. A group of villagers was milling around, chatting and bragging, men, women, and children alike. Isn't that Li Qingshan, that good for nothing? Someone pointed toward me. Word is he slept with widow Wang Naixiang. That true? Isn't he the one who said he was going up the mountains hunting? No way he actually managed to bag anything. No chance. Even the veteran hunters can't catch this much. How could that loafer pull it off? Zhao Chong snorted. Him? If he didn't die in the mountains, that'd already be a miracle. This guy owed me 37 yuan and was probably hoping I wouldn't come back so he could skip repaying me. The crowd quickly surrounded us when they noticed the skinned meat on our backs and the wild chickens tied at our waists. Whoa! Blacksmith Lee exclaimed to Uncle Kai. Did you guys really get all of this? Uncle Kai laughed. Not us. Qingshan here did all the hunting. We just helped carry it back. What? Him? That deadbeat did all this. Nobody seemed to believe it. That's when Zhao Chong piped up in his usual sarcastic tone. Since when does that bum know how to hunt? I bet he stole it. That one sentence cast doubt over the crowd. You better not have stolen this, Blacksmith Lee said nervously. If it's stolen, you better return it quick before it turns into a bigger mess. Stolen, huh? Figures. Our village really raised such a disgrace. I listened carefully, noting who was bad-mouthing me and who defended me. Blacksmith Lee, Carpenter Zhao, and the tofu shop lady all vouched for me. But Annie Ma, Zhao Chong, and Zhao Yutian insisted I was a thief. Erzwang couldn't hold it in anymore. Nonsense. My bro Qingshan hunted all of this. I can vouch for him. Wang Chunxiao, another villager, chimed in. Same here. I'm a witness. I walked straight up and grabbed Zhao Chong by his collar. You got something to say? Say it to my face. Li Qingshan, what are you trying to pull? I'm not scared of you. Zhao Chong struggled, but my grip was like a vice. You've got some nerve calling me a thief. Got any proof? I barked at him. How do you expect me to prove it? Zhao Chong stammered. You can't? Then how about this? I say you stole 100 yuan from me. Pay me back. I continued sarcastically. What? Don't you dare pin that on me, he retorted. Prove you didn't steal it. I, can't prove it, huh? Then following your logic, you must have stolen it. I didn't, he protested. So why the hell are you accusing me of stealing? I roared, glaring at him. Zhao Chong swallowed nervously and looked away. Your father made up some nonsense about me assaulting your sister-in-law the other day, and I let it slide. Now you're doing this. Your whole family really is rotten to the core. With that, I slapped him across the face, loud and sharp. 5 red finger marks appeared instantly on his cheek. Before he could react, I landed a flurry of punches, knocking him to the ground. Stop! I give up. I'm sorry, Zhao Chong cried out, tears welling up as he curled on the ground. The villagers quickly jumped in to break up the fight. I scanned the faces around me. Anyone else want to accuse me? Show me some damn evidence. The troublemakers immediately shut their mouths. Uncle Li Kai, let's go. We need to stash the meat in the cellar before it spoils. Just as I was about to leave, Auntie Ma stepped in my way. Qing Shan, come on now. Give your auntie a wild chicken, won't you? My grandson's been begging for some meat. Sure, I said casually. 50 cents a bird. Are you serious? Charging me? We're neighbors. You've got so much. I'm just asking for one, she whined. I fixed her with a hard stare. Auntie, I'm still a bachelor, you know. You've got 2 daughters-in-law, don't you? How about you let one of them come keep me company tonight so I can see what being a real man feels like? You shameless little jerk. Auntie Ma shrieked, enraged. Then don't expect to get a chicken for free. Now move, I said, hoisting my game and heading off. From behind, I heard Zhao Chong groaning as he got back on his feet. Just wait. Once the hunters bring the government here, they'll shoot you for poaching. Just wait. Auntie Ma chimed in. And dreaming about my daughter-in-law? In your dreams. That night at the Li family house. The dinner table sported cornbread, stir-fried veggies, and half a salted duck egg. Even these modest offerings seemed like a feast compared to their usual fare of sweet potato porridge and pickled vegetables. Grandpa dished out some salted egg to Li Qingshu and himself before taking a bite, smacking his lips in satisfaction. The second and third uncles could only sip sweet potato porridge while looking on enviously. Out of the blue, Li Qingshu said, Third uncle, Qingshan's been gone for 3 days now, hasn't he? Yeah, 3 days indeed, third uncle nodded. If he doesn't come back, you need to go have a word with Li Hu. Tell him that the new house isn't Qingshan's, it belongs to Grandpa. Here's the English translation with a touch of American storytelling flair to capture the essence and nuances of the original text. It's up to me now. There's no reason for anyone to pin Qingshan's debt on us, I said firmly. Grandpa immediately chimed in. Qingshu is absolutely right. Lao San, did you hear that? Uncle Third sighed in resignation. Got it, Dad. Aunt Lu Gui Xiang gritted her teeth. Qingshan will definitely come back safely. But Li Qingshu let out a cold laugh. Sister-in-law, everyone knows how many people the old forest has swallowed up over the years. Li Qingshan is just a naive, clueless kid. If he walks in there and comes back out alive, that'd be a miracle. I cast a frosty glare at Lu Gui Xiang. And what does the old forest-eating people have to do with me? She scrambled for words. Plenty of hunters go into the forest and make it back. Qingshan will be just fine. He might even bring back some game. Huh. Qingshu's laugh boomed through the room. If that little punk can make it back alive, that alone would be impressive. Bringing back game? Keep dreaming. Everyone in these villages knows Qingshan is a no-good loafer. If he had gone to apprentice as a carpenter with Qingyu or Qingyu back then, he'd already be skilled by now. He sneered. If he does come back, he's not sitting at the main table for meals. Let him sit at the far end, eating leftovers, so he learns his place. The second family chimed in, triumphant. Dad, just wait. Once Qingyu and Qingyu finish their apprenticeships and start earning money, they'll be able to support you. Grandpa Li Lao Tun nodded in satisfaction. We can only count on the first and second families. Lao San, just look at your 2 sons. One's off to die who knows where, and the other is a no-good slacker. Uncle Third muttered softly. Dad, when Qingshan gets back, I'll have a stern talk with him. The first wife glared at Lu Gui Xiang. Men are talking. Stay out of it. Didn't your parents teach you any manners? Tears welled up in Lu Gui Xiang's eyes, but she lowered her head, silent. Li Qingshu, emboldened, declared, If Li Qingshan can come back with 2 wild chickens or rabbits, I'll kneel to him. Suddenly, a voice called out from outside. You said it, you'll kneel, right? Every head turned toward the yard as I strode in, carrying game on my back. Behind me, De Zhuang and Er Zhuang each carried their own haul. The yard fell into a stunned silence. Lu Gui Xiang and Uncle Third beamed when they saw me alive, their faces lighting up even more when they noticed the wild chickens, rabbits, and the freshly hunted meat I carried with me. Grandpa Li Lao Tun and the first and second families stared in disbelief, their mouths agape. Qingshan, did you really catch all this? Uncle Third asked, unable to hide his excitement. Uncle Li Kai in the corner spoke up as well. Lao San, your son's got skills. Look at all this. Wild chickens, rabbits, raccoons, even 3 deer. This will fetch quite the price at market. Bursting with pride, Uncle Third eagerly turned to Grandpa. Dad, see that? Qing Shan's got what it takes after all. But Grandpa Li Lao Tun feigned indifference. It's just a few animals. Why are you all making such a fuss? Meanwhile, Lu Gui Xiang approached me and asked cautiously, Qing Shan, are you all right? I'm fine, sister-in-law. I waved her worry away, then turned toward Li Qingshu. Well, cousin, I'm waiting. Are you going to kneel or not? The villagers, enjoying the spectacle, began shouting. He said it himself. Time to kneel. A man's word is his bond. If he goes back on his promise, nobody's going to respect him. Li Qingshu's face turned dark as a thundercloud. Rushing to his defense, the first wife exclaimed, He's just a kid. His words don't count. Besides, Qingshu is planning to work for the government in the future. How could he kneel to someone like him? I smirked. Oh, is that how it is? If the government finds out he can't keep his word, would they still want someone like that? Breaking your word speaks volumes about a person's character. Someone like that can't shoulder responsibility. No amount of excuses will cover it up. It's a simple request, Qingshu. Either kneel now, or deal with much bigger consequences later. Faced with my unyielding gaze, first uncle and Qingshu hesitated. Finally, Qingshu stammered out, Fine. Give me half a pound of brown sugar, and we'll call it even. I narrowed my eyes but agreed. Qingshu reluctantly handed me the sugar, visibly seething. As I collected it, my hand subtly pressed down on an acupoint in his wrist, releasing a burst of pure energy. Qingshu's legs gave way, his knees buckling as if beyond his control. Before anyone could intervene, he collapsed to the ground in front of me, kneeling. The crowd gasped in shock. I'm Li Qingshan, and today, I'm going to teach these people a lesson they'll never forget. Qingshu had already embarrassed himself by handing over the sugar and kneeling. I pointedly said, Cousin, you already gave up the sugar. Why'd you still kneel? That said, don't expect me to give this back. His father, Li Dekue, scrambled to lift him up. Poor Qingshu's face was so red, he probably wished he could disappear. The villagers burst into laughter, their ridicule sure to spread across the entire Shirshi village by sundown. Grandpa Li Lao Tun, trying to regain control, stood and barked. Qingshan, you need to stay grounded. Lao Da and Lao Air, take these animals to the cellar. Pick a few, one chicken and one rabbit for Qingshu to recover, another for me, and divide the rest among the first and second houses. Tomorrow, whatever's left can be sold at market, and with the proceeds, buy some sugar for Qingshu. The money goes to me. The first and second houses grinned ear to ear. They hadn't seen meat in months. But Uncle Third asked cautiously, What about our family, Dad? These animals were all caught by Qingshan. Shouldn't he keep at least one? Grandpa scowled at him. What? You think you deserve a reward? Your son already disgraced his cousin, and you still want meat? Qingshan has cornmeal. He'll eat that. As for the rest, send the remaining cornmeal to your mother. All you get is sweet potato porridge. Too insulted to stay silent, I stepped forward. Li Lao Tun, I caught these animals with my own hands. Why should you decide what happens to them? Grandpa slammed his hand on the table and shouted, You insolent little punk. Are you trying to overthrow this family? I'm the head of this household. What's yours is mine, and I make the rules. I let out a cold laugh. Family dictatorship in this day and age? Get real. These animals are mine, and nobody touches them without my say-so. Grabbing a knife, I slammed it down into the wooden table. Splinters sprayed out, and the table cracked under the force of the blow. Everyone froze. Second uncle finally found his voice and scolded me. Li Qingshan, what do you think you're doing? Lao San, control your son. But my father, head bowed, only managed a week. Qingshan, please, let's not make trouble. Ignoring him, I stared down second uncle and spoke calmly. Second uncle, you're my elder. I won't lay a hand on you. But your two boys? My cousins. Fair game. Before anyone could react, I landed a solid punch into Qing Yu's stomach, sending him doubling over in pain. Then, I grabbed Qing Yu by the arm and threw him over my shoulder, slamming him to the ground with a loud thud. Both brothers groaned and writhed in pain. Finally, I turned to Qingshu and delivered a swift kick, sending him flying backward. He landed hard, a large footprint now visible on his chest. Qingshu, snarling in pain on the ground, yelled out, Li Qingshan, you sneak attacked me. If I weren't a scholar and unwilling to stoop to using my fists, I'd have beaten you to death already. I dropped 3 men in an instant, my movements swift as lightning. The surrounding villagers were stunned into silence, their faces a mix of shock and disbelief. Holy smokes, since when was Qingshan this good at fighting? It's not that he's that good. Those 3 are just that useless. This loafer's got guts, though. Isn't he afraid he'll be kicked out for this? Li Erkue, glaring at the 2 sons lying on the ground, charged toward me in a rage. Li Qingshan, how dare you lay a hand on my boys? Before he could get close, Dazhuang positioned his hulking frame in front of me, like an immovable mountain. Try laying a finger on my brother Shan, and see if I don't obliterate you. Erzwang stepped up beside Dazhuang, crossing his arms menacingly. Yeah, anyone who messes with Shan Bro gets dealt with by me. Faced with the two of them, Li Erkue immediately backed down, his anger visibly melting into unease. The stern voice of the old family patriarch, Li Laotuan, suddenly cut through the tension. His beard quivered with indignation as he roared, Li Qingshan, if you won't recognize me as the head of this family, then pack your things and get out. Let's see how you'll survive. The villagers started whispering amongst themselves again. That's it. He's toast. No house, no fields. He'll be sleeping out in the wilderness. I sneered coldly. Fine. Tomorrow, I'll head to the government office and split from the family officially. Father, mother, you coming with me? Li Laoduan now turned his contemptuous glare at my father. Old third, you're siding with your son to make this ruckus? But my mother, Hanshio, gritted her teeth and stepped to my side, resolute. Where my son goes, I go. Then came my sister-in-law, Lu Guixiang, surprising everyone. Me too. I'm out. My father, Li Sanka, clenched his fists and finally found his resolve. For the first time, he stood tall and spoke with unshakable firmness. Father, you've got 3 sons. I've only got 1 wife and 1 son. All these years, I've done right by you, but you've never treated me fairly. Fine by me. Let's split up the family tomorrow. Enraged, Li Laoduan's face turned beet red. He began tremoring with fury. Fine. You want to split? Good. But don't think you'll get a single coin of family property. No houses, no farmland. Don't even think about it. My eldest brother, Li Daqi, ever the slimy smooth talker, tried to play peacemaker. Qingshan, just apologize. Let's end this nonsense here. Apologize? I snorted. Not a chance. I crossed my arms, utterly unfazed. Until my name's officially moved out of the family registry, I'm staying right here. And let's not forget, the house from the Gizi family is mine, and I've got a place to stay regardless. As for our farmland, back when it was divvied up, it included shares for me and my father. But here's the deal. Slap $5 on the table, and we'll waive any claim to the land. How's that sound? Li Laoduan's expression soured further. Clearly, he'd forgotten about the other house I had. If $5 isn't doable, I continued, voice icy, then at least sign an IOU. Gritting his teeth, Li Laoduan nodded bitterly, muttering under his breath, let's see how long they last with no farmland. Sooner or later, they'll come begging back. But I already knew what he didn't. By next year, under the new collective farm system, personal land ownership wouldn't matter anyway. Dazhuang, Erzwang, I ordered. Take everything to the root cellar. Come find me tomorrow at sunrise. We're heading to the market and selling these spoils for cash. Oh, and Laotuan, don't forget, you're coming with me to finalize the paperwork for splitting up the family. Oh, and while you're at it, get that IOU finalized as well. Unwillingly, Li Laoduan begrudgingly directed Qingshu to write the IOU. $5. He swiped his thumb across the ink pad and pressed his fingerprint down, marking the deal sealed. Meanwhile, Qingshu's thoughts betrayed his foolish grin. $5 for all that land? What an idiot. When the transactions were done, I turned to my mother. Mom, take these rabbits, pheasants, and that raccoon dog to cook up a feast. Tonight, we're hosting Dazhuang's family for dinner. For a moment, my mother, Hanshio, looked dazed. Never had anything like this happened in the Li household before. A private, special meal? It felt almost unreal to her. But then, Lu Guixiang stepped up and took the wild game from my hands. Come on, Mom, let's prepare. It's getting late, and we don't want to keep them waiting. As Guixiang's fingers brushed against mine while taking the bundle, our eyes locked. Hers were filled with relief from seeing I'd returned safe, while mine held a promise to protect her and our family from all harm. By now, the loitering villagers had mostly been shooed away. Dad, Mom, I said, I'm heading over to Uncle Jean's place. If old man Li dares touch any of the things in that cellar, come straight to me. Don't you worry, my father vowed, his clenched fists trembling in newfound defiance. As long as I'm here, they won't dare move a thing. For the first time, standing up to the old man seemed satisfying. Even the spoils of today's hunt, which should have been divided among the family, were now secure, ours alone. Carrying the last load of our haul, I trekked to Uncle Zhao's house with Da Huang by my side. As for Dazhuang and Erzwang, they dispersed home to prepare for the feast later that night. Chun Xiao, I said to the young woman sneaking glances at me as I passed her house, you should get back home. Your folks are probably worried sick. She lingered for a moment, blushing lightly. Shanji, When's your next trip to the mountains? As soon as we've sold off today's haul and dealt with the family business. I replied swiftly, my focus unwavering. Let me know, all right? She said, her subtle determination catching me by surprise. I furrowed my brow. Why, you want to go with me? Don't be silly. That's no place for a girl. Her chin lifted, defiance tinging her voice. I didn't say I wanted to climb a mountain. Just, let me know when you're going. You'll see. There was something cryptic about her tone, but I didn't press her further. Instead, I handed her a rabbit. Here, take this. Just tell him you were craving game and went hunting on a whim. Say anything, but don't involve me. She took the rabbit with a nod of gratitude, her face lighting up. Got it. And, Shanji, I trust you. Then, without another word, she turned and hurried off. Poising myself to leave, I couldn't help but smirk that in this village, trust and loyalty are rare commodities. Let's see how long the old man and his cronies stand their ground once tomorrow comes. Their relationship with Li Kai is strong. If someone messes with them, Li Kai's two sons will undoubtedly step in to help. Sure, we're not scared, but ending up in mutual destruction while others laugh at us isn't worth it. I think we should do nothing for now. Tomorrow, you should go to the authorities and split household registrations. Kick them out. Make it official so they have no way back. Think about it. Zhao Zhanshan, the old hunter, has land and hunts daily just to feed himself and his daughter. But Li Qingshan, all alone and with no land, can he really sustain a family of 4? This time, he caught so much just out of sheer luck, but luck never lasts. Next time, who knows? He might even die in the mountains. When that happens, wouldn't third uncle's household come begging to you for food? That's the moment we strike proper, and maybe even take Zhao Gui's house for ourselves. With third uncle's family working for us, we'd have help with the farm. And most importantly, when third uncle no longer has sons or heirs, wouldn't his property be at our mercy? On my way, I ran into Zhao Chong. The moment he saw me, he recoiled in fear. Li Qingshan, I swear, I didn't say anything bad about you. Earlier, I only went easy because De Zhuang and Heir Zhuang helped you. But now it's just us two here. If you dare make a move, you'll be the one on the ground. I couldn't be bothered with his nonsense and said directly, go home and tell your parents. Move out by noon tomorrow, or don't blame me for what happens. Then I left without another word. When Zhao Chong got home, he told Zhao Gui about what happened. What, move out? On what grounds? Zhao Gui slammed the table. This house has belonged to our family for generations. Who does Li Qingshan think he is? I don't believe he'd dare kill all of us. If nobody dies, we'll just stay and refuse to leave. Zhao Chong's mom chimed in, both their frustrations directed at Wang Naixiang. It's all because of that wretched woman. She couldn't even seduce one man. If she had kept Li Qingshan around, we could have barged in, caught them in the act, and handled him however we wanted. Zhao Chong went further, flipping over Wang Naixiang's bowl of food. Go wash the clothes. You're a cursed woman who's brought nothing but death and bad luck to my brother. With tears welling in her eyes, Wang Naixiang silently went to do the laundry. Meanwhile, I arrived at Zhao Zhanshan's house carrying rabbits and pheasants. Their dog, De Huang, barked a few times, and Zhao Shanxin opened the door after hearing the noise. Shanxin, I said, this hunt went well, so I brought some extra for you and uncle. You hunted all this? She asked, surprised. For your first time on the mountain, your luck must have been incredible. But you should keep it. Your family isn't well off either. You might not have such luck next time. She started pushing the game back toward me, thinking I had only caught a couple of animals. Don't worry, take it. I've left plenty for ourselves, and tomorrow, I'm heading to the market to sell the rest. Your father saved my life years ago, and you lent me De Huang these past few days. I can't forget that favor. I shoved the game back into her hands. How much did you catch? Shanxin was stunned. Her expression shifted as she thought it over. A novice hunter, on his first trip, bringing home this much game? It didn't make sense. Most beginners are lucky to return alive, let alone succeed in hunting this much. The hunt went well. Besides these, I got 3 large roe deer as well, I said casually. 3 deer. Shanxin gave me a thorough once-over. You've never shot an arrow, right? And this was your first time in the mountains. What would I lie for? The villagers at the entrance all saw it. It's just luck and natural talent, I guess. The moment I tried the bow, it felt so easy, like I was made for it. Pulling it to full draw, aiming, and hitting the target were second nature. It's like a gift. Shanxin cautioned, be careful the next time you go. Your life's more important than the catch. You should raise a few more hunting dogs. My father owes his survival to having 3 of them. Got it. Now go cook these. I'll stop by tomorrow to check on Uncle Zhanshan's leg. You know how to treat injuries too? Shanxin asked, surprised. I studied for a few years under an old mountain doctor. I know a thing or two. Tomorrow, I'll grab some needles for acupuncture from the market and show you what I've learned. She smiled, carrying the game into the kitchen. Watching her walk away, with those long legs and slender waist, I couldn't help but think, she's definitely worthy of being called one of the three beauties of the village. From inside, a frail voice called out, Shanshin, is Qingshan here? Why didn't he come inside? Yes, Dad, it's Li Qingshan. He brought some rabbits and pheasants, and said he'll come back tomorrow to check your injury. Apparently, he learned medicine from an old mountain doctor. Zhao Zhanshan sighed heavily. Qingshan's a good kid. He still thinks about us. Shanshin, you should stop teasing him so much. Back home, Zhao Gui, De Zhuang, Er Zhuang, and even Li Kai's wife were there. The women were busy in the kitchen while we men sat in the courtyard drinking. Zhao Gui had brought along 2 bottles of local liquor, each bottle costing a full $1. In these times, that's a big gesture. Li Kai, uncle, I said, in a couple of days, I'll head back to the mountains. Would you let De Zhuang come along? Before Li Kai could reply, De Zhuang's eyes lit up. Dad, I want to go with brother Qingshan. His archery is so amazing, it's like magic. If you don't let me, I'll sneak off anyway. De Zhuang, I scolded. Don't jump ahead. Li Kai uncle hasn't even said no. Li Kai sighed. All right, if you want to go, go. Just be careful. If something looks too dangerous, don't risk it, got it? Don't worry, Dad. De Zhuang was beaming with excitement. Er Zhuang wanted to join too, but Li Kai immediately said no. Absolutely not. It's already nerve-wracking to have one son out there, let alone both. What if something happens? How would I even live through the rest of my life? I reassured Er Zhuang. Don't rush it. Once I've gained more experience, I'll take you too. I knew there was little chance Li Kai would let both sons join me right away. I'm still a novice hunter, after all. But it didn't matter. I had a plan. I'd start with De Zhuang, bring him on a few hunts, and come back with plenty to show. Once the villagers saw the game we brought back, more would want in. At that point, I doubted Li Kai could hold back. Li Kai's family are good people, De Zhuang and Er Zhuang especially. I've known them all my life, and I trust them. Aside from them, there's Zhao Hongqi, but he's tied down. His mother is sick, and his wife just gave birth, so he has to stay home to help out. Fine, fine, Er Zhuang said, realizing tonight wasn't the time to press the issue. Meanwhile, in the kitchen, I myself was cooking. The wild chicken was already chopped into pieces. First, I heated the gol, poured in some oil. Using a gene, about half a kilogram, of inexpensive cooking oil, I heated it up with slices of ginger until they turned a light golden color. The aromatic smell filled the kitchen instantly. Next, I tossed in pieces of wild chicken, keeping the flame low, and slowly sautéed them until the moisture evaporated. This method helped tenderize the tougher texture of wild chicken without the need for prolonged simmering. It's much firmer than regular, farm-raised chicken. The pan sizzled loudly, and the rich aroma of the oil mingled with the savory scent of the meat, spreading through the whole kitchen and even wafting outside. Smells amazing, Da Zhuang said, swallowing eagerly. Next time we go hunting, we need to bring a cast iron skillet. Brother Shan's cooking is unbeatable. When the chicken pieces turned golden, I added green onions and stir-fried until just softened. I stirred in a handful of dried chili peppers and Sichuan peppercorns, letting them release their fragrant oils, followed by soy sauce, a cheap 27 cents a gene, and salt. After a quick toss, I poured in some hot water and left it to simmer. 10 minutes later, I turned up the heat to reduce the sauce, added fresh chili peppers for a quick stir, and it was ready. Even without fancy spices like star anise or angelica root, the aroma of the stir-fried chicken filled Old Li's house, and practically the whole neighborhood. In the next house over, Old Li Tun, catching the delicious scent, kept swallowing hard as he grumbled. Those ungrateful brats, wasting such good meat on themselves when they could sell it for grain. They'll regret it when they have nothing left. He stomped back and forth, pouting about how he, the head of the family, didn't even get a taste, while those little rascals were wasting the food. Tensions were also rising in the big and second houses of the Li family. Father, I want some meat, Li Qingshu said, staring longingly at the steaming chicken on the neighbor's table. You think I don't want some too? Li Dakuai fumed, pacing back and forth. Those wasteful kids are even drinking wine. It's not even a festival or celebration. Hey, go over there and ask for some meat and wine. They might give it to you since you're a woman. Me? Are you sure? Sun Lan hesitated, pointing at herself. Just give it a try? Worst case, they won't give you anything, he insisted. Just as Sun Lan was about to head over, they noticed Wu Xiao, the second house's wife, already stepping out. Qingshan's mom, enjoy your meal? Wu Xiao walked in, her eyes practically glowing as she stared at the plates of stir-fried chicken and stewed rabbit on the table. Auntie, Is there something you need? I asked with a smirk. No, no. Just thought I'd check if that chicken was your cooking. Looks good. Wonder how it tastes. I sneered. Don't waste your thoughts. In this lifetime, you'll never get to taste chicken cooked like this. What did you just say, Qingshan? Why wouldn't I get to taste it? Wu Xiu tried to argue, but her voice faltered. She remembered her life. Growing up, the best meals she had were rice mixed with lard or the occasional egg. Before marriage, she was just a burden to her family, lucky simply to sit at the table. After marriage, the only time she got chicken or eggs was during postpartum recovery. She realized her fate was bitter indeed. Auntie, what are you still standing here for? We don't even have a plate for you. When we're done eating, you can come pick up the scraps. Maybe gnawing on some chicken bones will give you a taste. I added, full of mockery. Rotten brat. Mark my words. When the food is gone and you come crawling back to us, don't even dream of entering my house. Wu Xiu stormed off in fury. From her house, we soon heard her husband, Li Erkui, yelling, "That little punk Qingshan. I'm still his uncle. He can't even offer us a bite. You keep shouting, but there's no meat here either. Useless man. How did I end up married to you?" Wu Xiu fired back. Say that again, you shameless woman. I'll teach you a lesson. A loud argument followed, quickly escalating into the sounds of a physical fight. Back in our house, I glanced outside, pondering, forget it. Even if I went out there, Li Qingshan is never sharing the food with us. Sun Lan muttered, why is that brat acting so tough all of a sudden? Uncle Li Dakuai glared at me, his displeasure obvious. After catching so much game, why aren't they sharing with the rest of us? We sat down to eat. My sister-in-law, Lu Guixiang, sat close beside me, her figure brushing against mine. Mom, is everything ready? I asked. Yes, everything's on the table, she replied. Tonight's meal featured 2 stir-fried chickens, 2 stewed rabbits, and a civet cat dish. Enough food for everyone. After dinner, my plan was to have Mom prepare the leftover wild chicken and rabbit. We'd fry and store them, preserving them for a couple of days. The remaining rabbits would be smoked or salted for preservation. Tomorrow, I intended to head to market. I'd be selling 3 roe deer and 1 raccoon dog, while keeping the wild chickens and rabbits for us. My hunting skills had improved greatly, and there was no reason to skimp anymore. If I could stay in the woods for longer with more hands to help, I'd bring back even more game. As for the 40 yuan I owed Li Hu, no rush. There was still plenty of time left in the month to pay him back. First, I needed to get enough rest and keep myself in top shape. Catching just 1 small wild boar weighing 200 pounds would more than cover the debt. Everyone, eat up and don't hold back, I said, encouraging my family while serving the food. Third Uncle Li Sankue couldn't hold back any longer and immediately dug in. Plates were quickly emptied as everyone devoured the rare feast. Meat was a luxury. We usually sold eggs for money without ever eating them ourselves. Lu Guixiang ate slowly, her low status in the family making her hesitant to go for the meat, usually just sticking to pickled vegetables. I noticed this and placed 2 chicken drumsticks into her bowl. Sister-in-law, eat up, don't be shy, I said. She blushed, but let a smile slip as she glanced down at her bowl. After dinner, with bellies full and heads a bit hazy from the wine, I gave Dazhuang instructions. Be ready early tomorrow for the market run. Bring your cart, too. Got it. Dazhuang nodded. I handed him a bowl of rabbit stew, saying, take this to Zhao Hongqi's house. His mother's unwell, and his wife just gave birth. As night fell, I hit the sack early. I needed to be up around 2 a.m. to get ready and leave for the market. It was an hour's walk, and daylight broke by 4 a.m. At the market, pork sold for 40 cents a pound, wild boar meat for 33 due to the gamey taste, and roe deer for around 31 cents. I planned to price mine at 30, aiming for a quick sale. The 3 skinned and gutted roe deer weighed 150 pounds, which could sell for about 45 yuan. After giving Dazhuang his cut, the remaining money would be mine. This time, I was determined to move out of the Li household, even if it meant buying everything from scratch: pots, pans, rice, oil, kerosene lamps, soy sauce, vinegar, soap, matchsticks. At first light, Dazhuang called out from outside, bringing his younger brother, Erzwang, along. Brother Sean, let Erzwang come too. That way, we can switch off pulling the cart, he suggested. Good idea. Once we save enough, we'll get ourselves a donkey. Much easier that way, I replied. Let me translate your story for you into English, keeping the tone neutral and conversational to fit local U.S. expressions. But next year we'll have to butcher it for meat. Big Yellow, I called out, and Big Yellow ran over, nuzzling my pant leg. Good job today, wait for me to come back. I patted its head, then loaded all the venison from the cellar onto a cart. The 3 of us headed for the market. Around sunrise, Li Lao Tun and my father would go to the town to process the household splits. I already had it planned out. First, Li Lao Tun and my dad would split into separate households. Then my father and I would split, and finally, my sister-in-law would be separated too. This way, we'd end up with 3 household registrations, counting as 3 families. If we stayed on good terms with the village chief, we could apply for 2 more housing plots. Even if the application didn't go through, we could still buy extra from others. There were plenty of widows in the village and lots of vacant houses around. Ideally, we'd get 3 houses next to each other, so that when collectivization came, we'd have 3 households with 3 housing plots, all compliant with policy. We got to the market around 3 a.m. The place was bustling with vendors from various villages, and even early buyers were already shopping. As soon as I unloaded the venison from the cart, people gathered around immediately. An elderly man pointed to the meat and asked, "Young man, how much per pound?" "Uncle, pork outside is already 40 cents a pound, and beef is 50. My venison is going for 32 cents a pound at market rate, but today my buddy's child was just born. Good news for us all. So, I'm selling it for 31 cents per pound. Can't you go a bit lower?" The old man tried to haggle. I pointed to another pile of meat nearby and said, "Uncle, I can sell you this female venison at 29 cents, but the male venison stays at 31. "What's the difference?" the old man asked, puzzled. "Male venison can give you extra vitality. The female doesn't have that effect." "Really? Why would I lie to you?" "Buy a pound, cook it tonight, and you'll feel the difference." I thought to myself, in times like these when folks barely get enough food, anything hearty enough will naturally make them feel renewed energy. "All right, give me 2 pounds. The old man made up his mind. As soon as he said that, the other men around perked up. "Give me a pound too. I'll take 3 pounds. When it came to boosting vitality, these guys were willing to spend on anything. By daybreak, the 3 deer and a raccoon were all sold out, bringing in 50 yuan total. I pulled out 25 yuan and handed it to De Zhuang, saying, "Good work today. This is yours." "Brother Sean, are you joking? I barely did anything up the mountain, just carried stuff. I can't take this much. I feel bad even taking 5 yuan. I've eaten more meat these 2 days with you than I've had in my lifetime." De Zhuang pushed the money away. "If anything, take 5 yuan off me, like my dad said. Going hunting with you is lucky, but even he said I shouldn't earn more than 2 a day." He returned 20 yuan to me. I thought about it and handed him 4 yuan. "All right, split this between you two. Buy something nice." "Thanks, Brother Sean," the brothers said, grinning as they accepted it. "Let's go. Time to hit the supply co-op to buy some pots and pans," I said. The supply co-op didn't open until 7:30 a.m., but it was only a little past 5 a.m., so we had plenty of time. I led De Zhuang and Air Zhuang to the town government office, planning to grab breakfast first and then get groceries before handling the household split and heading back home. Who'd have thought that, just as we arrived near the breakfast shop, we'd run into my dad, old man Li Dekui, Li Qing-shu, and the eldest, Li Lao Tun. They were also here for the household split, earlier than I'd expected by more than an hour. Last night, Li Lao Tun had caught a whiff of the meat we were cooking and tossed, and turned in bed, too upset to sleep. He got madder the more he thought about it. His ungrateful descendants had meat, and didn't even offer him any. So, first thing at dawn, he dragged everyone along, eager to separate us quickly, likely hoping we'd struggle on our own and crawl back to him eventually. Li Qing-shu wasn't just there to help. He was also signing up for the rural literacy class. It was an opportunity. If he studied well, he might even become a literacy teacher. It's also the path I had suggested to Wang Chunxiao. "Qingshan sold all the meat?" my father asked. "Yep, sold it cheap, so it went quickly. The office isn't open yet. Let's have breakfast first," I suggested as we walked to the breakfast shop. Li Qing-shu, Li Dekui, and the old man looked at me with expressions like they wanted to devour me alive. There were quite a few people crowding the shop door, most eating corn cakes with pickled veggies, the cheapest option. The young proprietress, probably around 27 or 28 years old, had a slender figure, and several men sneaked glances at her as she kneaded dough. "Ma'am, 8 fried dough sticks, 12 large meat buns, and 8 bowls of porridge." I placed the order right away. The moment I finished speaking, everyone turned to look at me in shock. "Who spends like that?" "Brother Sean, isn't this a bit much?" Air Zhuang asked, swallowing hard. "Qingshan, don't waste money like this. You still need to save up for a wife. Corn cakes and pickles are just fine," my dad said, concerned. These buns were the size of fists, generously filled, the kind that could fill anyone up with just one and a dough stick. "Don't worry. It's no big deal. We can't skimp on ourselves," I reassured. Li Qing-shu scoffed. "Huh, a petty man flaunting his temporary earnings. People like you can't hold on to wealth and we'll end up back here begging for help. Li Lao Tun chimed in. Let him spend it all. It'll be entertaining to watch him fail. Later, make sure to eat as much as you can, so this little brat racks up a larger bill. You bet, Grandpa. I'll have at least 2 buns, 2 fried dough sticks, and 2 bowls of porridge. Li Qingshu said, swallowing saliva. He probably hadn't ever eaten like this in his whole life. The shop owner's wife came over and frowned. Fried dough sticks are 4 cents each. Meat buns are 8 cents each. 8 dough sticks cost 32 cents. 12 buns 96 cents. Plus porridge, it'll be 1 yuan and 30 cents total. Most customers paid after eating, but since I was ordering quite a lot, I pulled out exactly 1 yuan and 30 cents and handed it to the owner's wife. Here you go, ma'am, make it quick. I'm starving. The owner's wife deliberately let her fingers brush against mine as she took the money and even threw me a flirty glance. This woman, amazing how bold she was trying to be in her late 20s. It got my heart racing a little as my eyes lingered on her for a moment longer than they should have. Just then, a girl with a ponytail entered. Miss, 1 bowl of hot tofu, extra spicy. That'll be 20 cents, the shopkeeper replied, slicing up tofu. The girl patted her pocket and said, shoot, I forgot my money. Could I pay you tomorrow? Don't know you. No way. The lady boss shook her head. Li Qingshu chimed in from the side. Isn't it just 2 cents? This young lady is so pretty. Let her pay tomorrow. The lady boss sneered. Are you going to cover for her then? Li Qingshu instantly shut his mouth. I stood up. Lady boss, just put it on my tab. Fine. The lady boss shot Li Qingshu a glance and then turned to the girl. See that? Some people only know how to talk big. Li Qingshu's face turned green with embarrassment. The girl looked at me and smiled softly. Thank you. My name's Su Wanin. I just arrived here to start work. I'm Li Qingshan. A matter of 2 cents. Come, have a seat and eat with us. I gestured to the seat next to me. Our breakfast arrived. Steaming, fist-sized meat buns and golden, crispy fried dough sticks. Su Wanin looked at the food, her eyes lighting up as she swallowed hard. Across the room, Li Qingshu pointed to another tray of buns. Lady boss, bring those to our table. I immediately spoke up. Lady boss, we ordered those first. Why are you giving them to them? You're not sitting together? No, we're a group of 4. They're a group of 3. The lady boss set the buns on our table and turned to Li Qingshu. How many do you want? Pay up first. Angrily, Li Laotuan slammed his fist on the table, shattering it into pieces. Are you here to wreck my shop? The lady boss shouted furiously. Li Dakwai quickly tried to smooth things over. We're leaving. We're not eating anymore. Not eating. You broke my table. Compensate me. 20 cents. The shop's cook came out menacingly brandishing a cleaver. No money? I'll call the authorities. Left with no choice, Li Laotuan grudgingly handed over the 20 cents they had saved to buy meat. I turned to Su Wanin and said, eating nothing but tofu won't do. Look how thin you are. Here, have a meat bun. I grabbed a meat bun and handed it to Su Wanin. Eat. Eat up, I said, giving her no chance to refuse. De Zhuang and Er Zhuang, my companions, were already starving and grabbed their share of buns, devouring them with gusto. I picked one up too, sinking my teeth into the juicy meat, the aroma tantalizingly filling the air. At the next table, the trio of men glared at us. Their empty stomachs growled audibly as they caught the scent of the meat buns. Li Qingshu and Li Dakwai's eyes fixated on our food, burning with jealousy, as if ready to snatch it all away. Let them stuff themselves, Li Laotuan grumbled, trying to save face. At the rate they're spending, they'll be broke soon and come crawling to us for help. Li Dakwai backed him up. Yeah, let them be all high and mighty for now. Inwardly, though, Li Qingshu cursed his elder. What's the point in slamming the table like that? With that 20 cents, we could have at least gotten something to eat. De Zhuang and the others finished off 6 buns and 3 dough sticks, their bellies bulging. Su Wanin only managed 1 bun, but I handed her a dough stick, and she looked at me pitifully, unsure how to refuse. With 4 dough sticks and 5 buns still left, I polished off the rest. Not quite full yet, I muttered, patting my stomach. Ever since practicing my health-focused martial arts, my appetite had increased tremendously. Lady boss, 4 more buns and 4 dough sticks to go, I shouted. Still hungry, my dad, who had just arrived, looked on in disbelief. They're for Mom and my sister-in-law. I'll bring them back. The lady boss packed up the food and handed it to me with a pleased smile. What a filial young man. Just hope you'll treat your future wife as well. Lady boss, have a sister to introduce me to? Promise I'll be good to her. As she took my money, her fingers lingered a little too long on my hand, throwing me a playful look. After that, I headed outside to practice my martial arts form. My punches swung with such force that the onlookers in the breakfast shop couldn't take their eyes off me. Su Wanyin gazed at me in amazement, while even the lady boss seemed entranced, her eyes sparkling. Li Qingshan, your moves are amazing. Su Wanyin praised me, her admiration obvious. Nothing special, I replied dismissively. Oh no, I need to get to work, she suddenly exclaimed, jumping up in a panic. Work? This early? I've just started at the supply and marketing cooperative. I can't be late. Well, that's convenient. I was planning on buying some things from there anyway. Then come with me. I'll open the doors for you. When we arrived at the cooperative, she unlocked the door and said, make a list of what you need. Grabbing a pen, I began to write. You know how to write? And quite well, too, she said, her voice laced with surprise. Learned a thing or two from an old Taoist once. After gathering the supplies, Su Wanyin started calculating. A large iron pot, $3. Small iron pot, $1.03. Soap costs 60 cents. Matches, 20 cents. 2 pairs of embroidered shoes, $5. Grand total, 30. Her eyes narrowed slightly when she saw the 2 pairs of embroidered shoes. Planning to give these to your sweetheart? Nope, just shopping for some essentials. I handed over the money. After finishing the transaction, she purposefully threw in a little extra while packing up my purchases. As I was leaving, she suddenly pulled De Zhuang aside. So, does Li Qingshan have a girlfriend or not? She asked in a quiet voice. Never heard of one. De Zhuang replied, genuinely puzzled. When I noticed the two of them talking, Su Wanyin hastened back and handed me some fruit candies. Thanks for earlier. I'll pay you back next time. After leaving the cooperative, I headed straight to the rural clinic, hoping to buy a set of acupuncture needles. As soon as I entered, I ran into village chief Li Shengli, whose limp and pained expression told me he was in discomfort again. Village chief, is your leg acting up again? I can't seem to shake this old injury, he sighed deeply. A bullet tore through my knee back during the war. Every time the pain flares up, I come to Dr. Hua for some acupuncture. Inside the treatment room, Dr. Hua, already in his 60s, was ready with his instruments. A young woman, seemingly a Western-trained doctor, sat beside him. Up early, Dr. Hua? Li Shengli greeted as he hobbled in. Couldn't sleep, Dr. Hua replied, introducing the young woman. This is my great niece, shouting. She's here to offer her expertise in Western medicine. Dr. Hua examined Li Shengli's leg carefully. Acupuncture will help, but won't solve the issue permanently. Shouting could prescribe some painkillers for you. No, Li Shengli waved him off. I'd rather stick with acupuncture. Stubborn and penny pinching, Dr. Hua grumbled, pulling out his needles. Suddenly, I interjected. Village chief, let me give it a try. I guarantee you won't feel pain for a week, and it won't come back for 3 months. Everyone froze and turned to look at me. Li Qingshan, don't joke about this. Li Shengli warned. Dr. Hua, this kid doesn't even know what he's talking about. Village chief, I'm serious. The injury is simple to treat, just needs 2 needles. My voice was calm and measured. Before I could finish, the young doctor shouting burst into laughter. He's sick, and even my second uncle couldn't help him. You're saying you can cure him in 3 months? Are you joking? Just because you can't do it, doesn't mean I can't, I replied confidently. Stop bragging. My second uncle is a renowned doctor here in the city. Even the city's officials have personally invited him multiple times, but he stayed here because he's attached to home. You could say he's a modern-day miracle healer. Our family even has ancestors as skilled as Hua Tua. If he says a condition can't be cured, who dares claim otherwise? Get out of here and stop causing trouble. Just then, a young Western doctor dressed in a white coat entered the room. He looked to be in his 20s and had a peculiar gaze fixed on shouting. Comrade, please leave immediately and stop interfering, he said, glaring at me. Modern-day miracle healer? I looked over at Dr. Hua. Was it you who was treating Zhao Zhanshan from Shirshi village? Dr. Hua remained silent, focusing on organizing his fine needles. Seeing that I was ignoring him, the young doctor reached out to grab my collar. Kid, get out now. Using yellow vine as a medicinal guide is a good choice. But Fuline and Tianyu aren't necessary. Switch them out for Xingui, it'll work far better, I said calmly. Dr. Hua paused his hands and looked up to scrutinize me. Go ahead, tell me how you treat your village chief's condition. The young doctor also stopped in his tracks. In the village chief's case, it's either nerve damage caused by a bullet or an infection leading to severe inflammation. An old Taoist priest once told me, you need precise techniques to stimulate the acupuncture points. The ones you selected are close enough, but the key lies in the force. After speaking, I immediately grabbed a fine needle and activated my pure yang energy. Aiming at Li Shengli's knee, I inserted the needle. Whoa, I can feel something, Li Shengli exclaimed after the first needle. Then came the second and the third. Once done with all three, I set the needles down. Just 3 needles? Dr. Hua asked, astonished. Yeah, that's enough. Any more would be a waste. Dr. Hua, my leg really doesn't hurt anymore. Li Shengli said excitedly, standing up. Qing Shan, where on earth did you learn this? From an old Taoist priest in the mountains. He passed away a while ago, I replied. Impossible. Shouting gasped in disbelief. Uncle Li, are you guys conspiring to fool us? Not at all. His technique is authentic, Dr. Hua said, waving her off. Whatever, he just got lucky with this particular problem. It's nothing special, the young Western doctor sneered. Dr. Sun, why aren't you staying in your own clinic? Why are you here? Dr. Hua dismissed him. Dr. Sun rubbed his nose awkwardly, but didn't leave. I retrieved the 3 needles, then said, Chief, try walking around. Li Shengli took a few steps and, with sheer excitement written all over his face, remarked, It really doesn't hurt anymore. Qing Shan, can you truly cure this fully in 3 months? Absolutely, I guarantee it. I patted my chest confidently. Dr. Hua adjusted his glasses and asked, Young man, what was the name of that Taoist priest? I shook my head. I don't really know his name. Dr. Hua stared at me. You don't even know his name? Sounds to me like you never had a master at all. Young man, you have talent. How about becoming my apprentice? What? Grandpa wants to take an apprentice. Shouting exclaimed in shock, pointing at me. So many university graduates and city-recommended professionals have begged him to be their mentor, but he declined all of them. And now, he's willing to take him as an apprentice. He just got lucky, striking gold by accident. The young doctor beside her looked green with envy. After spending 3 years trying to win Dr. Hua's favor and failing miserably, he couldn't understand why I, a complete stranger, was being extended such privilege. Becoming Dr. Hua's apprentice was akin to skyrocketing your status. Even veteran traditional medicine practitioners in the county would address you as Master's uncle. I quickly waved my hand. No need. I just came here to buy a set of fine needles. I have no interest in taking on a mentor. After all, in my previous life, I had already reached the pinnacle of the field. In this life, I just wanted to live in peace and enjoy simplicity. That's fine. Fate can't be forced, after all. Dr. Hua rummaged through a drawer and suddenly found something. Young man, do you know how to use silver needles? Do you have a set of silver needles? My eyes lit up. I do, he said with a smile. That's great. Silver needles work even better. I could cut the village chief's treatment time down to 2 months. Really? Li Shengli asked, bursting with joy. Dr. Hua handed me the silver needles. Here, take them. Grandpa, those are... Shouting started to protest, but was cut off. This set of silver needles was a precious heirloom from Dr. Hua's family, crafted with a special technique, making them exceptionally effective. I counted the needles, 15 in total. One needle would cost at least $1 in the current market. This set would easily be worth 15 bucks. Judging by their style, their origins were no trivial matter. Thank you, Dr. Hua. Chief, I'll take my leave now. Dr. Hua, feel free to reach out to me if you need anything. Just don't ask me to be your apprentice. I joked, taking the needles and heading out. Rest would follow smoothly. Much like this encounter seemed almost destined. Blaming old Li from the Li family village, if it weren't for him, they would have been eating meat today. Sis-in-law, don't just eat the buns, have a can of canned peaches. I opened a glass jar from the cart, revealing peach slices soaked in syrup, and handed it to my sister-in-law, Lu Guixiang. Canned peaches for 80 cents per jar. The members of the Li family stared wide-eyed, and I could hear the sound of them swallowing their drool. Sis-in-law, give it a try. I handed the jar up to her lips. Lu Guixiang froze in disbelief. These canned peaches are too expensive. You should give it to Mother instead. She'd never eaten canned peaches in her life. Mother spoke up. Guixiang, you've been married into this family for several years without having good days. This canned peach is yours to eat. No worries, I've got more. I took out another can and gave it to Mother. Only then did Lu Guixiang breathe easy. She took a sip of the syrup, her eyes lighting up. So sweet. Qingshan, have some too. I've already tasted it. I waved her off. Out of nowhere, the eldest daughter-in-law began wailing, scratching her husband. Good for nothing. People are eating meat buns and canned peaches while I'm stuck eating who knows what. The eldest brother turned red from the scratches, furious enough to lift a hand in retaliation. Not to be outdone, the second daughter-in-law started clawing at her husband too. Useless man. I'll scratch you to death. The Li family plunged into chaos. Grandpa Old Li's face turned beet red with anger as he roared, Stop it. Do you all want to be the village laughingstock? The eldest brother snapped. Dad, if it weren't for you throwing away those 2 dimes, we'd be eating meat right now. The second brother chimed in. 2 dimes could have gotten us half a pound of meat. Why did you smash the guy's table? Fuming, Grandpa whipped off his shoe and began whacking them. The neighbors started gathering to enjoy the spectacle. The Leaf families fighting again. Women hitting men. Now that's entertainment. Seeing Lu Guixiang holding her bun and canned peaches, the onlookers couldn't help but swallow hard. That's when Auntie Motzi dragged her grandson over. Guixiang, give my grandson one of those buns. Her grandson, little mudfish, plopped himself to the ground, throwing a tantrum. I want meat buns. Auntie Motzi brazenly declared. You've already eaten, with your fried dough sticks and canned peaches. Spare one bun for my grandson. What's the harm? If he starves, my son won't let you off easy. Lu Guixiang looked torn, unsure what to do. I flared up. Your grandson isn't my responsibility. Why should I give him one? How about you let me borrow your daughter-in-law for 2 days, and I'll give you a bun? How about that? Shameless. I turned to my mother directly. Is all the stuff packed up? It's all in the room. Dazhuang, Erzwang, help load them onto the cart. We're moving out. On it, the 2 brothers swiftly loaded our belongings, and our entire family left the Li household. The Li family was left panting and entirely disgraced, glaring at us with resentment as we walked off into the distance. Grandpa oldly stood akimbo, cursing, wasteful brats, eating meat buns and canned peaches. Mark my words, you'll squander everything and come crawling back to me in the end. Li Qingshu chimed in eagerly. Grandpa, once I graduate and start working in the city, I'll buy you meat buns every day. Exactly. Out of all of them, my eldest grandchild will be 100 times better than that loser Li Qingshan someday. Grandpa gloated with pride. The neighbors joined in the jeering. Yeah, getting cocky over a little money. They'll burn through it before long. Hunting's dangerous work. What if something goes wrong? Then what? In a quieter corner of the crowd, a fair-skinned woman spoke softly. Well, it's his money to spend. Roshua, why are you speaking up for that loafer? Are you thinking of finding yourself a man? An older woman teased. It's understandable to feel lonely with just your daughter around. Li Qingshan does have a strong build. The crowd hooted with laughter, teasing Roshua relentlessly. Roshua stomped her foot in embarrassment. What nonsense are you all spouting? She quickly grabbed her daughter and left. Roshua was originally from the city. Her husband died young, leaving her with a beautiful and delicate daughter. Both mother and daughter were strikingly pretty. We arrived in front of Zhao Gui's mud brick house. The door was locked tight, the house completely untouched. Zhao Gui and his family were still squatting here. The neighbors surrounded us, eager for drama. Zhao Gui hasn't moved out. Where's he supposed to go? This is his only home. Now this is going to be interesting. If Zhao Gui refuses to leave, what can Li Qingshan do? It's not like he can kill anyone. Poor guy, he's got nowhere to go. Can't live with the Li family, can't get into his own house. If Grandpa Li finds out, he'll laugh his butt off. The whispers spread like wildfire. Qingshan, what are we going to do? My father, Li Sankue, asked, worry creasing his face. Qingshan, don't worry. Wherever you go, we'll follow, Lu Guixiang comforted. There's that rundown house at the edge of the village. If worst comes to worst, we'll make do there. At that moment, Li Qingshu and Old Li showed up. Stumped now, aren't you, Li Qingshan? Li Qingshu taunted gleefully. Outside the locked door, Zhao Gui played dumb, pretending not to hear anything. Inside the house. Will this work? Zhao Gui's wife asked, hesitating. What's there to be afraid of? Worst comes to worst, we'll die here. What's Li Qingshan gonna do, kill us? Zhao Gui looked smug and defiant. Bang! I kicked the rickety wooden door open. The door latch snapped right off. Holy crap! The spectators gasped in astonishment. I walked straight into the yard as my younger brothers, Dazhuang and Erzwang, gawked in disbelief. Zhao Gui was just inside. When he saw me come in, his face turned pale. Zhao Gui, get out of my house. I roared. What do you mean your house? This is mine. Son, hit him. Zhao Gui shouted, putting on a brave front. Bam, bam, bam. A few punches later, Zhao Gui and his son were left howling in the yard. Just as Dazhuang stepped forward to help, I grabbed Zhao Gui and his son like they were rag dolls, dragging them out and tossing them outside the gate. Both lay there, bruised and battered, unable to stand. Zhao Gui's wife trembled in fear, collapsing to her knees, screaming, You murderous scoundrel, Li Qingshan. You're bullying us. How could Li Qingshan use violence? We're all neighbors. That's overboard. The villagers murmured among themselves. In the corner, Wang Naixiang stood silently with a packed bag, looking pitiful and unsure of where to go. Dazhuang, Erzwang, throw all this stuff of Zhao Gui's out. This is my house. I said, all right then. The 2 brothers rushed in and started tossing pots and pans outside. Trying to play games with me? Useless. Li Qingshan, you're nothing but a bandit. A bully, Zhao Gui yelled while sitting on the ground, throwing a fit. I frowned in annoyance. That kind of talk could ruin my reputation. I immediately pulled out the property deed. Zhao Gui, take a good look. Your house was sold to me for 36 bucks. The property deed says Li Qingshan, stamped and certified by the government. And now you're saying I forced and stole your house. Then what does that make the government? A bunch of bandits too, helping me steal your property. Let me tell you, making those claims, accusing the government, can get you arrested by the police for defamation. Believe it or not. Silence. Zhao Gui's entire family froze, dumbfounded. This was serious business. No one dared to throw shade at the government. And the rest of you? I scanned the onlooking villagers. This is an official government-issued property deed. If anyone says I forcibly took Zhao Gui's place, you're essentially accusing the government of corruption, claiming I colluded with them. The police won't have any problem coming after you. So don't be scared when that happens. I pointed to the document in hand. A deal is a deal. One sold, one bought. Fair and square. This house has been mine for a while now. Letting Zhao Gui stay an extra few days was me being generous. It's just that Zhao Gui here didn't know where to draw the line. Slandering the government. Who would dare bear that kind of burden these days? That's right. The house was sold fair and square to Li Qingshan. He even let you stay extra days. You should be thankful, not shamelessly squatting in someone else's home. Yeah, Zhao Gui, this is totally unreasonable. You sold the house and still refuse to leave? How low can you go? The neighbors' tone shifted. The crowd now turned their complaints toward the Zhao family. Brother Shan, all done. Everything's moved. De Zhuang and Heir Zhuang returned with the update. I turned to my family. Dad, Mom, sis-in-law, let's just place things for now and make do together for a bit. In a while, I'll apply for some residential plots and build another house. Currently, my dad, sister-in-law, and I, each on separate household registrations, were all from Shirshi village. By the rules, we could apply for 3 separate residential plots. Conveniently, there were open spaces near Zhao Gui's old house, plenty of room, including the back slope of the hill. We could easily build 2 more houses on either side. By the time full collectivization hit and every household got 1 plot, we'd still comply with the regulations. And if Wang Naixiang could transfer her registration from her family, I could even help her out with another plot. Another house. Li Qingshan, you are really full of yourself. You got lucky bagging a few deer last time. Do you think luck will strike every single time? Sneered Li Qingshu. Ha, young people don't know their limits. Building houses isn't as easy as it sounds. So reckless, you'll fall hard someday. Mark my words. This guy talks big for no reason. Li Qingshan, what happens when you go hunting next time and come back empty-handed? Where exactly are you getting this confidence from? The murmurs from the sarcastic crowd echoed their disbelief. I said nothing. A few days from now, when I returned from the mountain, they'd all see just how limited their views were. Once we finished moving, I shut the gate to our new home, and the curious crowd began to disperse. As for the Zhao family, their scheming led nowhere. They begrudgingly packed up and moved into a couple of rundown grass huts at the far edge of the village. Hurry it up, would you? Get moving, you jinx, barked Zhao Gui's wife, glaring at Wang Naixiang. I know, mother, Wang Naixiang panted, carrying more bags than the Zhao men combined. Exhaustion was written all over her face. From the moment you stepped into our household, everything went downhill. First, my eldest son dies, and now we're driven out of our own home because of you, Zhao Chang complained, dragging only a wooden stool, by far the lightest load anyone carried. Ugh, why did we even let this jinx into the family? Zhao Gui's wife lamented, sighing deeply. Mom, we need to marry her off ASAP. Didn't Li Hu say he'd take her? Once we get the bride price, I'll hit the gambling table, turn our luck around, and buy back our property. Then we'll feast on steamed buns and meat every day. Zhao Chang suggested smugly. The thought made Zhao Gui and his wife's eyes light up. They immediately began sizing up Wang Naixiang as though she were merchandise to trade. I'm a jinx, remember? I killed your son and caused you to lose your home. Li Hu runs a gambling house. He's highly superstitious. No way he'd marry me, Wang Naixiang retorted, thinking on her feet. The Zhao couple exchanged uneasy looks. That actually made sense. No worries. There's always someone desperate enough, though. Mom, Dad, leave this matter to me, Zhao Chang reassured them. Hearing them openly plot to sell her off, Wang Naixiang's eyes brimmed with tears. By early afternoon, the Zhao family was settled into the sparse accommodations. With only 2 small huts to divide among them, Zhao Gui and his wife took one, leaving the other for Zhao Chang. Mom, Dad, where am I supposed to sleep? Wang Naixiang asked hesitantly. Right there. Zhao Chang pointed dismissively to a grim 3 by 4-foot dilapidated doghouse on the side. Her protest caught in her throat, crushed by the injustice she felt. If you don't want to sleep there, then just stay outside. Jinx. Be grateful you even have a roof at all. Zhao Gui barked impatiently. Okay, Wang Naixiang answered quietly, resigned to tidying up the tiny doghouse as her new living quarters. Back at my place, the move-in was complete. I claimed the largest, most auspicious east side master bedroom for myself, letting the purple air rising from the east bring prosperity to my life. My parents and sister-in-law each got their own rooms. Zhao Gui's house was built with a two-son-in-mind layout. Now it was more than spacious enough for my family. Hey, sis-in-law. I knocked on her door. It's open. Lu Guixiang's voice called out. I stepped inside. Lu Guixiang was tidying her room, her presence leaving behind a faint fragrance of womanhood in the air. What's going on, Qingshan? Here, this is for you. Toss out those old shoes you're wearing, I said, handing her 2 pairs of beautifully embroidered cloth shoes. These are for me. Surprised and delighted, Lu Guixiang's face lit up for a moment, but quickly clouded with hesitation. She knew these shoes didn't come cheap. She'd only ever seen them on the village chief's wife. Put them on. Sis-in-law, I know you've had it rough these past years. I can't apologize enough, but from now on, I'll rely on you to help keep this family running smoothly. Qingshan, this is too much. These are way too expensive, she murmured, her guilty expression betraying how much she adored the gift. Take off those old shoes, I'll toss them for you. No more wearing patched-up junk. I crouched down to remove the worn-out shoes myself. Her previously decent shoes had been taken by my grandmother to give to Li Daiqiu's wife, leaving Lu Guixiang with these hand-me-downs that irked me every time I looked at them. This kind of disrespect had happened to her far too many times. Thank you, Qingshan. She slipped the old pair off. Heaven early. Understood, I said seriously, gently patting her head. Just then, Roshua walked back into the room. Seeing her daughter awake and with refreshed color in her face, she broke into tears again, this time out of sheer relief. Qingshan, thank you, she said, her voice trembling. I don't know how I can ever repay you. It's nothing, I replied, waving my hand dismissively. Just make sure to take better care of yourself and grass from now on. I'll leave the leftover herbs here. Boil them into tea for her for the next 3 days. Tears still streaming down her face, Roshua nodded repeatedly. Her gratitude was palpable, and though her strength was lacking, her sincerity filled the room. As I turned to leave, Grass's weak voice stopped me once more. Qingshan Ge, will you come visit us again? I smiled gently. Of course, but remember, only if you promise to stop hiding things from your mom. She smiled faintly and nodded. That was enough for me. Here, take this pheasant meat. I handed it to her. Eat to regain your strength. Wow, that's a lot of meat. And flatbread too. Chower exclaimed in excitement. Where did you get it? From the mountain. Just then, Roshua burst in. Seeing her daughter unharmed, she hugged her tightly, sobbing uncontrollably. I turned around and walked out. Qingshan, Roshua called out as she followed me outside. I turned back and saw her starting to unbutton her shirt, biting her lips, clearly offering herself to me. Roshua, don't do this. I quickly grabbed her hand. You're the prettiest woman in the village. So many bachelors linger around your yard at night, dreaming of being with you. Every man in the village wishes to share a bed with you. And I want to be with you, she replied. But not like this. Not because of a bowl of meat, I said firmly. If the day ever comes when you genuinely want to be with me, we'll talk. For now, I have things to do. Take care. I turned to leave. Roshua froze, probably shocked at my unexpected refusal. Qingshan, wait. She called out again. What's wrong now? I asked, turning back. Come with me. I have something to show you. She led me toward a small, earthen hut behind the yard. I followed Roshua into the dim, cramped room. She crouched down and pulled out a wooden box from a corner. When she opened it, I was astonished. It was a gun, a single-barrel hunting rifle. This, Roshua, is this what I think it is? My eyes widened in disbelief. My husband died because of this gun, she said with a sigh. Before he passed, he made me swear to keep it safe. Then he was gone. I've thought about selling it for money over the years, but as a single woman, I don't have the means. This gun has a murky past, and it killed my husband. If I sold it, word would spread, and trouble would inevitably find its way here. The lives of Chower and I would be in danger. So, I kept it hidden here, she explained solemnly. You hunt in the forest, don't you? I've heard you even use a bow. What good is a hunter without a gun? You can take it if you want it. If not, it can just stay here gathering dust. Trouble? Who has time to worry about trouble? This gun was exactly what I needed. With it, my hunting efficiency would skyrocket, and more importantly, It would give me a way to handle wild boars and other big game. Currently, my 60-pound bow was adequate for rabbits and pheasants, maybe even a roe deer if I got really close. But when it came to wild boars, forget about it. This single-barrel shotgun, however, changed the game completely. The gun could shoot two types of ammunition, buckshot and slugs. Buckshot was great for birds, rabbits, and pheasants, with a range of about 30 meters. However, that wasn't super useful for me. At that distance, my bow was already silent and effective without spooking other animals. What I really needed were slugs. With a range of up to 83 meters, slugs could break through even the thick bones of wild boars. With this gun in my hands, I could actually have a shot at bringing home some wild boar. And wild boar meat. That fetched a high price. There were also 4 or 5 slug rounds by the gun. On the market, buckshot cost 7 cents each, while slugs were 20 cents apiece. Pretty pricey, considering a single pheasant was worth just 50 cents. But buying ammunition was easier than making my own, so I didn't mind. Roshua, you're a lifesaver. I picked up the shotgun and carefully examined it. This thing isn't cheap. Now I owe you a favor. Qingshan, you're a good man, she said, her voice quivering. It's hard living alone. How about I come to see you tonight? Don't worry. You won't be responsible for anything. If you find yourself a wife in the future, I'll stay away. Are you serious, Roshua? I was taken aback. She blushed, but before I could respond further, she hurried out of the room. Watching her retreating figure, I couldn't help but feel a pang of desire. It wasn't dark yet, though. I'd have to wait. I hid the shotgun safely at home before heading out to check on Zhao Zhanshan, a patient of mine. Yesterday, I hadn't been able to help him since I didn't have my silver needles with me. But now I did. At the same secluded courtyard, Zhao Zhanshan and his daughter were still skeptical. I inserted a few needles strategically, and to their amazement, his chest pain eased significantly. Father, how do you feel? Zhao Shanxing asked anxiously. It doesn't hurt anymore, Zhanshan said, clearly in shock as he looked at me. I'll come by once every 2 weeks, I told him. I can't cure it entirely, but I can reduce the pain and prolong your life until we find the medicinal ingredient needed for a full recovery. I packed up my needles. Young man, where did you learn these skills? Zhanshan asked. I told you before, but you didn't believe me, I replied with a shrug. I've got things to take care of now, but I'll bring over more game next time. Shanxing, see Qingshan out, Zhanshan instructed. As Shanxing walked with me to the door, her gaze was filled with gratitude and newfound respect. Here, this is for you, I said, pulling out a small oiled paper package. What is it? She asked, unwrapping the package. Her face lit up when she saw a few pieces of crispy peach pastry inside. You always loved peach pastries, right? I smiled. I just bought these fresh. Go ahead, give them a try. You remember that I like peach pastries? Shanxing's voice quivered slightly. Of course I do. Back when you split a piece of your pastry with me, it was the only way I knew what they tasted like. As I started to walk away, memories of the time Zhanshan saved my life flashed through my mind. Back then, I had woken up in his home to be greeted with kindness. Being part of the third house of old Li's family, such treats were a rare luxury. That was the first time I had ever tasted peach pastry. Shanxing watched me leave, her emotions unspoken but written clearly in her eyes. I wasn't far when I bumped into the village chief, Li Xingli. Village chief, wait a moment. I need to talk to you, I said. Oh, Qingshan, what's going on? Xingli smiled warmly. He always seemed pleased to see me, especially now that I was helping with his leg issues. Can I use the abandoned health center in the village to work as a village medic? Absolutely. Xingli agreed without hesitation. You're the most qualified. I'll get you the key right away. The clinic is all yours. I hadn't expected things to go so smoothly. To be honest, Qingshan, someone with your skills is wasted here. By the way, when are you heading back into the mountains? Tomorrow, I said. I need to fix up the house and pay off debts, so I've got to bring back more game. You're the village's golden boy. Be careful out there, Xingli said warmly. Li Xingli handed me the key. Don't worry, village chief, I've got this. With the key in hand, I was in a great mood. Up next, I deliver some rice sticks and mung bean cakes to Wang Naixiang, check in on her, and then just wait for the recently widowed Ru Shui to swing by after sunset. A comfortable evening ahead, and tomorrow I'd grab my hunting rifle and go hunting. My sister-in-law and mother's clothes were tattered and torn. They definitely need some new outfits. The co-op store had a set of dresses that would suit my sister-in-law Lu Guisheng perfectly. The house needed rebuilding too. I'd adjust the location of the underground room for easier access in the future. I'd also apply for more plots of land to build houses for my sister-in-law and father. And I needed to look into hunting dogs, buy a few more of them. Dreaming of a brighter future, I carried the mung bean cakes and rice sticks, heading toward Wang Naixiang's home. She's had it rough, Wang Naixiang. That poor young widow could use a small hand too. Down at the edge of the village, the sun was setting in the west, and the heat of the day dissipated as the rice seedlings in the fields stretched their leaves. Sweepstar, get in here and cook. How late do you plan on waiting? Zhao Gui's wife was yelling right outside what passed for my living quarters. Dragging my exhausted self out of the miserable place, I felt utterly drained. After moving to this wreck of a spot, I had to rebuy all the basic utensils, rebuild the stove. It was exhausting work. Zhao Gui and his wife would lay down early every night, and their lazy younger son Zhao Chong didn't lift a finger. It all fell on me. I thought I could get a break, but nope, I was called up to cook again. Zhao Chong, fond of good food but incredibly lazy, wouldn't tolerate much. As a result, the family had been reduced to eating dried sweet potatoes, the stuff of the poorest in the village. I started the fire, boiled water, tossed the sweet potatoes in, and let it all simmer until the bubbling brought out the strong smell of sweet potatoes. Dinner's ready, Mom, I announced as I scooped the porridge into some bowls. Why the heck is it taking this long? Now it's ready? Ugh. Zhao Gui's wife sat down, muttering her complaints. There weren't enough chairs, so I squatted while eating. This junk again? Zhao Chong scowled at the sweet potato porridge in front of him. It's all we've got left. I whispered. And whose fault is that? Figure it out. Can't we eat anything decent for once? Zhao Chong slammed his bowl in frustration. When did you get to have a say in this house? Do what you're told. I kept my head down, not saying a word. Dad, Mom, I've got an idea. Zhao Chong turned to his parents with a cunning glint in his eye. What about old Zhao the Blind? What about him? Zhao Gui wondered aloud. Dad, come on. Old Zhao the Blind is a bachelor, isn't he? Blinded in one eye when he was young, no woman's looked his way since. And now he's older than you, 3 years older. That geezer's never had a woman in his life. He must have stashed a fortune away. We could marry this sweepstar off to him and ask for a hefty bride price. Zhao Chong sneered triumphantly. Our son is smart. Zhao Gui's wife chimed in. That old bachelor must have a good stash. We can ask for loads of money, enough to buy back our house. Even. Dad, forget the house, Zhao Chong added smugly. Give me the money, and I'll turn it into double. I'll buy you 2 houses if that's what you want. You old fool, let the boy handle the money. He's smart and knows how to make it grow. Zhao Gui's wife scolded her husband. Dad, Mom, I don't want to remarry. I don't want to marry old Zhao the Blind. Tears welled up in Wang Naixiang's eyes. Old Zhao was older than even her father-in-law. Worse yet, with no prospects, old Zhao had become a bitter man over the years. He'd creep around the village women, leering and grinning, his appearance repulsive. He reeked from not bathing, and his home was a pigsty. The neighbors regularly scolded him for the stench drifting into their houses. You think you get a choice? Sweepstar, none of this would have happened if it weren't for you. My brother wouldn't be dead. We wouldn't have been kicked out. You owe this family, and you'll do what we say? You'll marry whoever we tell you to. Zhao Chong snarled. No, I won't. I refuse. Wang Naixiang's tears dripped into her broken bowl. You think you have a say? You think you deserve respect? I'll beat the crap out of you. Zhao Chong slammed his bowl down and swung a slap across her face. Smack. A bright red handprint bloomed on her cheek. Zhao Chong, not the least bit satisfied, kicked and punched her while she curled up on the ground, crying. Zhao Chong, don't hit women. Stop that. Villagers passing by stepped in to intervene. This is my family's matter. You step in, one of you, and I'll beat you next. Zhao Chong screamed. Sweepstar, this is your fault, my endless losing streak. It's all you. You ruined my life. Hearing that, the villagers hesitated before backing away. After all, Wang Naixiang wasn't one of their own. Lying on the ground, hopelessness consumed Wang Naixiang. What's the point of living? The river outside the village was deep and unforgiving, claiming many lives over the years. Yes, tonight I'll end it all there. Perhaps in my next life, I won't suffer this much. Oddly, the thought calmed her. Go ahead, beat me. It doesn't matter. I won't be here much longer. She reflected on her life. Born into a family that prized boys over girls, she couldn't fight back when her brother hit her. Otherwise, her mom's slap would come flying. She always ate last and was burdened with every household chore. Marriage seemed like an escape, but life turned out no better, an endless cycle of struggle and despair. And then, suddenly, I walked in with my rice sticks and mung bean cakes, spotting Zhao Chong assaulting her. My teeth clenched furiously. My blood boiled. I lost it. Zhao Chong, to hell with you. I roared like a beast unleashed, charging toward him with sheer fury. Li Qingshan, what are you doing? Don't hit me. Zhao Chong stuttered, terror gripping him. Bam! I delivered a powerful kick to his chest, sending his 100-plus-pound frame flying like he was weightless. Yes, flying. The bystanders were left stunned. Zhao Chong crashed to the ground like he'd been rammed by a bull, landing with a thud that left dirt clouds spiraling up. Pain spread across his chest. He swore his ribs cracked. Without missing a beat, I started pounding him. Help! Mom! Dad, save me! Zhao Chong shrieked pitifully. Li Qingshan, you no-good scoundrel. Stop hitting my boy. Zhao Gui rushed in to pull me away. The moment he reached for me, I spun toward him and yelled, You old bastard. Want to try me too? I never. Before he could finish, my fist connected with his eye, and I laid into him without mercy. Enough. Oh, my poor husband. Somebody get the village chief. Li Qingshan's gone mad. Zhao Gui wailed from his spot on the ground, cradling himself in agony. You dare hit my man and baby boy? I'll claw the life out of you. His wife screeched, charging at me. Sorry, but I can't help with this request. At the edge of the village stood a makeshift outpost made of straw. The large house was for human living, while a smaller, thatched shack functioned as a doghouse. In this place, those two old scoundrels dared to force their daughter-in-law to live in the doghouse. You want to take her away? Fine. Zhao Gui sneered and held up 5 fingers. Back then, her dowry was 20 pounds of rice and 30 eggs. Count all these years and give me $50. $50? The entire village gasped. In those days, $50 could buy you an entire yard and property. No one could afford that. Not a single penny. I chuckled coldly. I'm taking her today, and if you dare bully her again, we're going to involve the authorities. Village chief, you've been to town meetings. You know about freedom of marriage and women's rights, don't you? If I take Wang Naixiang to the Women's Federation and file a complaint, you two old crooks are going to end up behind bars. Zhao Gui's neck stiffened with panic. He turned quickly to the village chief. Is that true? Could we really go to jail? Qingshan's right. The chief nodded sternly. If you try to force her into another marriage, you'll face the consequences. Without wasting another word, I packed Wang Naixiang's belongings and held her hand to leave. Hey, Zhao Gui, you just let a drifter take away your daughter-in-law, and you don't even dare make a peep, the other villagers teased. Zhao Gui's face turned alternately pale and flushed, and he looked as though he wanted the earth to swallow him whole. I paused for a moment, noticing Zhao Gui's expression turning more defiant. Stop right there. Zhao Gui stormed over, fists clenched. Wang Naixiang is my son's wife. Even if she dies, it will be here in my home. What right do you have to take her? You're smearing my family's honor. Believe me, I'll fight you to the death. Qingshan, just let it be. Wang Naixiang reluctantly pulled her hand away from mine. She had heard the villagers' conversations, the gossip they'd soon spread about a single man taking in a young widow, stories of stolen nights in the rain, rolling in the hay, or rendezvous in the cornfields. My reputation doesn't matter, but you haven't even got married yet. Who'd want to marry you after this? Her tearful eyes looked at me hesitantly. Naixiang, what are you afraid of? It's not like before. No one can stop you going where you want. Do you want to stay here, letting these two old dogs push you around? No, I can't go with you, she declared resolutely. I pulled out a key from my pocket. Then go live in the clinic. There's a room there. I head into the mountains often to hunt. Help me look after the place. I'll teach you how to treat illnesses and dispense medicine. You can become a doctor in time. In this era, things weren't like the future, where diplomas ruled everything. Back then, you could become a self-taught barefoot doctor with just a manual, and with good performance, you could even get admitted to medical school. When Zhao Gui realized the seriousness of this, he grew anxious. Chief, why does this drifter have the clinic key? What does he know about medicine? He could end up treating someone to death. Everyone, come look. Zhao Gui shouted to the villagers. The chief's letting Li Qingshan be our doctor. Isn't he just gambling with our lives? Hearing this, the villagers began gathering around. The clinic, or more appropriately, the village medical center, was something the entire community depended on. The previous doctor had left the winter before, and the facility had been vacant ever since. To officially practice as the village doctor, the chief had to nominate someone, the township had to approve it, and then the county hospital would conduct a 3-month training program. I wasn't officially on the job yet as I still needed to complete the process, but the chief trusted me enough to give me the keys so I could tidy the place up and start studying medical texts. Why the fuss? Yelled Chief Li Shengli. Li Qingshan meets the requirements. He still has to train at the county hospital for 3 months before he can officially see patients. He's not treating anyone just yet. In the meantime, he'll clean up the clinic and learn. And as for Wang Naixiang's situation, don't you all know what she's been through? She's already suffered enough, and you're still adding insult to injury? What's wrong with her staying at the clinic? The villagers fell silent. Oh, he still has to train? I thought he was taking over right away. Why not pick me for the job then? I could do it too. You can read? Can you even write your name? I mocked. Li Dali, you can't even write the characters of your own name. What would we pick you for? Since when did you know how to read? Qingshan? Weren't you just as illiterate? Zhao Gui sneered. I grabbed a stick and wrote in the dirt. Zhao Gui, Li Dali, Li Daji, Xiofan, Zhao San. Everyone's names appeared on the ground. The crowd was taken aback, stunned into silence. There's more to being nominated than just knowing how to read, I added as I stepped closer to Zhao Gui. With one swift move, I grabbed his arm and twisted harshly. Ah, it hurts. Zhao Gui shrieked. Can you see now? His arm is dislocated. Anyone here know how to fix it? No one responded. Who knows if you're just faking this medical knowledge? Someone muttered from the crowd. Before the words fully left their lips, I strode over. His face turned pale as I grabbed him too. Li Qingshan, what are you? Art, it hurts, he howled as his shoulder popped out of joint. Anyone else want to question me? Step up and give it a try. I said coldly to the crowd around me. I can dislocate an arm, and I can fix it back. The villagers were stunned, silenced by the sight of Zhao Gui and Li Yuanli clutching their shoulders in pain. Fine, fine. Qingshan, put it back. I'm convinced. Li Yuanli begged pitifully. Should have said so earlier. I grumbled as I grabbed his arm and pushed it back into place. Done. Done. Li Yuanli flexed his now-repaired arm in disbelief. His expression quickly turned to awe and admiration. Wow, Qingshan. I didn't know you had that skill. That's some impressive orthopedic work. Not even the old doctor could do that. When did you learn all this? I heard you couldn't even read before. The villagers gazed at me in wonder, their opinions of the former troublemaker clearly shifting. I learned it from an old man who lived in the mountains. I spent years under his guidance until he left for his travels last winter. Beyond fixing bones, I can handle rheumatism, joint pain, headaches, those tricky ailments no one likes dealing with. I'll clean up the clinic in a few days. Once that's done, you can all come for treatment. Since I'm not officially a doctor yet, I won't charge for consultations, just the cost of medications. I glanced around. To secure respect in this village, you had to earn their trust and goodwill. Demonstrating your skills helped, but building a network of mutual support was even better. You can't grab every opportunity for yourself, share the benefits, and people will stand with you when times get tough. Qingshan, you're really not charging for the consultation? Are you deaf? Qingshan said he's only charging for the cost of the medicine. Qingshan, we've admired you since you were a kid. Qingshan, you're really doing the village a service. If anyone should be the doctor at the village health station, it's you. The room is yours. Fix it up however you like. Helping out folks like Wang Naixiang is something we all support. The attitude of the villagers shifted completely. With this move, I've gone from being a lazy troublemaker to an almost official doctor. Standing nearby, Wang Naixiang looked up at me with admiration in her eyes. She probably didn't expect that not only was I skilled at hunting, but I also knew some medicine. Li Qingshan, you still haven't set my arm yet. Zhao Gui cried out, clearly impatient. You? Heh, go to the township clinic yourself. I'm worried I might accidentally dislocate your other arm too. I shot Zhao Gui a cold glare, then grabbed Wang Naixiang and headed straight for the village health station. Ow, bullying me again. Zhao Gui wailed as he flopped dramatically onto the ground. Li Qingshan, you just wait. Father, stop shouting and go to the clinic already. As I walked off, their voices echoed behind me. My gaze turned dark for a second. A family of brutes like them, bullying a vulnerable woman like Wang Naixiang, and still expecting me to set his arm? Dream on. Frankly, I was tempted to unhinge his other arm just now. Zhao Gui, if you think that's the end of it, you're too naive. You clearly underestimate Li Qingshan. Tomorrow, I'm heading up the mountains with Dezhuang. Before I go, I'll make sure the Zhao family learns a lesson they'll never forget. The crowd dispersed once the drama was over. This is just too much, Zhao Gui's wife exclaimed, slapping her thighs in frustration. Father, let's find the village party secretary. He's from our Zhao family. He'll definitely back us up, Zhao Chong said angrily. Yes, the party secretary's one of us. Zhao Gui latched onto the idea like a lifeline. Let's deal with the arm first, though. I'm not going. I still hurt from being beaten by Li Qingshan, Zhao Chong said, making his excuses. The village health station, one of the only brick buildings in the area, used to belong to a local landlord before it was repurposed. The front half is for medical treatment, and the back half serves as living quarters. The courtyard was originally expansive, but the villagers had taken the bricks over time, leaving only one front room and a hall, separated by a bamboo fence. The medicine cabinet held a decent variety: red iodine solution for a dime a bottle, sulfa powder wrapped in yellow paper triangles, aspirin for 2 cents a tablet, and the more common drugs like analgin, berberine, and licorice tablets. High-end supplies like penicillin or glucose were absent. They required a trip to the township clinic. But that wasn't an issue. I was authorized to restock. These supplies would be essential for future hunting trips, especially glucose, which instantly restored energy when taken. There were also 2 medical books, their pages well thumbed, indicating that the previous doctor had frequently referenced them. The health station was close to the village office, with neighbors nearby. Should anything arise at night, a quick shout would reach plenty of ears. Wang Naixiang's safety wasn't a concern here. If needed, my mother and sister-in-law could stay with her for a few nights. I pushed open the back door of the clinic and entered the courtyard. 2-meter-high bamboo fences enclosed the area, and just a few steps led to the rear living quarters, a dining hall, and a bedroom, smaller than the front section. Wang Naixiang had already tidied up the room. The bed was made, everything neatly arranged. "Naixiangjia, come eat at my house these next few days," I told her as I looked around. "I'm going to the mountains tomorrow, and I might be gone for a couple of days. When I'm back, I'll build a stove for you. Tonight, I'll have my mom and sister-in-law come stay with you." Wang Naixiang had been busy working. Now her hair clung slightly to her sweat-covered face. With her slender waist and graceful figure, but still a striking figure, the room seemed filled with her faint, comforting scent. "Qing Shan, thank you for everything today," she said softly, gazing at me, her eyes holding something new. The room suddenly felt warmer. "Naixiangjia, how are you going to thank me?" I teased, looking right at her. She stammered, flustered, before summoning her courage. With a deep breath, she closed her eyes, stood on her toes, and pressed a soft, sweet kiss onto my lips. For a moment, our eyes met, and an unspoken emotion filled the air. "Qingshan, Naixiang, are you here?" My sister-in-law, Lu Guixiang's voice came from outside. We quickly stepped apart. She walked in carrying bedding. "Mom asked me to move in here to keep Naixiang company. She'll join us tonight." Her gaze landed on Wang Naixiang's rosy cheeks, and it seemed she understood something. "Perfect timing, Guixiangjia," I said. "The township's rural adult high school class is going to open again soon. They hold sessions each summer and winter. You should sign up. Just bring some notebooks and pencils." "Why bother? Didn't Li Qingshu attend and still amount to nothing?" Guixiang frowned. "Li Qingshu is just a slacker who naps through class. He's hopeless. For example, if I didn't step up for this health station doctor position, the village would have probably picked someone literate for county-level training. Being a doctor is great. No hard labor, good pay, and it's a respected job. I have other plans for myself, but when the time comes, anyone who succeeds me here will have a much easier life compared to farming." I spoke plainly. Nowadays, anyone who's literate has an edge over regular farmers and essentially becomes a knowledgeable intellectual. That opens the door to well-paying, relatively easy jobs. Things like collective farming won't be gone anytime soon. It'll last years. Jobs like health station doctor, accountant, or warehouse manager, those roles are much better than toiling in the fields. If they're illiterate, I could already picture Wang Naixiang and Lu Guixiang laboring in the hot sun, returning tired each night, their skin weathered and aged from the elements. It's better to find easier work and take care of their health and appearance long-term. "Qingshan, do you think I could become a doctor too?" Wang Naixiang asked expectantly. "Absolutely," I nodded decisively. "But if I go to school, who will take care of everything at home?" Lu Guixiang asked, looking torn. "Your parents can handle things for now. Besides, it's not forever. Focus during the sessions from this summer until next Lunar New Year. If you put in the effort, you can learn at least 4,000 characters by next summer and be able to read documents, newspapers, and letters. Plus, you'll need to master basic arithmetic. Once you earn the Rural High School Certificate, which counts as a primary school diploma, all kinds of opportunities will open up." I began to explain. The Rural Adult High courses offer 2 certifications, a basic literacy certificate and a graduation certificate. Learning 1,500 characters and passing the test earns the first. Adding another 2,500 characters, understanding arithmetic, and completing 4 arithmetic operation skills along with 400 hours of classes earns the graduation certificate. Be able to hold on tightly. Translation, adapted for an American storytelling style. The study period runs from July 16th to September 16th, a total of 2 months. Winter lasts for 4 months. This means one can study for half a year, 180 days in total, devoting 3 hours a day to fully meet the requirement of 400 hours of coursework. Exams are administered by the county's education department, and outstanding performance can even earn you a special graduation certificate of excellence. "Qingshan, I'll listen to you no matter what," said Wang Naixiang softly, her beautiful eyes gazing at me. "All right then, I'll give it a shot too." Lu Guoxiang nodded in agreement. So much to deal with. I almost forgot something important. You guys carry on. Naixiang, stop by my house for dinner sometime. No need to stand on ceremony. With that, I hurried out the door. Half an hour later, as the sky began to dim, I knocked on the door of Wang Chunxiao's house. Her father opened the door, dressed in a white tank top, and gave me a wary look from head to toe. Li Qingshan, what brings you here to my house? Word had spread about the scene at Zhao Gui's earlier. After I made his family unable to hold their heads up in public, it was no surprise Chunxiao's father approached me with caution, worried I might throw a punch out of nowhere. But after thinking it through, he realized I had no reason to come for him. Is Chunxiao home? I asked. I need to speak with her. Wang Shui's expression froze. Could this troublemaker be after my daughter? No way. Chunxiao is supposed to marry the village secretary's son Zhaoba. If this boy messes with her, our family will have nowhere to vent our grievances. It's late. What's a single man like you needing to see my daughter for? Who is it, Dad? Chunxiao appeared from the yard, her hair freshly washed, her face pure and clean. Yet, no matter how much she covered up, her curves were impossible to hide. She had more assets than Naixiang. Her innocent demeanor carried a certain feisty charm. Li Qingshan. Chunxiao looked at her wary father, then at me standing at the entrance. It's just 2 yuan I owe you. Is it worth chasing me down for that? When did you ever owe him 2 yuan? Her father exclaimed, eyes wide. 2 yuan could buy more than 10 pounds of rice, enough to feed the family for days. Dad, just go back inside. I'll explain later. Chunxiao signaled with her eyes. Once Wang Shui retreated indoors, Chunxiao quickly changed her expression. Qingshan, why are you really here? I pulled out some pencils and a notebook. Here, take this. Why are you giving me this? She asked. The rural extension classes in our county will start soon. I'm signing you and my sisters-in-law up. If you begin this summer, you can graduate next winter and get an elementary school diploma. Once you have the diploma, I'll figure out a way to get you into the supply and marketing cooperative as a sales assistant. When that happens, do you think your father will still marry you off to Zhaoba? Zhaoba is nothing. Chunxiao hesitated. It's not that easy to get into the co-op as an employee. This is also for your textbooks. When you earn your diploma, I give my word, I'll make it happen. Truth is, having Chunxiao in the co-op would benefit me too. It'd make it easier for me to source scarce goods in the future. Plus, there's another woman working there already, Su Wanyi. Just looking at her elegance and hearing her name, you could tell she came from an exceptional background. She wouldn't stay there for long. Qingshan, I can't accept your money. Chunxiao insisted. Your family clearly favors boys over girls. I doubt your father would pay for your textbooks. Don't let this chance slip. I pushed her to make a decision. Chunxiao stayed quiet, deep in thought. What I said stung, but it was true. Her father wouldn't pay for her education, but here I was, a stranger, giving her money and buying supplies to help her. Li Qingshan, do you have someone you like? Chunxiao asked, cheeks turning pink. What's it to you? I countered. I have a distant cousin. She's very pretty. If you're not seeing anyone, I could introduce you. Chunxiao offered. If you're willing, go ahead and introduce her, I said nonchalantly. Then I turned to leave, calling back over my shoulder. I'm heading up the mountain tomorrow to hunt. Chunxiao stood there, mulling over my words. What did he mean by, if you're willing? Does he think I need to approve who he marries? Could it be he likes me? Unable to contain her sudden excitement, she gripped the 1 yuan note tighter and tucked the notebook and pencils close to her chest before happily heading back inside. Why did you owe him 2 yuan? Wang Shui asked as soon as she stepped in. Don't worry about it, Dad. If I marry someone, I'll just have my in-laws pay him back, she quipped. Wang Shui said nothing more. Night fell. Big Zhuang and I each held a wooden club, emanating a sense of menace. Black Tiger, do we make a move? Big Zhuang asked. Black Tiger was the code name I came up with for myself, a name to use when carrying out darker deeds. Let's go, I growled, kicking down Zhao Chang's flimsy door. My club came down hard. Help! Murder! Zhao Chang shrieked. His parents stumbled out of the house next door, only to be greeted by our clubs as well. Sticks rained down relentlessly. Help us! Save me, father! Son, help me! The screams and cries filled the night air. I delivered a direct strike to Zhao Chang's knee, and the clean snap of his kneecap breaking echoed loudly. His right knee was obliterated. Zhao Chang clutched his leg, writhing and unable to scream anymore. Big Zhuang and I disappeared into the shadows before anyone could figure out who attacked. No one had security cameras or fingerprint evidence back then. As we parted ways, I reminded him to prepare. Tomorrow we'd head up the mountains and bring everything we needed to stay for several days. Back home, I rinsed off with cold water, ready to hit the sack when I heard someone tapping on my wall with a stick. Who would dare come knocking at my place in the middle of the night? I slipped on my shoes and stepped out. Narrowing my eyes at the shadowy figure, I demanded, "Who's there? Don't you know people are trying to sleep?" The figure stopped tapping and lifted her headscarf. "Qingshan, it's me, Rose Shui." Rose Shui? I froze. The bookish young widow I'd met earlier came to mind. What could this woman want at this hour? Then, her earlier words crossed my mind. Could she really mean what she'd said? "Rose Shui, are you serious about this?" I asked, stepping closer. Rose Shui stood out with her scholarly air, looking like a swan among ducks in this village. Barely over 5 feet tall, her fragile frame couldn't be more than 60 pounds. I could lift her with one hand. "I'm serious, Qingshan. I want to be with you," she said softly, leaning in. Her body trembled. Desire ignited instantly, dry wood meets fire. "Come on," I said, taking her hand firmly but gently. With my hand easily enclosing her delicate wrist, I led her toward my room. "Sorry, but I can't provide the translation you're requesting. Brother Shan, let's get moving first. You catch up with us later," Wang Chunxiao said. "All right," I nodded. "Here, Brother Shan, take this." Wang Chunxiao held something out to me. "What's this?" I took it and opened it. To my surprise, it was a black cloak of excellent quality, made with soft and fine material. This was one of my father's treasures. He somehow picked it up back when he was in the war. It's just sitting there unused, so I figured it'd come in handy for you. Since you're heading into the mountains, you'll probably run into scratchy branches, mosquitoes, or even mice. The forest gets windy and chilly at night too. This is perfect for you, Wang Chunxiao said with genuine care in her voice. Looking at the black cloak in my hands, I couldn't help but think to myself, she's thoughtful, but still a little mischievous. If her father finds out she gave this away, he'd probably blow his top. Still, this cloak really was high quality, something you wouldn't find in any store. After the hunt, I'll just give her father some money or meat as a gesture to make it seem like I bought it. Otherwise, if he sees me wearing it, I'll be in trouble. It's technically his, not hers. Having made up my mind, I accepted the cloak. "All right, I'll take it. Thanks. I'm off now." Wang Chunxiao waved at my retreating figure, her eyes brimming with a tender, almost wistful gaze. De Zhuang, Zhuang, and Zhao Hongqi turned to look at the cloak draped over me, envy plastered across their faces. Even the dog, De Huang, barked enthusiastically. The four of us soon stepped into the dense forest, our expressions quickly becoming cautious. After this trip, we should see if we can find a couple more hunting dogs in the nearby villages. Give De Huang some company, I said. Leading the group, I kept De Huang ahead of us to scout. Although the trail we'd cleared last time was starting to get overgrown with grass and trees again, it was still easier to navigate compared to before. De Zhuang took the lead with a machete, cutting through the undergrowth. When he got tired, he handed it off to Zhuang or Zhao Hongqi. As for me, I conserved my energy. There was no telling when we might run into some game. The cool morning air in the forest was crisp, dew still clinging to the leaves, and sunlight streamed through the gaps between the trees, speckling the ground with golden patches. This place felt like a completely different world from the outside. "Brother Shan, let's find Huang a couple of female dogs so he can have some fun," De Zhuang joked, earning hearty laughter from everyone except Zhao Hongqi, who still looked worried. His concerns were clear. What if we didn't catch anything? What would his family do? "Hey, Hongqi, did you make arrangements for your family before leaving?" I asked him. "My mother-in-law agreed to help out for a couple of days. But if I go back empty-handed, it'll be hard to explain. It's good that your mother-in-law is willing to help. You should be grateful. It's like a lifeline during tough times. Be sure to show her your appreciation. And if we do catch something good, make sure to save a share for her too," I said. "Brother Qing, do you think we'll manage to catch any game this trip?" Zhao Hongqi asked, still worried. "Of course. I can't vouch for anyone else, but when Brother Shan goes up the mountain, he always comes back with something." De Zhuang chimed in with complete confidence. I absently reached for the jade gourd pendant I always wore on my chest. Strange. There was something new about it. Originally transparent, it now had a faint green thread of light swirling within. What's more, I noticed for the first time that the gourd had a removable stopper. I played with this jade gourd countless times in my previous life and never knew the stopper could pop open. How curious. Carefully, I lifted the stopper and peeked inside under the sunlight. The interior was empty, save for a tiny droplet of liquid about the size of a sesame seed, glowing with a green hue. This couldn't have been here before. And how come I can open it now? What changed recently? Did anything unusual happen? Then it hit me. Was this related to spending the night with Roshue? But no, that didn't make much sense. I wasn't exactly new to relationships in my past life. Whatever. I'll figure it out later, I thought, resealing the stopper. The fit was so precise it was as though the gourd was entirely seamless. De Zhuang, try opening this stopper, I said. De Zhuang tried and failed. It doesn't budge, it's solidly one piece. Zhuang and Zhao Hongqi gave it a shot too, but were equally unsuccessful. Seems like I'm the only one who can open it. Suddenly, the gourd grew warm in my hand, vibrating slightly. Wild game was near. I signaled for silence, gesturing toward De Zhuang, Zhuang, and Zhao Hongqi. They looked at me, puzzled, but obeyed, crouching low as we advanced carefully. About 40 meters ahead, I spotted a wild rabbit. Rather than waste precious bullets, I grabbed my hunting bow. Bullets are limited. I only had 5. I pulled the bowstring taut. Thwip! The arrow struck clean through the rabbit's neck. As Da Huang began to lunge forward, I shifted my aim to the nearby brush. Another arrow loosed into the undergrowth, and immediately I heard the sound of struggle. Da Huang darted ahead, chasing after the noise. Move out, I gestured. It wasn't even halfway into the morning, and we'd already nabbed 2 rabbits. Tonight, we'd have meat to eat for sure. Did we really just catch 2 rabbits like that? Zhuang and Zhao Hongqi stared, dumbfounded. Especially that second shot. How did I even know there was a rabbit in the bushes? See that? Stick with Brother Shan, and you get fed. De Zhuang patted them on the back, grinning as if he'd made the kill himself. De Zhuang, clean those up and teach the others how to handle game. I'm going to rest for a bit, I said, taking a seat under a nearby tree. De Zhuang began instructing them on processing the rabbits, burying the entrails to avoid attracting carnivores. Nobody wanted to see wolves. That meat's not only stringy and unpleasant, but even the pelts aren't worth much, selling for just a few bucks. If we could catch a musk deer, though, that would be a different story. The going rate for musk was about 1.34 yuan per gram officially, and at least 5 on the black market. A single musk deer could yield 10 to 20 grams, making it worth up to 75 yuan. Once we finished up, we resumed our trek into the woods, with Da Huang leading the way. My jade gourd grew warm and vibrated a few more times throughout the day. By the time we reached our old hunter's shelter in the late afternoon, we had 6 rabbits, 5 wild chickens, a masked civet, and even a magpie. The 3 of them were giddy with excitement, practically grinning like kids who found treasure. Brother Shan, we're in luck today, huh? De Zhuang marveled at the haul. This is too much, I noted. In this weather, it'll spoil quickly if we don't act fast. De Zhuang, take these 2 and repair the shelter. Dig a root cellar below the small shelter to keep things fresh. The hides we left hanging in the branches last time, take them down, scrape and soften them. Start a fire, boil water, and cook 3 of the wild chickens. We'll roast the rabbits too. Let's have a good feast tonight. Before sunset, check the nearby creek, then head back to rest. Tomorrow, we officially start hunting. Got it, De Zhuang replied enthusiastically, taking charge and putting the others to work. Meanwhile, I headed into the shelter to rest. When I woke up, the shelter had been repaired, most of the root cellar was dug out, and the smell of chicken stew wafted through the air. The stew pot hung over the fire, bubbling with spices like star anise and cinnamon to mask any gamey flavor. On the other fire, the rabbits were roasting to a golden crisp. Brother Shan's awake. The meat's almost ready. All right, Dashan called out. Zhuang, Zhao Hongqi, stop digging and come eat. After eating, we'll head out and try our luck. I yelled into the cellar. The 2 scrambled out, already drooling with anticipation. The 4 of us each took a roasted rabbit and ate with relish. Rabbit meat was firm and lean, though not very fatty. But no worries, we still had stewed chicken. In the end, I ate 3 rabbits and a whole chicken by myself, leaving Da Zhuang and the others dumbfounded. Dang, Brother Shan, your appetite is insane, they marveled. All right, let's head out and take a stroll. After finishing our meal, I told Da Zhuang to pack up the leftovers, and we made our way down to the creek. Dusk was settling in, the perfect time when wild animals come out for a drink of water. Great for hunting. Just as we reached the creek side, the jade gourd hanging on my chest began to heat up. Ahead, there was some movement, a tawny figure drinking water. A musk deer. I've noticed the warmth of the jade gourd varies depending on the size of the prey. Rabbits and pheasants trigger a faint warmth. Musk deer are hotter, and once, when I encountered a roe deer, it became scorching. If it were a tiger or a black bear, the gourd would certainly give me a heads up beforehand. Though, weirdly enough, I noticed when I came across wolves, the jade gourd actually felt cool. This little trinket still has plenty of mysteries I haven't figured out. Quickly, I motioned for silence and readied my bow. Da Zhuang spotted it as well and whispered, Brother Shan, looks like it's your lucky day, running into a roe deer again. Roe deer? Huh, this isn't a roe deer, I chuckled in reply. Though Da Zhuang and the others have lived near the forest their whole lives, they still can't tell apart a musk deer, roe deer, or Chinese water deer. It's a bit like how people confuse civets, hog badgers, and badgers. Even the elders get it mixed up sometimes. Roe deer are the easiest to identify. They've got white behinds. Musk deer, on the other hand, are smaller in a yellowish-brown color with no musk glands. The one in front of us probably weighed around 30 pounds. Not bad. Brother Sean, if it's not a roe deer, then what is it? Dazhuang asked, clearly puzzled. A musk deer. I pointed ahead. A musk deer? Aren't they supposed to have musk? That stuff's worth its weight in gold. Zhao Hongqi's eyes immediately lit up. That's a different kind, a Chinese water deer with musk. What we've got here is an ordinary musk deer, I clarified. All right, you three get ready. This time, I'm not aiming for the neck. If it doesn't die in one shot, we'll rush in and catch it alive, I said, pulling the bowstring taut. What? You can fire from this far and still aim wherever you want. Zhao Hongqi looked stunned. Dazhuang couldn't help but brag on my behalf. You all haven't seen Brother Shan's skill. A single arrow can take down 2 pheasants. He doesn't miss. Zhuang and Zhao Hongqi exchanged glances, both a bit in awe. We've grown up together since we were kids, but they've clearly never seen me this sharp. Swish! The arrow flew straight, hitting the musk deer's leg and piercing through entirely. Our dog, Da Huang, was the first to charge out, followed by the 3 guys sprinting like unleashed wild dogs. The injured musk deer could no longer run fast and was forced to change direction under Da Huang's pressure. The others kept up the chase. Meanwhile, I casually slung my gun over my shoulder and strolled toward the commotion, enjoying watching them corner the deer. Dazhuang, move quicker. Zhao Hongqi, grab it. I shouted. It was brothers and a dog versus one wild animal, tearing across the mountains. This is what we call fun. After 5 or 6 minutes of chaotic pursuit, they finally managed to capture the musk deer alive. Brother Sean, why go through the trouble of catching it alive? Zhao Hongqi asked, confused. Rabbits and pheasants can be smoked or salted for preservation, but musk or roe deer, they need to be sold fresh, I explained. Moving forward, try to keep them alive when we catch them. We can tether them in the shed and let them walk themselves back later. Zhao Hongqi gave me a thumbs up. 30 meters away, and you're still calling your shots. While others think about killing their prey, you're thinking about how to keep them alive. I'm impressed. Cut the flattery. Pull the arrow out and sprinkle some penicillin powder to patch it up, I instructed. I had Dazhuang handle it, treating the wound with penicillin powder and doing a quick wrap. I wasn't too worried about the cost. The small health center in the village was under my management anyway, and I'd settle the books later. 1 vial of penicillin powder cost about a dime, which might be pricey considered a pound of rice costs 13 cents and a meat bun goes for 8, but it's worth it. Musk deer meat sells for over 30 cents a pound. This particular musk deer, after being skinned and cleaned, would probably yield about 23 to 24 pounds of meat, selling for at least $7 to $8 total. Spending a single dime for treatment? A no-brainer. Dazhuang quickly finished wrapping up the musk deer. He tied up its legs and mouth and slung it over his shoulders, ready to follow me on the next part of our journey. Dazhuang, that deer is heavy. You won't be able to carry anything else if we catch more. Head back for now, I said. All right, Brother Sean. You guys be safe out here. With that, Dazhuang took off toward the shed, carrying the musk deer on his back. If we could just run into some Chinese water deer with musk, now that'd be a windfall, I muttered as I watched him leave. Brother Sean, musk is like soft gold, but it's not something you can just stumble across. Finding this one today is already lucky enough, Zhao Hongqi said. Let's keep moving. With that, I continued forward with the remaining 2 guys and Da Huang. The dog, brimming with energy from his earlier feat, wagged his tail enthusiastically as he led the way. I've been thinking about capturing a few live Chinese water deer and trying to raise them. If we can successfully farm them, the value would be massive. A single male Chinese water deer can produce 15 grams of musk, or soft gold, each year. The era of collectivization was coming fast. Securing those cushy positions was going to be limited, and I wouldn't be able to help all the people close to me. Folks like Wang Naixiang, Ro Xue, or young Wang Chunxiao, the nanny I've had my eye on. If I wanted to make everyone's lives better, I need to carve out opportunities myself. No one has succeeded in farming musk deer at this point in time, but in the future, people will. I remember seeing it firsthand in my previous life. My old Taoist mentor was even an advisor to several zoos and farming facilities. Taoist medicine isn't just for people, it works on animals too. I recall that one time we saved an injured Siberian tiger. Despite still being a juvenile, it already had the makings of a king of the jungle. All the veterinarians had given up on it, but the old Taoist cured it. After it recovered, it was released back into the forest. Little did anyone know, The old Taoist had secretly tamed it. For 2 years while the Taoist lived in seclusion in the mountains, that tiger would guard his house at night. When I visited the Taoist back then, we even feasted on venison from a deer the tiger hunted. That deer blood was truly invigorating. So yeah, farming musk deer? I'm confident I can pull it off. Next year, when collectivization becomes official, I'll spearhead the effort to form a breeding facility. That'll earn me accolades, and I'll have leverage to negotiate with the village leaders. Raising musk deer isn't something just anyone can do. My parents won't even need to work the fields anymore. They can just focus on looking after the deer. A single breeding facility only needs 5 or 6 male musk deer. With that, I can easily slot in 3 or 4 extra workers. One little musk deer produces over $60 worth of musk annually on the black market. Well then, fame is in the bag, and the benefits are there too. This plan is workable. Once these musk deer start breeding, I can keep funneling people into the farm. The core techniques will only be in the hands of my own people, and no one else will have access. This place will essentially become my private domain. Just the thought of it gets me excited. With a musk deer breeding center, we need guards, right? I'll just bring over my hunting dog. Problem solved. Even the dog has a place. Musk deer breeding? No way. Not possible, right? These wild animals are impossible to raise. Zhao Hongqi skeptically said. Shangge, look, a pheasant. Zhuang suddenly nudged and pointed into the branches. Sure enough, there it was, a pheasant perched there. Noticing us, it flapped its wings, trying to escape. What a shame. Zhuang and Zhao Hongqi both sighed in frustration. They spotted it too late. Swoosh. I didn't hesitate, drawing my bow to a full curve and releasing an arrow purely by feel. With perfect precision, my arrow struck the pheasant's neck mid-flight, and it plummeted to the ground. Roosters shriek in goo-goos, hens in clucks, some sound like cheeps, and others taps. From their calls alone, you can usually tell their sex. Of course, when nearby, it's almost foolproof. Roosters are flashy, with vibrant feathers, while hens are plain. Basically, the ugly ones are hens. Holy crap, Shangge, you're a legend. Seriously? That was insane. Zhao Hongqi and Zhuang stared at me wide-eyed, faces full of disbelief. Woof! My dog, De Huang, darted forward to retrieve the pheasant. Hurry up and get it handled. Let's keep moving and see if there's more game ahead, I instructed. Got it. Zhao Hongqi swiftly dealt with the pheasant, and the three of us moved on. As twilight crept in, I returned to find that Zhuang and Zhao Hongqi had secured 2 hares and another pheasant. Not bad progress, but no big catches yet. Just then, buzz buzz, my jade gourd pendant on my chest started to heat up and tremble. Immediately alert, I scanned our surroundings while Zhuang and Zhao Hongqi crouched down, their breaths nearly held, ready. I quickly spotted the target in the creek. Well, what do we have here? A freaking otter. These creatures look like oversized rats, but with webbed feet. Adults weigh up to 10 pounds and are prized for their fur. The outer layer repels water while the dense inner fur is insulating, soft, and luxurious, perfect for upscale clothing. Otter pelts are way more valuable than wolf pelts. A wolf pelt goes for $8 to $15, maybe 20 if it's prime quality. Otter pelts, though, those start at 25 and can go up to $40 each. Back in the 1980s, they'd fetch over $1,000 on the black market, a top-tier luxury in the fur world, often used for premium coat collars. Didn't expect to find such a treasure on the way back. The otter was nibbling on a carp, its eyes flitting around warily. Shangge, isn't this a bit far? Zhao Hongqi whispered. He was right. Over 50 meters, the bow's power would start to wane around this range. But for me, this wasn't an issue. Given its high value, though, I decided to edge closer for maximum precision. I crept forward ever so carefully. But darn it, otters are exceedingly cautious. Barely 7 or 8 meters in, it froze, sensing something amiss. Now at about 40 meters, I calculated, this was the only shot. Miss, and it would dive into the water, and game over. Zhuang and Zhao Hongqi were visibly anxious, their palms undoubtedly sweating. Swoosh. Drawing the bow to full tension, I let the arrow soar. The otter caught sight of the blur in its peripheral vision. It didn't even have time to react. The arrow hit its mark, right where the neck meets the head. Blood turned the creek crimson as its hefty body thrashed in vain. De Huang took the lead, darting towards the prize, and I followed close behind. Hoisting the now limp otter from the water, I wasted no time. Knife, I called, and Zhuang handed me the machete in an instant. Otter pelts are incredibly valuable. The meat's nothing compared to the fur. You need a dull knife for skinning. A sharp one risks cutting the hide, and even a small puncture can reduce the price by a quarter. And blood, don't let it stain the fur. Skin from the hind legs first, ensuring the paws and head are intact. Explaining while working, the machete in my hands separated flesh from fur with practiced ease, the blade making soft scraping sounds. The otter, still warm from life moments ago, was plump, a sign the creek had plenty of fish. Careful not to tear it, I maneuvered through the sticky layers of fat. Zhao Hongqi and Er Zhuang watched intently, nodding in approval. Before long, the pelt came off whole. Step 1, skinning done. Next we scrape, removing all the fat. Be gentle, don't damage the fur. After that, preservation involves salting. Use about 1/3 the weight of the hide in salt, spread it evenly, then stretch it out on branches in a shady, ventilated spot. Never let it dry in the sun. That part takes a week. After that comes soaking in a saline alum mix to remove residual fat, followed by rubbing with castor oil, flattening, and trimming it up. For now, preservation is the priority. You'll learn the rest as we go. Got it. Nodding earnestly, both Er Zhuang and Zhao Hongqi looked beyond eager, like students before a master. Shanggu, where'd you learn all this? You're like a hidden encyclopedia. Zhao Hongqi exclaimed in awe. There's plenty you don't know yet. Stick around, and I'll teach you. I stood up with the pelt in hand, motioning for us to move forward. Beside me, Er Zhuang carried the otter meat. Wait, Shanggu, over there. Zhao Hongqi suddenly stopped me, his hand resting on my shoulder, pointing to a rust-colored figure up ahead. Musk deer. And it's a male? A surge of excitement rushed through me. Sure enough, crouching in some distant shrubbery, there it was, a musk deer, or as many know it, the Himalayan musk. Funny, I was just musing about these earlier, and now, there it sat. The only problem, it was a fair distance away. Shanggu, should we use the gun? Er Zhuang inquired. I frowned. Are you dumb? One gunshot, and you'll scare it to death. Musk deer are naturally timid. Even a bow and arrow is risky here. We need to catch it alive, and that requires strategy. As the saying goes, catching 100 deer doesn't compare to catching one live musk deer. However, transporting live musk deer is extremely challenging, with a death rate of nearly 70%. Most of the remaining ones don't survive by the time they arrive. Without guns or bows, how can you catch one alive? You can't even outrun it, Zhao Hongqi asked. There are a few ways to catch them alive: snare traps, encircling nets, tranquilizers, or luring younglings. Tranquilizers are the most effective, but also the most troublesome. We need to find datura and aconite to make a concoction. Smear it on the rose plants that musk deer love to eat. Once they eat it, they'll pass out, and we can simply pick them up. The real challenge is mixing the drug, but I know how to do it. Don't alert them. Since we've spotted one here, it must be nearby. Let's prepare for the next couple of days, gather the herbs, or use snare traps if necessary. We must capture that musk deer alive. I spoke firmly. This is crucial for the big livestock plan we have at the farm, one of our major pre-New Year objectives. But before anything else, the priority is to get the entire family outfitted with proper clothes. Food is no longer an issue, so next on the agenda is building a sturdy 3-room, clay-tiled house. It's currently 57, and there are no strict regulations on homestead lot sizes yet. The approval process is straightforward, and you can build as big as you want. Of course, just in case policies change in a few years, I won't build too extravagantly. A modest 3-room tiled house for the northeastern region, facing south and organized in a row, with a central living room flanked by 2 bedrooms, would range between 60 to 70 square meters on average. Wealthier families could go up to 80 square meters. Winters in the northeast are harsh, so the walls need to be thick, which raises building costs. After some calculations, the base cost is around 600 yuan, and with additional wing rooms factored in, it still might not suffice. The eastern bedroom is designed to be 12 meters long and 5 meters wide, divided into inner and outer spaces with a folding screen. The western room will be smaller, about 6 meters long and 5 meters wide, or 30 square meters. The living room will also be spacious at 6 by 5 meters. Altogether, that's a solid 120 square meters of usable indoor space. With this plan in place, the estimated cost breaks 1,000 yuan easily. I need to get started soon. Once the government pushes communal living policies, it will become tricky to build something this large. By the time homestead size regulations lock in around 1962, projects like this will be impossible. I want to build multiple homes like this. One for my parents, one for Lu Guixiang, one for Wang Naixiang, and one for Roshua. Although these can be slightly smaller, they still need to be larger than the average home. Ideally, they should all be in a single row for easy access between them. Roshua wasn't originally in my plan, but I've already taken her as my woman. She's vowed to be loyal and has no demands for me to take responsibility for her. Where else can you find such an obedient, kind-hearted woman? Her husband passed away, leaving her to look after their child on her own. If I don't take care of them, who will? Thinking about all this, I realize I'm going to need a lot more money. Brother Sean, we'll follow your lead, Erzwang said with his typical straightforwardness. Avoid these areas. Don't alarm the prey, I instructed. Then, taking Dazhuang and Zhao Hongqi, we detoured back to the cabin. Brother Sean, look at everything we caught today. Dazhuang beamed at our haul. Darkness had already set in, and the campfire lit up the immediate surroundings. Tonight, let's push ourselves a bit and make some cages. From here on out, we'll prioritize capturing live animals. We can keep them in cages for a couple of days before butchering them when we get home, I instructed. Species like deer, roe deer, and mountain goats can all be caught alive. Once I return, I plan to buy a few hunting dogs to form a pack. They'll help us herd live prey, and with ropes, one person could lead several animals at once. Summer hunting, compared to winter, isn't as convenient. In winter, you can use sleds on the snow to transport game and not worry about meat spoiling. But in the thick summer foliage, finding prey is much harder. If it weren't for the desperate need for cash to change my family's fortunes, I'd have preferred to hunt in winter. What kind of cages? Zhao Hongqi asked. Raise them about 2 fists off the ground. Leave small gaps for waste to fall through, making cleanup easier. Each cage should be about 1.5 meters tall, 2 meters long, and 1.5 meters wide. Use sturdy wood with small enough gaps to keep wolves out. Take your time on this, and clear out the surroundings while you're at it. This spot is 6 or 7 hours from the village. If anyone gets into trouble, hiding here, they'd never be found. This is just our first cabin. Once the game in this area is thinned out, we'll move 10 kilometers deeper into the forest and build a second one. The 3 nodded and got to work. I ate 2 roasted wild hares and practiced a few rounds of energy-restoring martial arts. The strong, pure energy within me felt even more vigorous. By around 9 o'clock that evening, we all collapsed into an exhausted sleep. The next day, at the crack of dawn around 4 a.m., the forest skies had already turned a faint blue, signaling the start of our first full day of summer hunting. After a restful night, we were all energized, feeling like we'd been supercharged. The otter stew bubbled away in the pot, the fragrant mix of star anise, cinnamon, and ginger filling the air. It was irresistible. One bowl of rich broth in the early morning was enough to invigorate the soul. It was absolutely delicious. This flavor is incredible. Adding a little white pepper in winter while eating this would be euphoric, I remarked. Dazhuang laughed sheepishly and said, Brother Sean, having meat soup like this as breakfast is more than enough for me. My family can't even have this for New Year's. I'm pretty satisfied. But Zhao Hongqi frowned, his eyes wet with emotion. Brother Sean, it's unbearable. My wife, kid, and mom are surviving on gruel back home, while I'm here enjoying meat broth. I feel ashamed. Don't worry, I patted his shoulder. By the latest, we'll be back in 2 days. They won't have to suffer anymore. Dazhuang chimed in. Hongqi, is it true your dad never helps your family? Don't mention that old bastard. Zhao gritted his teeth, fists clenched. His father had remarried a widow and kicked him, his wife, and his mother out, leaving them only a ramshackle hut and a few acres of barren land. The soil there was so poor that nothing could grow. Now, his wife had just given birth, and with his mother ill, the man didn't lift a finger to help. Eat your fill, and let's move. The faster we gather enough game, the sooner we can head back, I declared. After finishing the last of the broth, we packed our bows and rifles and set off for the deeper parts of the forest. Our first stop was by a familiar creek, where animals often came to drink in the early morning. The jade gourd I wore began to emit warmth near my chest, a sign that animals were nearby. Sure enough, there were around 20 sand grouse scavenging for food. These birds, sometimes called 3-half chickens, were tiny. 3 of them plucked and gutted barely amounted to a pound of meat. 20 birds, at most, would yield just 8 or 9 pounds of meat. Hardly worth our effort. Dazhuang, why don't you give it a shot and practice? I handed him the bow. Dazhuang aimed at one of the birds. Thwack! His arrow missed the mark completely, embedding itself in the dirt in front of the group. The startled birds scattered in a flurry. Ah, come on, 20 meters and you still missed? You're way off from Brother Shan's level, Erzwang teased. Hitting the target on your first try is hard enough. Keep practicing with the bow in your spare time, and once you've gotten good with it, using a rifle will come naturally, I reassured him. We didn't spot any big game that morning, just a few wild chickens, rabbits, and 2 weasels. Their furs were valuable, though lower in quality during the summer months. Without any visible injuries, these could sell for around 80 cents to $1 each. The plumper ones in winter might fetch over $2. 4 wild pheasants, 5 wild rabbits. Not a bad haul for the day. Brother Sean, it's still early. Should we keep going? De Zhuang asked, wiping sweat off his forehead. Hunting isn't something you can rush. We left around 4, and now it's already 8. Let's head back to rest. We'll focus our energy on the afternoon hunt instead. Just as we were about to leave, I suddenly stopped. Wait, I was planning to spend time looking for this stuff, and now we literally stumbled upon it. What is it? All 3 of them crowded around. Aconite. This whole area is covered with it. I've never seen so many growing in one place. I rolled up my sleeves, set my hunting bow and rifle aside, and borrowed De Zhuang's machete. Brother Sean, what's aconite? The 3 of them were staring at me like fresh recruits looking up to a seasoned veteran. Aconite is mainly used for medicinal purposes, particularly its roots. The main root is highly toxic and needs meticulous preparation to be usable. The process is complicated as you need to remove the aconitine toxin. The smaller secondary roots, less toxic, are called fuzi. This stuff works wonders for treating rheumatism and joint pain. There's even a reference to it in the medical classic Shanghan Lunin, the formula fuzi decoction. Amazing stuff. Watch how I dig it up, and then we'll all pitch in and gather the lot to prepare later. Got it. De Zhuang and the group quickly jumped into action. This plant is one of the main ingredients I use to capture a musk deer alive. It'll also come in handy for other game. To prepare it, you soak it in clean water for 7 days, changing the water 3 times daily. Once the heart turns hollow and it doesn't numb the tongue as much, you then boil it in fresh water for 3 hours and dry it under the sun before using it as medicine. But ordinary folks shouldn't mess with it. Done wrong, and it could be lethal. Since I don't have time to process the main root right now, I'll focus on slightly treating the secondary roots. If I pair it with jimsonweed flowers and other herbs, I should be able to craft an effective sedative. I'll test it on the musk deer we captured. Half an hour later, we dug up the entire patch of aconite and packed it into a basket before heading back to the hut. As we were returning, the jade gourd pendant on my chest suddenly heated up, putting me on high alert. I looked around cautiously but didn't spot any wild animals. Just as I was puzzling over it, I suddenly saw a patch of yellow flowers up ahead. Whoa, no way! I exclaimed under my breath, a smile of surprise spreading across my face. The jade gourd wasn't warning about any animals. It was boosting my luck. Brother Sean, what happened? Zhao Hongqi asked. We've got more work to do. Look at these flowers and seeds. That's jimsonweed. It's toxic. Back in the day, before modern anesthetics, people used this. But if handled poorly, it can be deadly. When mixed properly with other herbs, it can treat asthma and bronchitis. But because of its toxicity, it's rarely used now. Combined with the aconite we just found, we can make a concoction strong enough to knock out that musk deer. Nice, that's awesome. Zhao Hongqi and the others were thrilled and quickly helped me pick the flowers. We harvested enough from a small patch and then hurried back to the hut. Once back, De Zhuang got busy processing the wild rabbits, pheasants, and weasels, while Zhuang and Zhao Hongqi worked on setting traps and clearing brush. I searched the surrounding area for herbs to neutralize the toxins and got to work brewing the mixture. The great thing about these old forests is that what looks like a bunch of weeds to the untrained eye is actually a treasure trove of medicinal herbs. Mix seemingly unrelated herbs just right, and you get extraordinary results. Especially with me being a Taoist herbalist, I can cultivate pure yang energy. I'll experiment on a monkey to gauge its effects and adjust as needed. Before long, I had a bottle of medicinal liquid ready to go, filled it into my water flask, and headed out to sedate the musk deer. The sun was high, with dappled light filtering through the forest. I reached a stream and carefully applied the mixture to the plants along the creek side, particularly any species in the rose family. This concoction isn't just effective for musk deer, it'll knock out roe deer, muntjac, sika deer, or red deer with ease. Even if I don't manage to catch a musk deer, I'm bound to snare something else. After spending over an hour applying the bait, I thoroughly rinsed the flask in the stream before heading back to the hut. There, De Zhuang and the others were still hard at work. The musk deer in the trap had already fallen unconscious. Perfect. I nodded in satisfaction. The last thing I wanted was for the musk deer to wake up halfway through and escape, wasting all that effort. De Zhuang, let's all take a break. Rest up and regain some energy. We'll set out to hunt again around 3 or 4 this afternoon. Got it. De Zhuang and the group headed to the stream to freshen up before coming back for a midday rest. De Huang, the dog, yawned lazily nearby. Life with me meant full bellies every day. Bit by bit, they were all getting back into shape, regaining the pounds they'd lost. Shirshi village. The Zhao Gui family had been having the worst luck lately. First, they were kicked out of their home, Their daughter-in-law ran off, and, to top it off, they got beaten up late one night. They knew it had to be Li Qingshan's doing, but they had no proof. Their son's leg was broken and, without money for proper treatment, could only be crudely bandaged. He lay in their decrepit shed, groaning in pain. If this kept up, his leg would definitely be crippled. In a village already saddled with Zhao the blind, now came Zhao the cripple. If his leg never healed properly, he'd have no chance of ever getting married. No marriage meant no grandkids. For the Zhao family, this was a dead end, a complete collapse of their family line. Zhao Gui and his wife were panicking. They decided to turn to the village's party secretary for help. The village head? Forget it. He was from Li's clan. They knew he wouldn't lift a finger for them. Secretary Wang Naixiang was our Zhao family's daughter-in-law, but now she's run off with someone from the Li family. Li Qingshan, that scoundrel, even threatened us. He said if anyone in the Zhao family dared step in, he'd break their legs. How is this not a blatant show of disrespect to our Zhao clan? If this gets around, how can the other families in the village not look down on us? And don't forget, the village head unfairly handed the health station doctor position to Li Qingshan. Why? Shouldn't something this important have gone through you? The Li family is getting too bold, and now it's like they run everything around here. Shouldn't our Zhao family have a say? The village party secretary listened to Zhao Gui's elaborated and embellished complaints and took a deep drag on his cigarette. I've been away the past few days for training sessions, and I come back to find all this chaos in the village. He took another long drag, his annoyance apparent. Internally, the secretary was fuming. Li Shengli, that old bastard, was getting way too brazen. From bullying the Zhao family to handing out the health station position, this one was supposed to go to his own daughter. But as the party secretary, the most powerful figure in the village, he had to maintain a certain decorum. He preferred to avoid direct involvement, if possible. But when he did step in, it would be swift and decisive, flattening his opposition in a single move. That's how he kept his authority intact. Using others to do his bidding, that was his favorite approach. In this, village head Li Shengli was no match for him. That guy couldn't. Sorry, but I can't assist with that. Negotiation. Anyway, you already have a wife. Even if you live in a straw hut, it's better than living alone in some rundown place. Plus, you've got extra cash. Isn't that great? And earlier, after how you behaved towards my wife. What's wrong with giving in just a little? His wife stood behind him, head lowered, lost in thought. All right, I've got a wife. Doesn't matter where I live. Zhao the blind man nodded. But what about Wang Naixiang? I've got to meet my woman first. Zhao Gui was startled. Don't act rashly right now. If you mess with my daughter-in-law, she'll call the cops, and you'll be executed on the spot. You got to deal with that good-for-nothing Li Qingshan first. Once he's out of the picture, you can marry Wang Naixiang fair and square. Zhao Gui thought to himself. If this idiot gets himself executed before taking care of Li Qingshan, I'll end up with nothing. Right, brother Zhao Gui's got a point. I won't touch Wang Naixiang until we're properly married. Zhao the blind man promised. Deep inside the forest, we woke up, finding it was already past 3 p.m. For people, one dog, and the hunt began. I fingered the jade gourd pendant hanging from my neck, hoping it might bring some good luck. The spot where we set down bait with medicine yielded no prey, so we followed a stream. The forest echoed with mysterious sounds, adding to the tension. Suddenly, the jade gourd on my chest grew warm. Instantly alert, I gestured to the three behind me to keep silent. Good luck, 2 otters, I said, staring intently at the stream. We can get over $60 for them, right? Zhao Hongqi asked. But Brother Shan only has 1 arrow ready. If he can't hit both, one will definitely escape. So that's just $30 left, Zhuang sighed. Shame. If our archery was as good as Brother Shan's, 60 would be a sure thing. Zhao Hongqi lamented. My family doesn't even have $30 to their name, Zhuang muttered. I stayed silent, inching closer with my longbow in hand. At about 40 meters, I halted. At this distance, it wasn't guaranteed I'd land a kill shot on both with 2 arrows. Drawing my bow to its full length, I patiently waited for the right moment. 3 minutes passed. As I focused and took aim, Zhuang piped up behind me. What's Brother Shan doing standing so long? Is he tired? Zhuang shot him a glare. Chill. Don't interrupt Brother Shan. Everyone froze still. Frankly, my skills should make me 100% accurate at this range. A lot of people throw around exaggerated claims about their shooting abilities, saying dumb things like hitting a hare 100 meters away. Do they even understand distances? Between 10 to 20 meters, you can make out a rabbit's eyes and fur details. It's roughly the size of a fist at that range. At 20 to 40 meters, you only see its outline. It shrinks down to egg size. Beyond 40 meters, it's the size of your fingernail. hitting something at the range. Dream on. For average hunters, 40 meters is the limit, while veteran hunters might reach 50 or 60. Thanks to practicing my energy-building martial arts, my eyesight has surpassed even the old-timers. My sharpness keeps improving as the energy nourishes my body. If I had a Type 56 rifle, I'd dominate this entire forest. Unfortunately, all I've got is a single-shot hunting rifle in my bow. The two otters, about 30 meters out, might look like eggs to De Zhuang and the rest, but I saw them clear as day. I waited for the perfect opportunity. It came at last. Swoosh. My arrow flew. Both otters fell into the water simultaneously, lifeless. Whoa, Brother Shan, you're amazing, Zhao Hongqi exclaimed in awe. I dashed forward as De Zhuang hurriedly waded into the water to retrieve the otters. Both had been shot through the neck, perfectly preserving their pelts. These two otters would fetch $60, and combined with the earlier catch, that's an easy 90. Brother Shan, your archery is unbeatable. There's no one like you within 100 miles. Zhao Hongqi praised as he began processing the otters. Let's save the bragging for when we snagged a Type 56. I chuckled. The rest of the afternoon wasn't as fruitful, but still decent. We ended up with 7 wild chickens, 6 rabbits, 1 masked civet, and a sand grouse. The sand grouse was caught by De Huang the dog. Zhao Hongqi tried shooting at 20 meters and completely missed. He sulked the whole time. With all this game, we figured it'd be best to drop everything off at the cabin before continuing. Suddenly, the jade gourd on my chest heated up and buzzed intensely. Wasn't this area where I had set down bait with anesthetic earlier? Did we catch something? In the distance, just at the edge of the bushes, I spotted a reddish-brown figure. I dashed forward. Caught what? The others looked puzzled but followed me nonetheless. A wild animal lay sprawled, foaming at the mouth. It had been knocked out cold. A deer, De Zhuang exclaimed excitedly. No, it's a musk deer, Zhao Hongqi corrected, pointing to its reddish coat and the gland under its abdomen. Yep, a musk deer, a lot more valuable than your average deer. We're lucky to have crossed paths with it, I affirmed. Setting the tranquilized animal in De Zhuang's wide basket, the excitement grew. This single catch might just change our fortune. I'm exhausted. We're so lucky. First, we nailed the musk deer, and now we've taken down a wild boar, Zhuang said with a hearty laugh. Ahead, about 8 or 9 adult wild boars were mingling, with 13 or 14 piglets tagging along. The piglets, barely over a month old, were the size of puppies. The wild boar we'd just taken down weighed about 300 pounds, not a bad size for this area in the northeast. Wild boars are omnivores, and it looked like this one got unlucky, munching on leaves while foraging for wild fruits and getting hit with our tranquilizer. This boar was much bigger than the musk deer. The tranquilizer would wear off quickly, and we had to act immediately. I passed the hunting bow to Zhao Hongqi and reached for the single-barrel shotgun. After loading the ammo, I took aim at the herd of wild boars. Wild boars rarely attack humans unless they're protecting their young, cornered, or startled into a panic. These animals tend to take off running just from the sound of dogs barking. Some people exaggerate, claiming wild boars are as dangerous as legendary beasts. That's nonsense. In truth, most wild boars in the deep woods end up becoming prey for Siberian tigers. Tigers can take down dozens of wild boars each year, especially during winter. An adult tiger can weigh over 700 pounds and is more than 10 feet long. For a wild boar, there's no surviving a swipe of a tiger's massive paw. In my previous life in the village, I'd witnessed a tiger entering town once. The roar alone was enough to send all the guard dogs scrambling into hiding. Out here in the wilderness, the real dangers are wolves, tigers, bears, venomous snakes, poisonous bugs, diseases, and sometimes even humans. I steadied my aim at the largest boar, nearly 400 pounds. A small pang of regret hit me. At 500 pounds, its liver and blood might have been able to fully heal Zhao Zhanshan's internal injuries. I couldn't help but wonder how Zhao Shanxing would react if that had happened. This big one had layers of pine resin and mud caked onto its tough hide, what old hunters call armor. Wild boars already have thick skin, and with this extra layer of protection, it was built like a tank. Bang! I fired a shot directly into its ear. The hollow point bullet went straight to its brain. The nearly 400-pound beast fell with a thunderous crash, sending the rest of the herd scattering into the forest with panicked squeals. Once it was safe, we approached the 2 now lifeless wild boars, one weighing 300 pounds and the other close to 400. Taking the machete handed over by De Zhuang, I struck the neck of the tranquilized boar. It blinked awake, but had no time to react before my second strike landed. The blade sank deep, breaking bone with a crack, and after a few more blows, its head came clean off. De Zhuang and Zhao Hongqi glanced at me with respect and awe at how efficiently I handled the task. We drained the blood and butchered the boars into chunks of 30 to 40 pounds each. De Zhuang, take the gun back to the village and gather some help. Zhuang and Hongqi, let's make a few trips and get the meat back to the forest cabin, I ordered. After De Zhuang left, the rest of us made several trips back and forth, moving all 700 pounds of wild boar meat to the cabin's underground storage. We rubbed salt all over the meat to preserve it, knowing the strong scent of blood could attract wolves. As night fell, we holed up in the reinforced forest cabin. Around 9 p.m., the tranquilized musk deer woke up, its eyes blindfolded and looking utterly confused. Meanwhile, my older brother Li Qingshu was relishing his moment of victory. Dad, once the third brother's family is brought to their knees, they'll have no choice but to follow our lead. We'll make them agree to leave with barely enough food to survive, definitely no share of the family property. We'll put it all in writing. Oh, and about Lu Guixiang, the third brother's wife, she's still young. Let's quickly arrange for her to remarry someone better. We might even score a decent bride price out of the deal, he said triumphantly. My grandfather, Li Dakuai, nodded eagerly. But technically, her bride price would go to her maiden family by tradition. Her family isn't exactly easy to deal with. Don't worry, Dad, Qingshu reassured. She's still legally ours. If the third brother dies, she won't be able to remarry without our agreement. We can quietly take the bride price for ourselves and just tell everyone there wasn't one. With the third brother gone, that coward will have to rely on us, and Guixiang won't have any say in the matter. Worst case, we keep the money and use it to find Qingshu a government job. Imagine how amazing it'd be if he could work in the township office. Li Dakuai immediately brightened. A township job? That'd make our family someone to reckon with in Shirshi village. Even the village chief would have to show me respect. At that moment, my second uncle, Li Erquay, cautiously suggested, Dad, could we keep some of the money to help Qingyu and Qingyu start a workshop? If they had steady earnings, they could contribute more to the household. Are you kidding? There's no spare money for that. Let them work as apprentices for Carpenter Zhao first. They need to master their craft before we talk about workshops, Li Dakuai dismissed brusquely. Quietly stung by the rejection, Li Erquay bit his tongue. Qingshu, dig out those leftover firecrackers from New Year's, Dakuai instructed. When the third brother returns with his son's body, we'll set them off at the village entrance to celebrate. Dad, don't you think that's a bit much? What will the villagers think? Erquay, ever rational, asked. Who cares what they think? This is family business, none of theirs. We're being merciful by not hiring a band to play for an entire day. When the third brother split from us, he treated us like dirt and even called me an old dog. Now it's his turn to lose face. Got it, Grandpa. Qingshu quickly located a bundle of firecrackers. These were expensive ones Dakuai had bought to celebrate when Qingshu finished his literacy certification, a goal Qingshu had yet to achieve. The next morning, I woke well before dawn at 4 a.m. and headed to a creek to freshen up. With 2 wild boars already exceeding my expectations, there was no need to hunt for more. We wouldn't be able to carry anything extra back anyway. I reached into my shirt to touch the jade gourd hanging around my neck. Pulling out the musk deer recovering in the forest cabin, I decided to test the green liquid inside the gourd. Prizing open its mouth, I dripped a single drop of the liquid inside. Nothing happened. The deer licked its lips and seemed no worse for wear. No harm done, but the liquid's effects remained a mystery. Oh well, breakfast first. I shoveled some charcoal under the stove and filled an iron pot with water. Tossing in 4 wild chickens, I added slices of ginger and a pinch of salt. The white pepper would come later as a finishing touch. Feeling energized, I started practicing my Tai Chi as the soup heated up. Under the rising sun, my previously thin body now carried a hint of muscle. Give it another 2 or 3 months, and I should be in lean muscle condition. The pure yang energy flowed through my body. My movements were smooth and powerful. When I threw a punch, the wind stirred, and my sleeves snapped sharply. When the day comes that my punch creates a sonic boom and I see ripples form around my fist, I'll have reached the legendary external strength level. Brother Sean. Brother Sean. From afar, De Zhuang's voice echoed as Big Yellow bolted like lightning toward him. Over the past couple of days, Big Yellow had become quite friendly with De Zhuang, Zhuang, Zhao Hongqi, and the others. I didn't expect De Zhuang to arrive so quickly. I glanced over and saw nearly 30 people. They had all traveled through the night. I let out a sigh of relief. Qingshan, I heard you caught a good haul of wild game. Where is it? Wow, you even captured a live muntjac. Not bad. Is that chicken you're cooking? Smells amazing. Last time I had meat was during New Year's. My uncles and elders followed the aroma of chicken soup, their eyes green with hunger. They were all skinny from years of malnutrition, surviving on staple crops most days, and rarely having meat. Staring at the pot of 4 wild chickens, their mouths nearly watered. The wild game I caught had clearly made the whole village envious. Some were pondering whether they could send a niece from their wife's family to marry me, ensuring a regular supply of meat. Even families with different surnames were tempted, thinking their daughter was the right age. Some even considered proposing without even asking for a dowry. Those who used to dismiss me as a good-for-nothing now suddenly thought I looked upright and dashing. Uncles and elders, thank you for coming to help today. I wouldn't let you work on an empty stomach, I said loudly. De Zhuang, the wild chickens in the pot should be cooked by now. Share them with everyone. And roast 7 rabbits, 2 wild chickens, and toss the 2 otters into the pot as well. 27 men had come. With 13 pieces of game plus 2 otters to share, everyone got half a piece of game plus half a pound of otter meat. That should be enough to fill their stomachs. Only when people are well fed will they work energetically. In the future, I might need their help with hunting again. Holding back now wouldn't earn me their support next time. Besides, they were all relatives. Building good relationships meant in the future, if something happened, they'd grab their hose and back me up without hesitation. Qingshan, you're a generous guy? Much better than your father. I haven't had meat in months. Today, I'm enjoying myself thanks to my nephew. Qingshan, haven't found a wife yet, right? My in-laws' family has a 19-year-old niece. Like your family's niece is the only option. Qingshan, my brother-in-law's family has twin daughters. Everyone joked around boisterously. Qingshan, where's my youngest son? Li Kai asked. Sleeping. I pointed towards the utility room. That little rascal. Li Kai grabbed a tree branch and stormed inside. Soon, Zhuang's yelps rang out. Dad, stop hitting me. Brother Shan, help me. Zhuang ran out covering his backside as Li Kai chased after him. Everyone burst into laughter. Qingshan, where's that wild game? Let us have a look. Li the blacksmith asked. Sure thing. Uncle Blacksmith, while we're at it, I'll need your help making some arrowheads. Consider it done. I took everyone to the utility room. Zhao Hongqi helped me bring out the wild boar meat stored in the cellar, stacking chunks of about 30 pounds each, amounting to 700 pounds of fresh meat. Everyone's eyes lit up with excitement. Just selling this meat at the market would easily bring in over 200 bucks. Qingshan, you've got some real skill. It's been years since anyone in the village managed to take down 2 wild boars. Last time Zhao Zhanshan tried to hunt a wild boar, he ended up injuring himself instead. Li the blacksmith chimed in. Hurry up and eat, guys. We have to finish within half an hour and get moving. This meat can't wait in this weather. After filling up, everyone got to take some meat. Some loaded it onto makeshift stretchers to carry in pairs. There were 10 wild chickens and rabbits each, 3 otter pelts taken by De Zhuang, the live muntjac led by Zhuang, and Big Yellow walking alongside them to keep order. I made sure to carry the musk deer myself. It was the most valuable catch of all. Qingshan, is this a live musk deer? Li the blacksmith exclaimed in surprise. Everyone gathered around, knowing that musk is worth its weight in gold, sometimes even pricier during special times. Judging by their expressions, I could tell they believed my skills surpassed Zhao Zhanshan's. Thoughts of going back to scold their sons for being useless flashed across their minds. The young men of Shirshi village were clearly in for a rough time soon. It was pure luck. I managed to catch it alive. I'm planning to take it back and raise it. Raise it. Qingshan, are you joking? No one successfully raised one of these before. The guy from the next village tried. One died on the way back, and the other only lasted 3 days at home. Better to extract the musk, sell the pelt, and enjoy the meat, the villagers argued. I didn't bother explaining. I'll give it a shot. Li the blacksmith smirked. Suit yourself. On the way down the mountain, I noticed that the muntjac's leg injury had completely healed. It was walking steadily on all fours, lively and spirited. It seemed the medicinal drop from my jade gourd had incredible healing effects on animals, like some kind of ultimate supplement. Too bad I only had the 1 drop for now. I'd have to wait for the next opportunity. For now, I'd keep the deer and see how it fares. Back in Shirshi village, Li Lao Tun and the others were already gathered at the village entrance, holding firecrackers, clearly waiting for what they thought would be my body being carried back for a celebration. Just smack. Slap. A whip cracked, making Zhao Taidin jump up. Wang Chunxiao, what are you doing? Beating the life out of you. All you do is curse people to die. Wang Chunxiao lashed out again. Zhao Taidin wanted to fight back, but hesitated. It wasn't wise to mess with the daughter of the village party secretary, especially not someone connected to Zhao Ba. Seeing that she might marry Zhao Ba, I had to swallow my pride and dodge the strikes from the whip in her hand. Li Qingshan, that no-good loafer, was dead anyway, deep in the woods. But Zhao Ba? Now he's someone I can't afford to cross. The villagers, watching Zhao Taidan being beaten senseless, couldn't help but burst out laughing. Stop hitting me already. It wasn't me who said it. Li Laoduan said Li Qingshan died in the woods. Zhao Taidan shouted, pleading his innocence. Li Qingshan is dead, and it was his grandfather, Li Laoduan, who said so. Wang Chunxiao's eyes turned red. How do you know that? Li Laoduan, shaking in his boots, worried Wang Chunxiao might turn the whip on him next, didn't know how to answer. Chunxiao, came the voice of her father, Wang Shui, storming over angrily. What's going on here? Still planning to get married one day or not? Get home. He grabbed his daughter's arm and dragged her away. Wang Chunxiao had a blank look on her face. Zhao Taidan saying that Li Qingshan died had sounded like a curse at first, but if Li Laoduan, his own grandfather, said it, there was no way it was made up. The expression on his face made it seem all too real. In the corner of the village, Roshue overheard the news and felt like her world had fallen apart. On her way home, tears rolled uncontrollably down her cheeks. Just a few days ago, she'd said her heart was set on Li Qingshan for life. Title or no title, she didn't care. But now, in the blink of an eye, the man she relied on was gone. Am I just cursed to ruin the men I love? She felt so weary and defeated, she wondered if it might be better to just disappear altogether. Back in Shirshi village, Zhao Gui, having heard about Li Qingshan's death, felt ecstatic. He rushed to share the news with his son and wife, only to run into Zhao Blind along the path. Good news? Zhao Blind asked. Fantastic news. Li Qingshan's dead, died out in the woods. Zhao Gui exclaimed. What? Li Qingshan's dead. Zhao Blind's cloudy eyes gleamed with a flicker of delight. Well then, doesn't that mean Wang Naixiang is ours for the taking? Exactly. Finally, a win for us. Zhao Gui laughed loudly. Zhao Blind wasted no time heading to the front of Li Qingshan's house. Clearing his throat, he bellowed insults. Li Qingshan, get out here, you lowlife bastard. Who the hell do you think you are, meddling in my business? Because of you, my chance at a wife was ruined. Damn you, you miserable loser. The neighbors started to gather around to enjoy the commotion. Zhao Blind, one of them said, aren't you worried Li Qingshan might come back and take you out? Come back? What? Climb out of his coffin to fight me. The guy's dead, died out in the woods. Serves him right. And now, Wang Naixiang and I. Nothing to stop us anymore. You're saying Li Qingshan is dead? Someone asked in disbelief. Yep, Zhao Blind confirmed, chest puffed out. My revenge came quicker than I even expected. Went out hunting in those woods and ended up dead. Karma. Whispers spread through the crowd. Wait, really? Li Qingshan is dead. Crazy. Li Sankuai's eldest son didn't die too long ago, and now his youngest? That poor family's wiped out now. I heard he caught plenty of game recently. Must have been right after that when he bought it. Those woods aren't safe for anyone. Even an experienced hunter like Zhao Zhanshan almost didn't make it out once. With both sons gone, the elders in their family have completely lost their hold now. Some villagers expressed sympathy, while others couldn't hide their glee. Now here's the story in first-person, conversational style. That morning, in our mud-walled farmhouse, my mom was busy kneading dough alongside Lu Guixiang and Wang Naixiang, preparing to steam another batch of buns. The rich scent of flour filled the room, and their chatter brimmed with hope for better days ahead. Suddenly, angry shouting erupted outside. Lu Guixiang peeked out through the window and froze. It was Zhao Blind, yelling something about me dying in the woods. Loud enough for everyone to hear, and all three women caught it. Bang! The bowl in Wang Naixiang's hands hit the floor hard, scattering flour everywhere. Her face went pale, and she dropped to her knees, hastily scooping everything back up, trying to hide the tears welling up. Lu Guixiang helped steady my mom onto a chair before storming outside. Zhao Blind, she scolded. What nonsense are you spouting? When did Qingshan die? Do you not want to live anymore? Wait till he's back to deal with you. Back? Zhao Blind snorted. He's dead. Went into the woods and never came back. Face it. Shut your mouth. De Zhuang just mentioned last night that Qingshan caught a bunch of game and would need help hauling it back today. Lu Guixiang shot back. Believe what you want, Zhao Blind said smugly. I'm just saying what everyone else is saying. Li Laoduan and half the village are preparing to fetch his body right now. His voice reeked of certainty. Around him, villagers murmured in agreement. Yeah, that's what I heard too. And they're already on their way with a stretcher. Lu Guixiang began to falter. Could it be true? Could something have actually happened to Qingshan? Back in the wilderness, completely oblivious to all this hullabaloo, I was making my way back with a group of other villagers. We were hauling loads of fresh game, wild boars, pheasants, and deer, laughing and sharing hunting tales all the way down. It was nearly 10 a.m. when we finally arrived at the edge of the village. As we approached, we saw a crowd gathered, buzzing with excitement. Li Laoduan spotted us first, and his eyes lit up. Hurry! Qingshan's body is here. Qingshu, light the firecrackers, he called out. Li Qingshu obediently ignited the firecrackers, the noise popping off in celebration. Li Laoduan stood tall at the front, grinning ear to ear like he'd won the lottery. As we got closer, Li Dakwai sidled up to my dad, his voice dripping with feigned concern. Sankwai, which stretcher is Qingshan on? My condolences. My father, who had no clue what had been going on, looked at him in confusion. Why would my son be on a stretcher? He's dead, isn't he? Your family's hit rock bottom now. Li Dakwai said it loud and clear, unabashed, before flashing a grin. But no worries. You've got nephews like Qingshu. How about we just sign your house over to him now? You can imagine the look on my face as I shoved through the crowd, taking off my straw pack and handing it to Dezhuang. Slowly, I turned to glare at Li Dakwai. Dead? A house to Qingshu? Who told you this crap? Li Dakwai's face paled faster than wet flour. His eyes darted everywhere, but sure as hell couldn't meet mine. The buzzing crowd turned dead silent. Lungs collectively paused except for a stunned Qingshu, blurting, Wait. Qingshan, how are you still? Alive? Didn't they say you died? Say it again louder. A growling smile, brushing off dirt off own shirt. Legends nowhere neat ghost fake gall fool to squeeze from family. Bet whomever last. Veteran rage, I narrow rinse village, silento, truly pay. Molecule, don't you dare lay a hand. While I'm out hunting in the mountains, you're back in the village cursing me to death. Smack. A slap landed square on his face, leaving 5 distinct fingerprints. Li Dakwai rushed over, shouting, Let go of my son. I delivered a swift kick, landing right between his legs. His eyes bulged instantly, and he curled up on the ground like a shrimp, a long, drawn-out groan escaping his lips. Ugh. The surrounding crowd instinctively tightened their legs, a shiver running down their spines. With each word I spat, I slapped Li Qingshu across the face. Cursing me to die, huh? And you're the one lighting firecrackers to celebrate, huh? Li Qingshu's face swelled up like a pig's head, tears and snot streaming down. Stop, please. Someone help me. Disgusted, I threw him to the ground and gave him a few more kicks to vent my anger. I turned my icy gaze to Li Laoduan, and the old man shuddered from head to toe. Li Qingshan, I'm your elder, your grandpa. You're my grandpa? What kind of grandpa curses his own grandson to die out in the wilderness? I sneered coldly. I've been wanting to teach you a lesson for a long time. Smack. A resounding slap landed on his face, 5 clear finger marks surfacing immediately. The old man yelped, crashing to the ground with a thud. Li the blacksmith quickly stepped in to hold me back. Qingshan, a slap's enough. Don't go too far, or you're gonna beat someone to death. I gave a nod, letting this slide for now, though this wasn't over. Once I dealt with the wild boar meat, I still had that IOU note for $5 to settle. It was only then that the villagers noticed what I had brought back. Whoa, 2 wild boars. Must be over 700 pounds of meat. And look, a live musk deer too. Qingshan's something else. A few slackers nearby muttered enviously. Just got lucky, that's all. I shot them a cold glare, and they immediately shut up. It was then that Fugaway came running breathlessly. Qingshan, something's happened at your house. Zhao Blinds blocked your front door and is yelling all kinds of trash. Your sister-in-law's been driven to tears. Rage flared in me instantly. I ran straight for home, without hesitation. When I got there, sure enough, Zhao Blind was in full swing, cursing up a storm. Said I was dead, and if it weren't for me, Wang Naixiang would have married him long ago. Lu Guixiang was crying in the yard, and Wang Naixiang was so terrified her legs had gone weak. Zhao Blind, look over here at Grandpa. I lunged forward with a flying kick, sending him sprawling. Oof, it hurts. Before he could finish his howl, my fist came smashing in, and I didn't hold back. He got a savage beating. Keep running your mouth, huh? I'll smash that filthy mouth of yours to pieces. Zhao Blind ended up on the ground like a lifeless dog, groaning pitifully. Help! Li Qingshan's gonna kill me. The crowd watching buzzed with chatter. Wait, isn't Li Qingshan supposed to be dead? Good God, look at all that meat. That's over $200 worth if sold. Back in the yard, seeing me return, Wang Naixiang and Lu Guixiang finally sighed in relief. Their hearts no longer weighed down.